All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Season 6 Alpha League Grand Finals. These are the two finalists from both Group 1 and Group 2 going head-to-head in a battle for supremacy over this season's league. I am really excited, and I'm also very, humbled to be your host for today, or one of the two. My name's Slowwolf. Joining me, we got the T.O., the man, the big kahuna. It's, or one of the big kahunas. It's Erever. Hey, Erever.
Hey man, what's happening? Really excited to be here. This one is going to be great. What a great way to end the season. We got two powerhouses of armies. Necrons, since their revamp in 9th edition, have been performing super well in Alpha League all season. And then Admech, probably one of the winners coming out from 8th to 9th. It's no surprise that they're here. Back in the regular split, they had the highest win rate. This is going to be a tight, super bloody battle for sure.
Yeah, and between these two lists, we have some of the highest damage output in the game versus some of the highest durability. It'll be really interesting to see how those two lists bounce off each other. Speaking of which, it might be worth quickly going over who is playing, who are the pilots of these lists. In the Admech, the Mechanicus corner, we've got Lockaw, the man who also helped to make, I think, all of the maps for this league. Playing the Adeptus Mechanicus with a list that has a list building error in it, self-professed, but that error turned out to be an edge in a couple of games by mixing up the two priests. We've got Jazz Hand priests rather than the quarterstaff priests, alongside a very strong Mars Daka detachment. And then in the other corner, we got Kellen Feller. Kellen here has played a Silent King Necrons list, primarily warriors. This is a list that's inspired by the Richard Siegler lists. That have been happening over in the Art of War, and it's a powerful one. We saw it absolutely dismantle Doots' sister's list, who, Doots, not a bad player, not in the least, but to get hurt by Necrons is always rough. In that case, it just turned out to be just a lot of inefficient shooting, one bad charge roll, and just a raffle stomp for the rest of the game, sadly. There was a concede by turn 2 in that one. So Kellen obviously knows how to play this game. And this is going to be a really bloody one, too, because the mission is Scorched Earth. So Dawn of War, fairly close deployments, lots of line of sight obscuring, but also just, like an opportunity for both teams to score pretty well. There's lots of objectives. I believe this is a hold 1, hold 2. This should be a high scoring game.
Yeah, for sure. The mission-specific secondary is rather terrible. It's that raise one where you have to get into the enemy's deployment zone to actually get rid of their objectives to get points. I doubt we'll see either of them taking that, but both the lists do play into secondaries rather well against them, each other. I'm sure we will see that once we get to see the armies on the field. And yeah, let's get ready to go. I think the players are pretty much ready, pretty hyped. They had a couple of nervous Twitters beforehand. They were asking me a few questions about this and the other. Because I'm focusing on the stream, I called Curian to the game to be an active judge in there. Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it.
What a dude. All right, well, in that case, then let's go ahead and start off by looking at the Necron list. So that way I can do some talking while Erever actually does something. So Necrons, out of the two armies, I know this one the best. But even then, there's some tricks that are definitely needed to pilot this list to be good at it. We've got two detachments. We've got a Supreme Command detachment headed up by the Silent King himself, and then a detachment of Novak Necrons. So these are the folks with the +1 to charge, AP -1 on the turn that they were charged, and all that stuff. They're the melee boys, and that encompasses the rest of the list. So we got Zarek. He's the warlord. We know what Zarek does, but in case if you don't, he is a gigantic buff machine. Puts out 2 massively important auras, has some decent shooting, and horrific amount of combat power. This guy will 100% win you a game on his own if you can use his entire page worth of rules appropriately. You also have the Novak Battalion itself. It's headed up by 3 Chronomancers, one of which has the Tesla, the Melodermal Tesla Weave. That's what it's called. So anytime somebody charges near it, you could get some mortal wounds on you for that. And the Veil of Darkness, so some teleporting Necrons if need be. A couple squads of Crypto Thralls to act as action monkeys and bodyguards. 3 squads of warriors, 2 20-man strong, 1 10-man strong, 2 squads of 9 scarabs, and then 2 ghost arcs to repair, transport, and put out some anti-horde firepower as well. It's a powerful list. We saw how well it did against Sisters. The Sisters' firepower and fighting was just horribly inefficient, and the return fire was brutal, absolutely brutal, and the entire list got decimated very, very quickly. It's a strong list. I like it a lot. We'll have to see how it works out, but Kellen does know how to pilot this thing to the best of his ability, and it showed its true colors in an earlier match that you guys could actually check out on our YouTube. But yeah, that's it for this list. And if you want to check out both lists, put !lists into the chat to go ahead and get a closer look at what all the lists are like so. That'll give you the links that you need to be able to check out the list in more detail. Then we got the AdMech list. Arover, can you take us through the AdMech list?
I'll try my best. Not an army that I am 100% familiar with, so forgive me, guys, if I do get the odd thing wrong. I'm sure the chat will correct me. So yeah, we got Mars Detachment. Mars is great because it gives you access to Valsari's Call, and you can also jank your canticles. I believe you can also just pick a canticle for one battle round as well. So speaking about Valsari's Call, the man himself, he is there in the HQ slot as the Warlord, and he has taken the Warlord trait on him to extend his reroll aura up from 6 inches to 9, which is really powerful, and I'll go into some of the synergies that will affect in a few moments. We then got a Tech Priest Engine Seer, and he's taking Divinations of the Magus, which is the Psychic Awakening specific Warlord trait from Engine War. What this does is it allows all your shooting to have exploding 6s to hit within range of him. So really powerful buff, and then when you're adding that to the rerolls from Call, it starts to spike massively. And the level of firepower that AdMech can put off is probably like the best in the game right now because of that. So filling out the troops, we've got the Rusty 15, Skitarii Vanguards, 15 of them, just there to hold points, be obsec, and occasionally have to get removed to reduce the scoring on primary. Going into elites, yep, we have the wrong, in inverted comma, Electro Priests. So these aren't the fisty punch you, increase invul save boys. These are the shoot you with lots of dagger at very close range guys. So we actually saw these do really well against the Dark Angels. They just kind of removed a unit of Deafening Terminators quite successfully because he put the Wrath of Mars strat on them to get those mortal wounds onto the Terminators, which is pretty sick. Then we got one of my favorite AdMech units, the Einstriders, the robot walking chickens of death, all equipped with the Twin Cognus autocannon. Now there's a strat to give you +2 to hit with this unit, which means that you are always hitting on a 2+ with them. And yeah, they're great. They're a real pain to deal with. Again, you can pop Wrath of Mars onto these for mortal wounds on 6s to wound in the shooting phase. A really powerful, strong Daka unit. Going further down, we are looking at 2 units of Raiders, the Robot Dogs from Mars themselves. I love these guys, and I hate them so much.
They are super
these
good.
guys get to forward deploy. They can then, literally with their super annoying base size, go completely around an objective to not allow an opponent anywhere near with it. And then you think, oh, I'll charge them and kill them in combat. There is a great little strat that allows you to move away once you are declared as the target of a charge. They're fantastic. Good luck buying them, by the way. Everywhere in the world is currently sold out of them. And then going into the heavy support, we got 3 Scorpius Disintegrators, great gunboat of a tank, all the Daka upon it. He's gone for the Thermite Cannon as opposed to the weapon that allows you to fire outside LOS. It's a bit stronger, but I think it's less shots, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
And
so,
then-
yeah. It's also
and then
direct
we
fire
have-
over the indirect fire, which is an interesting choice.
Then we got one, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Flyer, AdMech Flyer.
Oh, the
Ornithopter.
Archaeopter Fuselage.
Yeah, an Ornithopter if you're a Dune fan, let's go with that. Now, this thing is great because it has the ability to turn off auras within a certain range of it where it flies to. This is a really powerful tool. We saw how much this wrecked a Dark Angels army when all of a sudden they weren't getting Feel No Pains or Invuls coming from it.
For 2 full turns, no less.
Really frustrating, and you've got to put firepower into it to remove it turn 1. There's no options. You can't really have all your auras being turned off. I don't think that affects Necrons as much as it would say a Space Marine chapter, but we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, to transport the priests around the battlefield, we have 2 Scorpius Dune Riders. Great little transport. Got some nice guns on them again with the Cognus Heavy Stubbers. Again, you got Call. You're getting those and the Priest up there. You're gonna get Engine Seer, Tech Priest Engine Seer. You're gonna get those rerolls and exploding sixes on everything, which is a lot of firepower. The question is, can the Necrons sort of be able to reanimate themselves through this level of firepower as they slowly advance up the board? What do you think, Slowwolf?
It's possible, but I think that the best way to reanimate through this is to not have to die in the first place. Good use of line of sight blocking and potential charging of the AdMech lines is going to be integral to the Necron strategy here. Without, mincing words, if they don't manage to tie up some of the Necron line, some of the Mechanicus lines, the Necrons will get blasted off the table. They don't have the same level of firepower. They do have firepower, just not Ballistari and everything else levels of firepower. On the other hand, the AdMech are going to need to learn to screen properly if they don't know how already. Because if they don't, their stuff can't really fall back and shoot. And Necron Warriors are, as we saw in the game against Dutes, really good at running around and touching things that people don't want to have touched. Getting them tagged so that way they have to fall back and everything. Because when you get down to it, 20 Necron Warriors attacking twice in a turn can be not only nasty if need be, but it's only 1 CP. And the Silent King lists tend to start off with nearly a bajillion CP anyway. So, if the Necron has stratagems that'll help them out, they will have the CP for it. If Kellen Feller uses the terrain appropriately, that'll help them out as well. But if the AdMech positions appropriately, if the AdMech, if Lockjaw manages to get those shots off and, put themselves in a situation where they can pick off a full squad of Necron Warriors in one go, and importantly, that Archaeopter is actually really good for turning off Sarek's efficient rerolls. That can make a big difference.
Exactly, yeah. I've just got a couple of, as the players are playing, just got a couple of quick announcements to get out of the way. I'm about to officially open registrations for Alpha League Season 7. That will go into the Alpha Administration chat in a moment, and it will be for returning players only for the first week of sign-ups. And then after that, it will be going out to the general public. Second announcement is we have had a running joke of the Macrons all this season. I'm happy to announce that the winner of this game and of Alpha League Season 6, I have a friend that makes little oven bait, plasticine sort of miniatures and stuff. Okay. And she's going to make me a Demacron keychain, and I'm going to send it out to the winner of this season.
But it's too powerful! It's too powerful!
Today.
So before we get too far into deployment and all that stuff, let's take a quick look at the secondaries. Lockjaw, taking the Mechanicus player taking engage on all fronts. While we stand, we fight and bring it down. Kellen, bringing along Purge the Vermin, Necron specific, bring it down and raise the banners high. Let's talk about Lockjaws very quickly. Engage on all fronts, probably very doable. I like it a lot. The Raiders are very capable of moving very quickly, and it's a first turn easy get with the Archaeopter, so long as the Archaeopter is still in the air. Which, I mean, it should, but we'll see. Maybe there's some lucky Manir shots. While we stand, we fight. That's going on to some of the bigger units in the group here. The Ballistari, I believe, are a part of it. I'd have to check the list for the rest of the points. But, sorry?
Belisari's Call is one as well.
Belisari's Call is one as well, yeah, which is a lot easier to protect. But it is one of those things where it could potentially make a unit more vulnerable than you'd like it to be, so we'll see how that works out. It is 15 points, though, right at the start. If you can keep it alive, 15 points is not necessarily easy to get, especially against a Necron list like this. Finally, there's Bring It Down. And Bring It Down, I'm not sure if I understand that from the Mechanicus perspective. From my own point of view, I know this is pre-fac, so as a result, that's 9 points. But that's if he kills 2 Ghost Arcs and Sarek, which is way easier said than done. So I'm not sure how I feel about this, but Lockjaw obviously feeling confident with their picks that they'll be able to table. And you know what? Playing to your strengths as an army, not a bad way to do things. Playing to kill your opponent, and that is what AdMech like to do. It seems like a smart strategic decision from a certain point of view. As for the Necrons, they have a different list. Erever, do you have any, what do you think about the Mechanicus picks, though?
I think they're great. Like engaging on all fronts. You got the Robo Dogs and the Flyer to pretty much guarantee that for a few turns. So it should be an easy 2 to 3 points at the end of his player turn for that each turn. Might become a bit more difficult later on when the Necrons are just like literally swarming all over the board. So we'll have to see if he is still able to maintain that and kill enough to get into table quarters, so to speak. While we stand, we fight. There's not other than the Silent King, there's not a great deal of heavy firepower on the Necrons list, is there? If I'm not mistaken. Like
That's
it's all
correct.
kind of S5 -1. So if he does kind of focus that firepower down though, from the Silent King onto those targets, he could potentially lose a lot of points there. But it's just a question: is that going to be worth doing over removing units from the primary? And then bring it down. I mean, sure. Like there is still a few 9 points that can be picked up here. I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
And they're all things he has to deal with, right? Like, you know, you can't just ignore the Silent King unless you're like certain armies, like, and you just can't deal with him. But he does have the firepower to be able to, for sure, have a shot at taking down the Silent King and the 2 Ghost Arcs, even though that they can only be wounded on 4+. So that is something there. That they're okay. Like,
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's not going for like the usual one we see, which is like grind them down. Not grind them down. Sorry, the where you get points for like killing models.
Thin their ranks, yeah.
In the ranks, got you, yeah. On the big blobs and Necron warriors. I mean, sometimes that can be dependent on like the reanimation as well as to how well you're gonna sort of score on it. So yeah, I think it's fine. Do you want to take us over the Necrons Secondaries?
Of course. To answer a quick question from chat, no, the Flyer does not have an invulnerable save. What they ended up going for, and you can check this out in the lists, ! Lists, is they brought the Aura Tourney off E ability. So effectively, if they gets within range of Sarek doesn't give rerolls for a full turn. We'll have to see whether or not it gets used. So to go over the Necron ones very quickly, we got Purge the Vermin, which is a Necron-specific one. Bring it down to kill vehicles and raise the banners. These are so straightforward. It's a wonder that, you know, this would have been a surprise to anybody. I don't think it is. So let's go through the 2 easy ones that everybody has access to first. Bring it down. You want to kill vehicles. There's a lot of vehicles in this list. We got the Scorpius Disintegrators, the June Riders, the Copter. You've got the Ballistari. There are so many vehicles in this list that it's practically an extra. Well, those are your 15 points right there, pretty much. And you need to kill all the vehicles anyway, if possible. And they can. The Necrons can, over the course of the game, do that. So that should be pretty easy to get as long as Kellen's winning. Raise the banners. There's 2 banners right within the deployment zone, pretty much. Really easy to raise banners onto those very quickly and at least score 10 points that way. The AdMech list is not going to be moving forward, so that's pretty much guaranteed 10. Potentially, a little bit more than that, depending on how the Necron player manages to move forward. And then finally, we've got Purge the Vermin. Purge the Vermin is a secondary that literally is anti-engage on all fronts. You, at the end of your turn, score 2 points for every table quarter your opponent is not wholly within. So long as the Necron player plays a good defense, that could be, starting from turn 2, 4 points a turn. That's 16 points, as long as he can keep his half of the table completely clear of the AdMech forces. Not impossible to do. It certainly will be a little bit difficult, but later on in the game, it becomes easier and easier and easier to do. It's one of those great secondaries because it allows Necrons to play to one of their greatest strengths, attrition. The longer the game goes, the easier it is for them to score points, and 2 points per quarter is actually quite a lot. Especially if you start really wiping out your opponent, you can start scoring 4 or even 6 points fairly easily in a turn. So, yeah, I like the Necron secondaries myself. They play very well to their strengths. The question is the deployment, and although you can't win a game in deployment, you certainly can lose. And I'm a little bit curious to see what you think about this deployment so far. We've got the Cerberus Raiders coming down here for the AdMech player. A lot of the heavier firepower is currently hiding behind something, so the Silent King can't snipe it with the Triarchal Mineers. I like the AdMech deployment so far. Everything's kind of bubbling up around Belisarius' Call to get those rerolls. Makes sense. it works. The Necron deployment is very defensive by comparison. We've got lots of line of sight blocking here on the yellow scarabs, on the white scarabs. We got the red and purple Necron warrior squads hiding in back. I imagine that the blue Necron warriors are in one of the ghost arcs, and yeah, the one that says warriors makes perfect sense. So this one on the left. The other one is kind of out in the open. If I do say so myself, it's just kind of sitting there saying, please win your 3 points off of me. So I'm not sure where else it was supposed to deploy, but I'm not sure if that was the right place to do it. And yeah, past that, we just have, like, this is the list. It's all there. I think it's okay, but I'm not sure how I feel about the deployment overall. It seems scattered, I guess is the word I'd use.
Yeah, it is a little bit, isn't it? But he wants to protect his Necron warriors more. Yeah, sure, he's feeding them a Ghost Arc for free, but he's keeping that obsec alive, and it's in a good position to advance on like that mid-board objective behind that next rune.
Yeah.
And that's gonna because remember the Robodogs from Mars guys are not infantry, or Beast of Swarm, I don't think, so they can't actually go through the rune walls. They have to actually sort of like pad rounds. So if he's able to get on that objective on the mid right hand side of the board, then happy days. It's going to have a hard time taking him off that. And I think he's going to value the primary scoring a little bit more than the secondary, because it's like essentially a 5-point swing as opposed to like a 3-point swing for just getting rid of that Ghost Arc.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I can understand why he's done it, for sure. Again, it's really difficult to, like, some like long range deployments you can actually get out of range turn 1 of ceramic guns. This is one where, like, from turn 1 everything's in range. There is no hiding, like, from that. You know, you are going to be in range and you're going to get shot unless you're behind like LOS blocking pieces of terrain.
Yeah, this kind of defensive deployment definitely works for, well, this setup. The old-fashioned Dawn of War setup means that those guns are well within range, but it also means that those units are well within, charging on turn 2, at latest turn 3. If the Necron Warriors want to tie some stuff up this game, they should be able to find a way to do that. And the instant that they start tying up the bigger guns in Lockjaw's lines, that will spell the end of things for Lockjaw on whatever flank gets touched. Lockjaw's going to have to focus really hard on making sure to screen with those Cerberus Raiders. So, the Cerberus Raiders are really Lockjaw's answer to that. I imagine that means that Kellen's probably going to try to focus them a little bit if possible, because tying them up is nearly impossible. And there is more than enough shooting within a squad of Necron Warriors to wipe out a squad or two. If they can use Veil of Darkness, then so much the better. And that's worth remembering as well. The AdMech forces are what the AdMech forces are, and they do have the ability to wipe Necron Warriors. But, yeah, Kellen does have the access to a redeploy. So,
the players just roll for first turn, Lockjaw getting a 6, and Kellen getting a 4. Lockjaw opting to take first turn, which I think is the right call.
I would agree. And then we got Protocol, the Eternal Guardian being flipped up.
We had Lockjaw on here and he's not got first turn. Like,
I know. I don't think he hasn't gotten first turn yet, but I don't know. I'm not sure how much he's going to get done this turn, though.
That if you go first as AdMech, you have like a 65% win rate as opposed to like a 40%.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, first things first. Cerberus Raiders moving up and moving to the sides to potentially cause some issues. At least blocking off an area here. We'll see what happens. They are out in the open, but I'm not sure if that matters all that much. We'll have to see. Still, this placement here does offer them some options later on down the line, and they can attempt to snipe the Chronomancer because they do have that sniper rule. To go over the protocols for the Necron player here are effectively based off of Zarek. If Zarek dies, no more protocols. But yeah, the protocols are just like an army-wide bonus based off of your proximity to characters, and the turn 1, they went for the protocol the Eternal Guardian. What this means is that they can choose to either have cover on all of them, or the ability to effectively count like as if they were in heavy cover, so the ability to hold steady or set to defend for all the units. I imagine that Kellen went for Directive 1, so in this case, all of his units are going to count as if they're in normal cover for shooting this turn.
And yeah. Counterpoint to that,
that'll help a lot.
Doctrine selected, we have the Mars Pacific one. Panographic regression. So models that move with heavy weapons don't suffer the penalty. And should increase the strength characteristic of heavy weapons by 1 as well.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
super, super good. It's
Yeah.
one of the main reasons why I think that Animech are doing as well as they are. At least the Mars lists are. It's disgusting. It's absolutely gross. Dusty, how do you counter an Imperium Warlord class Titan? Ever? Any guesses?
I've already read it, so it's ready
Nuts.
already.
Tactical retreat and wait for the mortgage company to repossess it. Yuck! Thanks, Dusty. I appreciate it. I appreciate the sub. But yeah, this is the pre-game move. I'm assuming then, based off of what McPherson said. So, yeah, I forgot that they had a pre-game move. If the Cerberus Raiders have this as a pre-game move, then holy cow, they are about to be an absolute nuisance.
Absolute monsters. They just move up again, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna charge them, and then they just move away. It's like literally a unit that is moving like 3 times technically in a turn, and people used to complain about Yunari.
Yeah, yeah, right. And at least that required a psychic test. This is guaranteed, pretty much. Mind you, if they get so close as to overextend, there are more than enough Necron warriors, and then the ability to surround them with scarabs from behind, that the Cerberus Raiders could just straight up die. At which point, suddenly, the AdMech lines don't have that much front line left anymore. I'm not sure if throwing both of them to the Wolves is necessarily a great idea when so much of the Necron lines are hidden. They will be able to counterpunch extremely hard, and that could prove a huge problem if there's an overextension from the AdMech lines here. Whether or not it's an overextension, though, kind of depends on Lockjaw's success. If it all works out, and like Lockjaw wins, kills off a Chronomancer here with the Cerberus Raiders, which was something he was measuring out for, then yeah, that's fantastic. But I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. It's worth mentioning that there is a Crypto Thrall right in here. The Crypto Thrall does have a bodyguard rule, and it is within 3 inches of the Chronomancer, so I don't think the Cerberus Raiders can actually shoot the Chronomancer.
Yeah,
so we'll
sorry,
have to see what else they do.
Saying that they could hear me, so I'm just making sure.
Yeah, sure.
My microphone is not working for definite. Oh, they can't hear me anymore. It's fixed. Okay, good. Yeah, sometimes like TTS lags a little bit, but it's all good. I'll just mute myself on there. Yeah, so we're gonna see a lot of firepower coming out. He's looking at that bubble right now for Cole, to try and take full advantage of all the rerolls under the sun.
Yeah, it's a really big base, isn't it?
Yeah. One of those big advantages of those big oval bases, you actually get a little bit more out of your auras than you do from a circular base.
Mm-hmm.
Or get your model that has the big legal, obviously, but get a model that has the biggest base that you can find and stick some auras on it. Demon Prince is a good example of this.
Biker apothecaries, biker captains, biker chaplains. Yeah.
You'll get more bang for your buck that way.
Now, if only there were biker librarians.
Company commanders, like they have the 17 mil base, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If they get auras, like.
All right, so what do you predict Lockjaw is going to do in this first turn? Now that they've Lockjaw's guaranteed, they've got it, no problem. He knows that Kellen Feller's Necrons right now are in light cover, and that's not easy to remove. What do you think is going to happen here? I don't know my AdMech super well, but I imagine that they're going to try their best to push out with the Dune Riders and get ready for a turn 2 just collapse on whatever Necrons decide to pop out.
Yeah, pretty much that. Hit the nail on the head. I was actually looking at this Ghost Arc here. It's actually quite well covered by this mid-little L rune. From the vast majority of the firepower.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's not as far in the open as we first thought. I'm actually looking down at it right now, and there is not a huge amount that can really sort of see it unless he comes around this corner with a couple of tanks, and then maybe he can get some shots into it.
Yeah. The Silent King's actually pretty well hidden overall. And if they want to shoot into Triarchal Mineers, which have toughness 7 and a 4-up and vulnerable save, they are more than welcome, I think. And it looks like that might be the case. Trying to get an early kill on Zarak could be, well, extremely fruitful. If Zarak goes down this early, it will probably be game very quickly. But I don't think that will be the case.
With his, 2 pylon things, are they counted as, separate units with wounds? Can wounds carry over if they're both destroyed? How does that work exactly?
So it's a 3-model unit. The Triarchal Mineers cannot be, they aren't characters, so they can be shot. All wounds have to be put onto them first. So
Right.
what this Ballistari unit will be trying to do here is effectively kill the Miniers. They have 5 wounds apiece, so with a 4-up invuln save, could be a little bit difficult. And then once those 2 are dead, it can start going into Zarek. All of them obviously have living metal. None of them have reanimation protocols, thank goodness. As a result, the Miniers can't come back or anything. And the Miniers are harder to hide. This will be definitely a situation where the Iron Striders have a very good chance of killing them off, which is a decent amount of firepower, but past that, we'll have to see what happens. I don't think that Zarek will go down, which will mean that this flank of Necrons will still be very healthy, but we'll see.
So what you're telling me is basically they have shield drones that are 5 wounds each.
Yeah, but they're easier to they're tougher to kill than the shield drones by far. Mainly because if you go out, right, and you aim to kill off the Silent King's big rocks, okay, if you try to kill his rocks and you fail to do so, he will absolutely slam you right back. The flat 6 damage on those things, with the ability to auto wound if need be. They are at strength 12, so anything toughness 6 or less is getting wounded on 2s anyway. They are disgustingly powerful. I think it's the only flat 6 damage gun in the game with contemporary normal use models I have seen in 40k. They hit extremely hard. So these Ballistaris need to make sure that they kill both of them if they're going to stop them from being useful this turn. And then after that, they still have to worry about Zarek himself. Now, Zarek is hard to kill, but not impossible. Even the Tau can kill him. So it's definitely a doable thing. But it might require an overextension here by Belisarius' Call and these Iron Striders putting themselves out into the open. We'll have to see whether or not the Necrons have the ability to fight back against that or punish it at the very least. We can see here some excellent movement out of the Cerberus Raiders, by the way, putting themselves within the quarter very very safely, very easily, and this is not nearly as dangerous as it looks. If the units over here try to get a charge off into the Cerberus Raiders, they'll just fall back, making the charge nearly impossible, and effectively blocking off this objective. It's insane. So really, really good play over here. These Cerberus Raiders haven't moved yet this turn. We'll have to see what happens, but we can predict that Belisarius is going to move within range of both the Cerberus Raiders and the Ballistari in order to try to give them rerolls. No, and the Silent King is not Titanic. He's a Lord of War, but he is less than 18 wounds. So as a result, he can be obscured, which is super, super handy.
Yeah, it's like I've noticed that they're doing this a lot lately. Like, Mortarion, I think, lost his Titanic keyword. I think he used to have it. I checked my 8-bit codex to be 100% sure. And I'm kind of hoping that Knights weirdly also lose their Titanic keyword, because right now we have that really dumb secondary that just gives you 10 points for killing a Knight. And it's
the Monolith kept it.
Oh, the Monolith kept it, did it? Well, who uses
Yeah.
that? I've not seen a Monolith since well, I'll tell you what, the last time I saw a Monolith was in a display cabinet at Games Workshop. Don't think the thing had been touched in years. That was the last time I saw a Monolith. Mm-hmm. It's really sad. It's quite an iconic, nice, very nice looking sort of model.
Yeah, and the new ones are really, really, really sweet. I bought one myself. They're really cool. I love them. So right now, this Cerberus Raider unit is currently not getting engaged on all fronts because it's within 6 inches of the middle. You need to be outside of that 6-inch aura. So I assume that Lockjaw is going to be moving those Cerberus Raiders in such a way as to accommodate that requirement in order to get 3 points for engage on all fronts turn 1.
Yeah,
we'll have to see. If not, there's always a plane. But I think that keeping the plane alive for a little bit longer to strike when it's appropriate might be a good way to do things, or to guarantee a second turn engage without it really sacrificing much either.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does. Movement is probably the most important phase in 9th edition now. I actually see people spending more time on their clocks during movement in a few games than we do on anything else, because it is so important to think a turn ahead. What objectives am I going to be on? What objectives do I need right now? Mm-hmm. Where do I need to position to shoot what I need to kill, and not worry about certain things until a turn or two later. So definitely getting to see movement play a much bigger part in the game, which I think is a great and positive change coming into 9th edition.
Mm-hmm. So right now the Cerberus Raiders are moving around in such a way as to block off the objective. Some of them have line of sight onto this Chronomancer, who is out in the open. There are no crypto thralls nearby this poor guy here, so this could be a weakness in the. This could be left hanging. This Chronomancer being left out in the open like this could be a hanging pawn, as it were. Mind you, it doesn't necessarily mean it's definitely dead. 1 CP to get back up is definitely an option for that cryptic. As for the Sarek, according to chat, math-wise, he loses the vast majority of his wounds just from the Ballistari alone. We'll have to see. But
yeah,
yeah, it is difficult.
Admittedly, we do have the advantage of Math Hammer, like right here.
Yeah,
like, watching it and everything, but we will have to actually see that play out. Like dice rolls and dice rolls. Like Math Hammer is not 100% accurate.
Yeah,
because you can roll garbage, you could roll even harder than what it says. You know, it's great to have a look at, but take it with a pinch of salt would be like my advice.
Yeah,
I played enough games to know that.
So we still need to see Balisaria's call move into range. The Engine Seer is definitely within range over here, so the Balisari are getting that bonus there to shoot up Sarek. And yeah, like I was saying, it's difficult to hide this guy. When you're playing a Necron list like this, it's almost not worth deploying coyly, as it were. Doing the deployment game where you try to deploy your non-essential units first and then deploy your big stuff at the end with a list like this tends to bite you in, well, it tends to bite you in the bum far more often than I'd care to admit. The reason being is that this guy needs to hide. Zarek is absolutely instrumental to the list. I'm wondering if placing it further behind this wall and guaranteeing the obscurement and hiding the Triarchal might not have been a bad idea in this case. I might have even spent the CP to make room by putting some stuff in reserves just to make sure that Zarek lives and was hiding in this game. But we'll have to see. If he survives, then the Ballistari are kind of out in the open, and there could be some potential for a Veil and Blast.
Yeah.
As well as some other things to tag and all that stuff. We'll see.
I was going down to a model-ized view to make sure all these guys could see. Just in case the red line was not clear enough, and they can just see, like literally, like the edge of this veneer here.
Absolutely can. Yeah, and the other thing is, if Sarek does die here, he loses all of the command protocols. That's the only noble in the list, which is bad. Considering that a good chunk of this list's power comes from the ability to really abuse the command protocols mechanic as hard as possible and get the most benefit out of it, which is a lot of benefit. The ability to get +1 strength on the turn you charge, the ability to just be tougher, get extra AP, fall back and shoot. All those things are made possible, and extra movement. Like, all those things are possible so long as Zarek is alive. If Zarek goes down, yikes! But we'll have to see how Lockjaw does. Lockjaw did roll pretty well in the last game that we saw, versus, I believe it was Curry, actually.
It was, yeah.
Oh boy. So we'll have to see how this goes.
We see the robot dogs doing what I talked about, guys, like round this objective here, literally round the lip of the objective, using that base size and not allowing anything to move within an inch of them in the movement phase. So boxing off the objective, in effect, from the Necrons on turn 1. Be interesting to see if the Scarabs can get round, but then again, the Scarabs fly. They do, right?
Yes. Yep, they move 10 and fly.
Different ground doesn't matter to them. So maybe with a lucky advance, he can maybe get 1 on. We'll have to see how that plays out on the turn for Necrons. And not really bothering to do it as much on the objective on the other side, but that is just a wall of robots like across that objective. Just this go zone. Really good zoning out that Admech have. I remember Admech just used to play style of I'm gonna shoot you off the board and win. Very alpha beta strike style army, like in 8th edition, and now there's a lot of sort of like funky plays that you can do with them like this in 9th edition, which is really good to see. It makes the army not just completely one-dimensional in terms of what it can do.
Yeah, Engine War did a lot for them, not just in terms of the softer mechanics, the written rules, but also the models themselves have done quite a lot of work to make the army viable. I think that it's safe to say that a list that had 27 of these Cerberus Raiders probably would still just do great, almost no matter what else was put into the list, because of how unbelievably strong these things are at playing the objective game and at forcing your opponent away from the objectives that you want.
Yeah, super good units coming out of the PA, quite right in saying that. But I don't know. We didn't even go over who we think is going to win this one, did we? Like,
Well, we now know the the potential here. But let's go ahead and start a prediction, folks. Let's go ahead and see who believes in what right now. We've got Necrons. We've got Sisters. And by Sisters, I mean AdMech. It's been a long day. Who do you guys think is going to win? You guys have 30 minutes to predict it. Although that prediction might turn out to be very, very, very long queue time, considering how strong an AdMech first turn can be.
Yeah, people will just be like changing. It's like, oh, I'd make it going first. Oh, I'd make it killed this.
It's just, I'm okay. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually stressed. I'm rooting for the Necrons. I'm rooting for Kellen because I play Necrons. I love my robot friends. But at the same time, oh my god, the number of guns! It's too many guns! And in comes the copter. It's gonna fly up a little ways. It's not gonna be using its Aura Tourney Offy ability at this point, so we'll have to see what happens. Wait, doesn't TSK get cover from the protocol? Yes, he does. So currently these things are saving on a 2 right now. And they do get the benefit because they have the Command Protocols ability as... Let's see. Yes, they do. So yeah, these are 2-up saves followed by 4-up invulnerables. There's something there for sure.
Yeah.
Dynastic agents do receive Command Protocols. The Catan are the only ones that don't. They have the Command Protocol ability, and so they benefit from it.
Yeah, speaking of Sam, there isn't really any in this list. He's not needed them. Like, no Nightbringer, Deceiver, any of that. Like, I'm just going to look at you and deal, like, a million mortal wounds.
Yeah, the triple Catan list is something that I expect to see, and something I'm actually tempted to pilot myself in the next season. Just so that way, I force myself to learn how to use those things. They are cool models. They are very strong models. And they use a fairly unique mechanic. I love them. They are super, super cool.
They're also very good against Death Guard, which we're going to see a lot of, like, next season. Like, Death Guard do not like mortal wounds, because they now have, like, no defense against it, other than, like, a 6-up Feel No Pain. So, Catan are very, very good against Death Guard.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Probably Dark Angels as well, actually, now that I think about it. Like, it's great having, like, perma-transhuman, but if you're just, like, getting shunted by, like, mortal wounds at the end of the movement phase, that doesn't mean anything. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It'll be one of those things where the mortal wounds can just thrash the majority of the defensive layers that Dark Angels have. Ignoring those defensive layers is the only way to really beat those Deathwing Terminator blobs. It is gross. I have tried to shoot them with an entire Tau gun line, and it took 3 turns to kill 5 knights, pretty much. It was gross. Yeah. Not that Tau firepower is all that much to write home about, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I'm so stressed. I just want Kellen to survive a turn.
So, yeah, I can't, guys, I'm sorry, I can't go with the dirty. As a Xenos and Chaos player, I cannot root for the Filthy Imperium on the other side of the board. So I've got to give it to the Robot Men, the true Robot Men, the Necrons, for this one. So yeah, that's gonna be me. Great tactical analysis.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you're the underdog here. 11% of people in the chat currently believe that Necrons will be the winners. AdMech is sitting at a very happy 89%. So for those who are believing who Necron believers, if this pans out your way, you're gonna get so many channel points. Oh, jeez. Alright, so the lists have kind of moved forward. There's a lot of denial here to make sure that nobody can just sneak in or whatever. There is a 10-man group of people, but they're inside of a Ghost Ark. I'm not exactly sure what exactly he's trying to screen out here. I know the Veil of Darkness exists, but it's such a big blob of people that has to teleport that screening out almost an entire corner is actually totally fine, because there's no way you can shove all the 20 warriors into a tiny sliver of a corner. But hey, looks like Lockjaw here is just being as safe as possible. All right, we're moving on to the psychic phase. That was fast. Moving on to the shooting phase. I'm gonna go ahead and turn up our heroes, our players, and we'll see what they're saying in just a moment here. You'll be right back. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and take a look at what these players are saying.
What's up?
I'm going to give the Balustrade +1 to wound. I'm
There's
give
+1 to wound, folks.
On wound rolls of 6.
Okay.
We got the buffs. It's Buff City. We can see them in here. This won't be pretty. All right, here come the shots.
So all good to roll, Kellen? We're okay?
Yeah, we're all good.
Oh, okay, hitting on 3s.
Rerolling everything. Now remember, we are in the Canticle of the Mars time, which is a bad time for Necrons.
6s cause extra hits.
Oh my god, so many 6s. So
And
25
yeah.
hits.
With 8 strength, that's right to wound.
Even more 6s.
So these are 3s to wound here. Really good roll.
So,
And then with +1 to wound,
4
it's
mortal
2s.
wounds, and then we've got...
mortal wounds on
Oh,
5s
wait.
because I get +1 to wound.
Yeah, because the mortal wound strat
Is
is
that
not
on... I thought that was on
unmodified.
unmodified sixes.
So if
No,
you give
Wrath of
plus
Mars
1 to
is
wound,
not
then all of a
unmodified
sudden you're
six,
doing
but it
mortal wounds on
safeguards
5s and 6s.
Wrath of Mars, doing what Wrath of Mars do.
Alright, well, I'll take out 2 Minears and take 3 wounds off of it.
Now this would all
then
happen
we've got
after the
3
fact,
saves.
actually.
Oh, the mortal wound.
Yeah.
What's up?
Mortal
The
wounds
mortal
are
wounds are
resolved
allocated after the regular damage.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Pretty good saves. though.
Well, let's see. Yep, so we are going to... So 3 of these will be absorbed. Okay, so you kill
Wait,
both
doesn't he have a 4+
Minears with
save?
that. He has cover right now with the protocol, so he has a 2-up save right now. So you're only 18 minus 1.
So both
Yes,
Minears have died, and then Zarek takes
So you kill both
8,
Minears with your shield,
12,
and then we do
13
wounds to
wounds.
Zarek, leaving him at 3 wounds.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Mind you, now that's the end of the shooting that can affect Zarek. So Zarek is now
a 3
safe.
plus save, but then I have a 2-up
Yeah.
cover.
Ugh.
Oh, yep,
That was-
because of part.
Still painful.
Oh yeah. The copter should not be able to see him
Couldn't
because
hide
of all
him
the
from
obscuring
everyone.
terrain in the
There was a
way.
chance we were gonna alpha strike him. Okay, no problem.
What? Okay, so that was a heck of an alpha strike, and there's not really anything that Kellen will be able to do
13
back.
minutes. Okay, sure.
Against those
good
Balistari
job,
this
guys.
turn.
Who's next?
But the fact that Zarek is alive is a blessing already, so Kellen should be counting his lucky stars.
Maybe the con. Nah,
Yeah,
close.
like I think in the game against Nick
Okay,
is
let's
like
do this.
one
Scorpius
of the
Disintegrator
matches
in
that
the
you
back
played
is gonna
with the
fire,
Necrons. We saw like a million smites
all of his weapons.
go into the Silent King like one turn, and I think pretty much the same situation like
fair.
happened. And he, although I think his wounds were a bit higher, I think it
Fair
was on
enough
like
with the
9
ghost
wounds or
dog.
something afterwards.
Yep, and
And
everything else. into
he was
the
still
back.
able to play. He was still able to
I'm
party.
spending a
You know,
CP on
like
quantum
later on in the
reflection.
game.
Sure. 4+
So
invulnerable.
good that he is still alive.
Let's
he
roll
has
for
living metal
first
as well, right?
antidote.
So he will be getting a wound back.
Yeah,
turn.
but only one.
Okay.
So maximum number of
And
wounds
wounds
if
on 4,
he
so
picks
heal
the correct protocol and is still alive by the time he gets it.
4
He
ups.
can get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wounds back. So he'll be at 9
so
wounds
9
by the end of the
damage,
game if
and
all goes.
those see it.
If he picks it once,
I'll
10 if
spend
he picks
CP
it
to roll
twice.
one of those saves.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point,
So
Zarek
then
is in a
you
weird
get
spot,
damage.
and is now on a low enough bracket that his actual combat efficiency is quite low.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't. I mean it looks really bad, but remember he's got all of his like scoring units are still fine. Like yeah, the Silent King's absorbed a ton of firepower. He's still up. That's a blessing. But all of his scoring units, the warriors, the scarabs, they're still fine to play the mission.
Okay.
You know?
I think we're back.
Additionally, Zarek can still be useful just by
So
applying
next will be
auras.
the missile-
That
Yeah.
20-man squad of warriors is more than
weapons
worth
we
its
get
points
max
due to the
shot.
efficiency granted by Zarek's auras.
Reroll Belisarius.
Actually, I have a question.
And this is strength 8. so
Do
we
the
get the
auras
1
turn off as he gets damaged?
Uh,
Because that's a thing that could be the case. I'll just check that quickly.
AP2, so we'll have 6-up saves.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think they will.
No, the only things that turn off are the the other two
And that's
Triarch
what fired the heavy
Pharaon's weapons. The auras do not turn off.
Ding on 3.
So now the Scythe of Dust
You
and the
only
Staff of
have
Stars are
five
gone, so
episodes
it's just the
on
Scepter of
the
Eternal
Sacred.
Glory
Oh,
currently.
thank you. You're right. I was confused with the plane. Let me reroll the sequence. Thank you, Curie.
So, chat, just to quote the rule here for Zarek, because right now there's just a bunch of other stuff going on. Like, it's some incidental shooting, some warriors might die. I don't expect much else will happen this turn that's going to be a huge get or a big deal.
6 at -0.
But to quote the Auto Torpor ability here, if Zarek has 8 or fewer wounds, it can't make attacks with the Staff of Stars. It does lose the Pharaon of Stars ability.
What is this?
Never mind, he has lost both
Alright,
of those auras. That's brutal. Oh no! And he doesn't get them back until like 2 turns from now.
That round of shooting.
Correct.
Oh, that's not good at all.
So we could go 1.
I am
2,
so
3,
wrong.
4,
And yet,
6, 7,
I
8,
feel so
9.
bad.
Who does that block?
You said
Wow! Okay, and
we
there
just
goes
saw
the
8
number of
Necron
people.
warriors go down.
Yep, that'll happen. And yeah, I was incorrect. Sorry, chat. Yeah, he does lose his auras. I was wondering if he did. And then, kind of like Tabletop Titans, I didn't read the blah blah blah.
4 come back. Okay.
So, and then 4 of them come back, which is good stuff. All right, so far, the Purple Necron Warriors have been hit, but not hard enough to really have it matter that much. There's a Ghost Ark nearby. 5 of them going down doesn't even really cause much of a morale issue.
So I think the only thing that can see them now is the Dune Rider. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for the play them now. Yeah.
Yes, Finlandery, he can absolutely go ahead and use the 1 CP stratagem to bring Sarek back up to top profile. It is 1 CP that he can absolutely afford as well, with 13 CP. So he can turn on the auras anytime, but the fact that he now has to spend that CP every turn for pretty much the rest of the game in order to make that happen, kind of sucks.
Alright, so that's Pheramite.
Alright, so the Ghost Ark
Got
currently
everything
at 8
going
wounds, now
Yeah,
has
everything.
Transhuman, now has the Quantum Shielding stratagem
Okay,
applied,
so
so
he's
now
got
has a
the
4 up
plus
invulnerable as well as the
first.
Transhuman
Pheramite first.
bonus effectively.
Yeah, if he loses the Ghost Ark, that could be a big deal. Like,
That one,
Oh, and wounding on 4s. 'cause quantum
it would be
shield.
helpful to have for sure,
Jesus
but it's
Of course.
really good rolling,
Okay.
really good rolling from Lockjaw here. His dice are too good.
We
Two
saved
wounds
it.
go
it's because
through.
we use red dice with Admech.
Number
Like,
2.
it's when I use like
Oh,
must use
Come
like
on to your next.
dice with
The rate of
Light
fire
Talk.
is
Okay, these Scorpius are doing the work.
hitting on all hits. Okay. And this is strength 8, so wound on 4s.
Okay.
Oh.
Lockjaw rolling hotter
What is
than...
the average?
No, like, he
What
should
is
be
average?
losing about 50% of his hits at that point,
Okay.
and he's not.
Please give me my dice.
Uh-oh.
Oh, lag issue maybe.
Yeah.
Oh no, there we go.
All right, we need 4s here.
These dice are absolutely
Yeah, Curie put it best in the chat just there.
5 wounds.
2 go through, it's enough to kill the Ghost Ark. Does it
Yeah,
explode?
2d3 damage, he's toast.
No. All right, so that's the end of the Ghost Ark, and 3 points now for our
Yeah, I
Admech player.
cannot believe I just rolled like that.
The Chronomancer should still be sort
Okay,
of
who's
safe
next?
because the
This
Crypto Thrall's
Scorpius
within the ruins.
Disintegrator will fire up.
Okay, now the Dune Rider is going to go ahead and fire into the Necron Warriors. This should kill off another handful
no
of them.
Rerolls, no extra hits, just plain old 3s to hit.
There should be 3s to hit.
And 3.
Okay, and if the Strength 5, 3s to wound. Followed by
5 wounds, AP 0.
AP 0 means that they got 3s to save as
Fours,
well.
Not rolling your dice. 4-ups.
Should,
Okay, 3 die.
well, it didn't matter whether it was 3s or not. So,
So
okay,
then they
3
can
more
eliminate
die. But who gets back up? None.
Nope, they don't.
None. Okay, so that was my experience with Necrons lately.
So if you have 8
Nothing
models,
gets
they
back up.
could actually have a morale issue.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Like, even with a reanimator, nothing gets back up.
Wait, reanimated models.
It's way to fire though, right? Like
They
you
don't
put
fire.
you put enough shots
But
as
I still
Necrons,
lost
and
it.
they are going to fall over, like eventually.
Yeah. So long as you have enough fire that gets through.
Next up,
Yeah.
we are gonna fire.
But if there's hot rolling on the reanimation, then yeesh.
He is gonna fire.
Oh, yeah,
all
it can
weapons
be a
into
real
the
pain,
sphere of
like,
swarms for lack of
for
I know it's
sure.
expensive, but I feel like a couple robots would be good against Necrons.
Okay.
Well, the
Let's
Ballistari
put
do the
the
same
missile
job,
launcher first.
but are
You have
highly mobile by
last
comparison.
weapon,
I
so
have
6
9
shots.
models.
They seem
Yeah,
to be doing just fine.
No, it's.
The
I can
robots
s-
are too static and they're
Wait,
too
minimum
expensive.
3.
Like
Okay, I'll roll the
is
rate of
the big issue with them. I think we covered that like
Oh,
last
that's
time.
6 shots.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And
I
as soon-
like
as
them.
soon as you bad touch them, like they have no game.
Hitting on 3s.
Like,
Yeah. I like
No
them.
reroll.
They are extremely powerful,
Wounding
especially with
on-
Wrath of Mars. They do an insane amount of damage. But in a game
forward
like this one,
APG.
where it's so mobility,
straight
Right.
you know, where it's so much
each
about
one
mobility,
damage.
it is difficult to
Time.
justify those
First
poor
missile,
things.
it's 2 damage. 2 damage. That'll
Kills
kill a
one.
base. Third missile, 2 damage. Last missile, 1.
That is exactly what Lockjaw wanted. Kill one base and only bring the
fire.
other one to 1. There's no
I
way that
appreciate
base
that.
gets back up. Okay. Just chipping away.
9 shots. I'll remember this time.
yeah, this is turning into a really good turn, and this is what we saw like last game
One
against
extra, 6
Archangel.
shots.
Like,
And wounding on.
just deleting like
turn
some
5.
key units, damaging a few
APZ.
more.
Yeah, damaging Zarek here
first.
hurts, but
Yeah,
Red Necron warriors should be able to put in a serious dent into the plans over here. The
Rolls
Sark
another, and
should
puts me
live
down
as long as the
to
Archaeopter doesn't, immediately kill him.
and
does
then the
he
Fahrenheit-
convert- Oh, wait, no. Oh shit!
No, I don't think
I'm
you're not
sorry,
supposed to
I-
roll reanimation until the unit finishes the attacks, right?
Exactly. That's why I said I messed up when I rolled that one.
Okay, then
I
the
don't
Fahrenheit
have the
cannon.
fives or the-
All right, so slight addendum there. Nothing should have been rolled yet for reanimation because he has to wait until all the shooting is done.
Hey, sometimes you think that a vehicle doesn't have like
This
triple
game really
shots.
doesn't want to play.
Not everybody brings repulsors to the game. This is
And then
true.
they're like, well, I've got this weapon, and now I've got this weapon.
Okay.
Oh yeah, did I
don't know
mention
why
this
that
weapon?
happens.
Oy, oy, oy.
And Fahrenheit.
Like, imagine if guard super heavies were like more
So
of like a
that is
thing.
going-
Three.
Like every time it's Necroplate, be like,
so that'll
can I
kill
roll
2 more.
reanimation yet? Like,
So in total, I have 16.
some of these things have like a million guns.
Mm-hmm. All right,
yeah.
now the reanimation roll proper.
Yeah, because I lost 4. in
And
total.
you're looking for 4 or 5 pluses. And you
He's
got
got
it.
one
Yeah,
of the
5
Scarab bases back after losing 4 of them. Okay, at least that's 15 points back into the list that he didn't have before. That's something. Yeah. Well, that's why AdMech turn 1 is brutal, and this board just doesn't have as much obscuring as this list needs. That's the problem with hordes.
Okay, let's have this
Like
work.
this
You
one.
wanna fire
It might have been worth spending some
you don't have any
CP to keep some
wounded
stuff
models.
in reserves,
sure.
just so
So,
that
12
way
shots
you would have the
from,
space to
you
deploy
might-
other things.
Hitting on 3s. No.
Yeah, that becomes like a learning experience.
wounding on
Like
3s.
Oh, for
again,
sure.
like
That'll be 4s, or-
reserving is powerful
Fives.
against like
Mhm.
lists that are just gonna like shoot you to death. Like I remember having to do
Keep
that
rolling your dice.
back against like
Uh,
custodes when they
It
were
doesn't die,
running
though.
3 of like the Forge World tank.
You're good.
Back in
Raiders.
8th.
Okay,
Like, I had to
let's have
reserve stuff
Raiders,
just because they could
shoot
just
at the
blow up
Scarabs.
anything until the tank got nerfed.
Yep.
All of them within range.
Um,
Including the sergeant with his pistol.
Okay, Cerberus Raiders shooting to the Scarab Swarm. This could actually do some damage.
Yeah.
These pistols aren't necessarily amazing, but they are a decent profile, and the mortal wounds should be handy enough that they can actually put a dent into those Scarabs as well.
Hitting on 3s. And wounding on 3s, I think. Strength 4.
yeah, I
Uh,
think
those
the
are
worst
mortal
thing is though is that you have to go through
Okay.
the entire
So-
admech
Two of them
shooting
had
phase for
81
like a
because I made
second
a 6
turn
to
now.
wound,
Like
Six
you're
Right,
not
you
because
take 2
you're going
damage.
second.
and then 3
Yeah.
of
5
zero.
ups.
Like you get to get hit by it once, you get to move on
Okay,
the
so
board, and then you get to
3
get hit by it
damage.
again. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
it,
And then you
it
take
can be a little
mortal wounds.
demoralizing, like for
So
sure.
that'll kill 2
Oh,
guys.
100%. No, if I was playing against this with my list, I would have already lost.
And
Like, oh, there goes
One more gun, just
all
one
of my gun line. Never mind. If there's one thing that's worth mentioning, Engine War was a good book. Pretty much
25
every
pistols
faction
instead
that
of
was an
one
Engine
rifle.
War
Correct.
got
That's why
really
you spread
good
shots
because
with
they are an
rifles
Engine
and
War.
One shot from the pistol.
Yeah, demons
Okay.
were in that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they were.
So-
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
Demons-
yeah.
Yeah,
course they were.
Demons, AdMech, even Chaos Knights got a big enough boost from there that they're not the
And
worst
you get
army
them
in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Oh, the
Imperial
pistol
Knights
didn't
are
wound,
so
you
much
didn't
more
need
worse
to make armor.
Oh,
by
sorry.
comparison.
Yeah, although I mean the Knight
They did wound
Megara
armor, so
being
you could
slapped
do
in as a spicy
but I
option
did
isn't
wound.
actually
And you get good reanimation
a bad
for
play, especially because Ion Shields does
Um,
affect it well in melee, whereas for Chaos Knights the equivalent does not.
the plane.
Yeah.
So
Weird.
like yeah, there's definitely there are some options for Imperial Knights, but you know Chaos Knights at least have something going for them. They're a bit of
He had
a
shot, didn't he?
they're a spicy gatekeeper at this
You're
point.
absolutely right.
Yeah, look, I'll be looking forward to see what they do with Chaos Knights this edition. Would love to get a couple of Knight models if I've got any reason to.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Now at this point, we're not at the end of the shooting phase, but we're pretty much there. The majority of the heavy duty shooting is done, and it is, I think, unlikely that there will be many charges this round. Okay, we've been disconnected from the server.
Oh,
Oh. But
it's
yeah,
just rage quit. That's what it is. Like,
yeah, rage quit. Yeah. No, Lockjaw's the host, and he rage quit from his own first strike.
Yeah, my army's too good. I'm gone. Like, you win.
this was too much. But yeah, based off of where everything is in the game right now, Kellen is obviously looking to do something to kind of catch back up. Right? Like there's got to, like if you're playing in this game right now, your goal is to try to come back into this. And
Okay.
like what do you do?
It's really sad.
What do you
but
think?
You kind of have to move up the board because it's 9th edition, right? So you can't just sit in your deployment zone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just gonna get outscored on primary. You just have to kind of hope and pray that like the shooting is not as effective because Lockjaw that turn rolled way over the odds on quite a few things. So he's got quite a bit of firepower that he can bring back against him, which is going to be good. I think we're going to see these raiders on the right flank around that middle objective focused by the Necron warriors next turn, so you should be able to put a serious dent into those. Maybe there's some play for the Scourge to get onto that objective as well.
Looks like everything.
So that would be like a 50, rather than like hold more, that would like hold the same for Lockjaw's turn 1, so that's going to be like super important. On the other side of the map, where like all of his like castle tanks and crawlers,
Yep, all good.
I think he just has to kind of like let that go for now, because if he moves this like flank out anywhere, there's going to be so much firepower that they're going to be able to have to take.
Yeah.
What's your range spot?
One thing about this deployment that is kind of driving me wild is how strong this central area is for a shooting army. And how it has effectively cut the Necron forces in two, or whatever forces would have been on the other side anyway. These lines of fire are so unbelievably strong for Lockjaw's list.
Yeah, I mean we do have maps that do have like big middle L's, but that's like why we have variety, right? You don't go to a like GT or even like a local tournament knowing like what you're going to play on like all the time.
And the terrain can vary wildly in an IRL tournament. At least in this case, it's a little bit more standardized.
So like the Forest, for example, have 2 huge L's in the middle, like on every mission that they use for.
All right, at this point, the Archaeopter is looking for where to put his Cognitive Heavy Stubbers.
It seems.
Okay, rerolling because Call said so. One thing that the AdMech don't want is the core keyword added to their codex. Because
it could be fine, or it could be like really bad. Like,
okay, no saves, so that's going to be 1 Scarab down.
And then go ahead and reanimate.
And then reanimating off of 1. What?
Wow.
Scarab comes back. Good roll. You gotta love it.
Just leapfrogging the movement as well, which is great.
Yep, just moving that little bit further. This squad might actually be unable to do its fallback. So no charge. Morale now. We need to see what happens to this purple squad over here.
2 CPO to pass, or?
Alrighty.
Yeah, like the position. The one thing is with the Einstriders, like he can actually play with this mid run here to hopefully. Oh, DC'd again.
Poor Lockjaw. He's just trying to host.
I love how we've had no DCs for like all the streams apart from like the grand final, of course.
Well, the instant you put the words grand and final onto a stream,
the internet knows.
The internet knows.
Like, they're like, this isn't a GW sanctioned event. DDoS them. We're actually having a joke earlier because we were going through the Alpha League FAQ, and the amount of things that GW has added into its FAQs that are in the Alpha League FAQ, we're like, there must be some guy reading this on the rules team, like just adding stuff from it.
Either that, or you guys are really good at your job. I'll take that second one if it means being able to toot one's horn. All right, seems like everything is back to the way it was. We haven't lost any additional progress at all that I can see. Let's get back to it. So, at the end of round 1 here, we've got Bring It Down for 3 points already. Engage All Fronts is going to happen for 3 points. And currently, we're still sitting on a very strong While We Stand We Fight potential. So that's going to be 16 points at the end of turn 1 for our AdMech friend Lockjaw here. A really strong turn 1, actually. And one that I think will probably decide a good chunk of the rest of the game.
So guys, I don't know how those dice happened, but that was absolutely ridiculous.
I'm glad at least he realizes this. Mind you, if they had gone any more ridiculous, Sark would be dead. And that was definitely a possibility. So that Sark lived at all is actually a small blessing here, based off of what happened. But it is absolutely possible that the Necrons lost the deployment. We'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah,
there are a couple priorities here for the Necron lines.
That Minear had been like literally like
An inch more to the left or something, yeah.
I think I worked it out like 0.2 or 0.3 of an inch, like towards the right. Then he'd have been fine.
If it had been put on the right side of Zarek's model, he would have been fine.
Or that as well. That works too.
Like, just swap it to the other side. But, nah. Just to keep it as hidden as possible. It would have been fine behind the obscurity, but
this is 9th edition where you just punish mistakes like that.
You have to. You have to. Now, at this point, the Necron player, Kellen, there's one secondary which cannot be scored this turn. Purge the Vermin cannot be done on turn 1. So, at this point, what the Admech player, what Kellen's going to be trying to do is prepare for Purge the Vermin on turn 2. If the forward units can be destroyed, then Purge the Vermin can go off for 4 points every turn for the rest of the game, pretty much, so long as the Admech player doesn't extend into the Necron board's board edge. We'll end up seeing if that ends up being the case, and they'll have to because of engage on all fronts. What this will allow the Necron player to do is potentially pick off units here and there. So playing defensively and cagely here is the answer, and staying away from this gun nonsense in the middle. Past that, secondaries here. We got Bring It Down. We need to raise some banners as well. We're looking to kill vehicles. We're looking to raise some banners. Now, killing vehicles is going to be very difficult without those Minears, or at least it will be harder. Additionally, the Necron warriors are far away from all the vehicles, and the vehicles are going to be largely content to sit in the back. So now Bring It Down seems a bit of a spooky choice.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. Like I think he does actually.
You gotta be kidding.
Get this on the primary.
Lockaw, no! Yeah, so focusing on the primary is important, but like the primary is going to be 40 to 45 points pretty much guaranteed. Like that has to be the way that it is. Otherwise, I mean, there's no point in playing this game out anyway. The game will be decided by secondaries, and what secondaries they'll be able to like really pick up a lot of points on. Kellen needs to deny While We Stand We Fight to his opponent, which is difficult because a lot of those things are super, super far away. And also manage to keep his board edge completely clear, which is going to be infested with infantry that he doesn't want to kill.
Yeah, exactly. So, Necrons do have like plays that they can make like early on. It's just gonna be a case of surviving the turn 2 like firepower barrage again. It could be like super difficult. But like you said, he's got to get banners up as well. So on that right flank, if he does decide to commit with the Necron warriors and try to get the scouts on the objectives, what exactly is gonna raise a banner there? I think he's fine on the other flank. Like, to do that for sure.
The tech priest keeps using his DDoS attack. 10 out of 10.
And that Mechanicum. What are they doing? Like ruining our finals.
All right, so are we switching up hosts or? I wonder if we're switching up hosts. Because poor Lockjaw apparently can't quite stay connected.
We'll try it one more time. And then
We'll try it one more time. Okay, cool.
And I can host it, or Kiri can host it, or something. Be fine.
Either way, really strong turn. Necrons are in a bit of a pickle. They have a late game, so long as they can play KG and keep the Necron warriors alive. The instant that the blobs of warriors go down, though, that's game over, for sure. Those are the only, like, at the same time as being a big, strong unit that allows them to really put their pressure up on the board, they're also extremely vulnerable because they are large, easy to hit, and are being tacked against in the meta right now. A lot of people are building their lists to be able to take out Necron warriors, and we saw the volume those Ballistari can put out with a +1 to wound, +1 to hit, exploding 6s and everything. They can easily wipe 20 Necron warriors that aren't Zarakan in no time at all, especially if they roll hot.
Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why we're definitely starting to see like more tanks than our Admech come back into the meta. To try to deal with stuff like that. Also, the changes to Bring It Down as well.
Yeah, that was a big boost.
More viable for a lot of armies. And also, we got some great updated rules for some new vehicles as well. Like, I'm loving the new Plagueburst Crawler, for example. It's great that it hits on freeze now. It's got a nifty little stratagem as well, to increase the damage on the mortar. So yeah, great tank. It's a bit pricey still, I think. Like it should be 10 points cheaper. But yeah, great tank, and don't get me started on contenders because they're amazing as well. Just seeing if they're remaking the game. They're just doing some like ping checks, guys, to make sure that everything's settling down.
Makes sense.
In that regard.
Just in case, though, I am 100% putting up a technical issues sign for next time. Because apparently it's needed.
Write an angry letter to Tabletop Simulator.
Dear TTS.
And forward it to Games Workshop as well, just because. Like,
please.
And never get a reply from either of them.
Hey, you know, getting a reply from people is hard. I've tried, and it. You know what? If GW ever actually responded to an email of mine, I'd be impressed.
Dude, if they responded to an email of mine, I'd print it off and I'd frame it in like a golden frame and put it on my wall. Like it's like a relic. Like them replying to something directly. It's not an automated response. I don't think I've ever like mailed GW. Oh wait, yeah, I did, because I didn't have I had a box and it didn't come with instructions in it.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Lame.
So I mailed them, and they're actually pretty quick, and they just sent me like a digital copy of the instructions for it. So
man, and here I am having made like a little library of all the creation booklets, just in case if my friends or me had a missing booklet. It's like, oh wait, I still have this one. All right, I think we got the game up and running again. Here we go. 16 to 10, just in case if you're just starting to tune in here. It is Necrons versus the Mechanicus, the Adeptus Mechanicus here. It is the grand finals of the Alpha League of Season 6. This is pre-FAQ, so pre the January FAQ, and things are gonna get weird now. The Necrons are about to have their first turn, and they've been hit extremely hard, all things considered. They haven't like lost a whole ton of points or anything, but the things that have taken the heat are in a bit of a rough spot. Their positioning's a little bit harsh as well, and the AdMech have control of the middle because of these incredible firing lanes. If Lockjaw watches this in hindsight, the next time you make this map, put some dense terrain in the middle, maybe. Just to maybe slow this down a little.
Well, I can confirm that as of the feedback forum, the two vents that you see on this map will have are having dense added.
Sweet. I want one. I want one here and one on the left of the center and one on the right of the center as well.
It's an entire map of vents.
To be fair to Lockjaw, these maps follow WTC specifications 100%, and they are excellent maps for what they need to be, and I like them. There are other people who are experimenting with different ways of making maps. So for the T5S2, for instance, these ruins are not area terrain.
Together. We're getting a team together. Which Lockjaw is so for Season 8.
Oh, look at this spicy Scarab move. Using the Scarabs to potentially block off the Cerberus Raider's ability to fall back.
That's nice. Yeah.
As potential as possible. However, I'm not sure if they went far enough. The Cerberus Raiders will be able to move into the center to escape if need be. I fully support tweaks exactly like the ones you suggested, though. Thank you, the pants. Also, remember, it's exclamation mark lists. Chronomancer coming in behind the Scarabs here to at least provide some backup to these poor little things. They should survive a variety of different things that come out, but the Scarabs are still very, very weak to 10 Electro Priests. The Jazz Hand Priests are going to 100% destroy those Scarabs if they get the chance.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens. To go through the rest of the command phase, we have My Will Be Done being put onto the Red Necron Warriors, which have not been touched. The Chronometron also being put onto them, and then a third Chronometron being put onto the Canoptic Scarab Swarm. It's a lot of 5-up invulns without a whole lot of offensive punch to back it up. We'll have to see how that works out. The Scarabs are going to be at least 3 times as durable as they used to be now with that thing, to be fair. And they do get the chance to reroll charges.
Yeah, makes the Scarabs super durable, super annoying to deal with.
Yeah. One thing that is also worth mentioning is that because of the speed of these scarabs, at least on the left side, the Cerberus Raiders, if they are the ones, because you can only use the stratagem to fall back once per phase,
exactly.
right? So Lockjaw's going to have to choose which unit of Cerberus Raiders is going to be charged and which one won't be. And both of them have to deal with re-rolling to charge like big blobs of units.
Yeah.
And they still want to hold the objectives to be able to hold more on their turn.
And if he doesn't use it on the right flank, like, then Kellen just doesn't have to charge like the other flank, right? So you know it's not going to make like a huge difference like where he applies it. He should get one objective off him this turn, which will type primary, which is like huge
for sure.
You do not want to be going into like a 21 point deficit into like turn 2.
I would agree.
Start turn 2.
Also, the Crypto Thralls have raised the banners on the 2 home objectives. Surprise, surprise, the Action Monkeys doing what Action Monkeys do.
Yep. I don't know what he's going to do with the Silent King. I think he's just going to hang out at the wall for like a couple of turns and just get a couple of wounds back and not take in. Or he could just become like a distraction Carnifex and go, I'm going to make you waste some firepower on him.
Absolutely not. At least in my opinion, if Kellen uses it as a distraction Carnifex, that
he's not going to get anywhere
waste.
to like even be that distracting, right? So yeah, probably like well, he's thinking about moving him there.
Mm-hmm. Currently, he's got no auras, and I don't believe that Kellen has spent the CP to give him the top bracket necessarily. Curry, you can go ahead and correct me on that one if I'm wrong. I expected that would be the case though, just to add auras back. But we'll end up seeing. I would keep that thing safe because currently it's worth quite a lot of points. It's a bring it down for sure, but also importantly, it's his entire backbone. I don't want to get hit. I would not want to get my back broken if I were Zarek right now.
Yeah, there's like nothing in the middle, like this game, because they don't really need to play like the center board at all. Normally we're used to seeing like OFA moments on the stream, so there's like normally like a lot of play like in the middle of the board, right?
And there's definitely still some. There's a lot of offensive firepower there, but I agree. It's not like it's worth
I mean,
points.
there's no like units, some like like we're used to seeing like units always in the middle of the board, regardless of whether there's an objective there or not. And this game, it just doesn't really matter. Like the units are all fast enough to not have to like walk there and then respond either. So yeah, gonna be interesting. I think we might end up but the Necron turn goes as well as the Admech turn 1. I think we might end up playing like a long ways deployment, which is sometimes what happens on the Dawn of War maps. Like the Necrons will take one flank, the Admech will take the other, and then we'll just be playing this sort of like long ways deployment for like turns 4 and 5.
Maybe
tends to happen. Like
yeah, typically speaking, there's a trade, but in both of these cases, Kellen does not want to trade. I don't think he's got a banner on one of the objectives, and at this point, he's splitting his forces into 2 because he can't move through the middle. It's completely locked down by the Admech firepower at the moment. And both flanks of Necrons here are a threat to the Mechanicus. If the Mechanicus can't fend off either flank, then the Necrons will win based off of primary and the huge number of OBSEC that they've got over the Mechanicus. Additionally, it'll mean that something got tagged, which reduces the firepower quite a lot. I think that Lockjaw does kind of have to fight for every single ounce of ground that the Necrons are trying to take, and to make the Necrons bleed for it. They really do not want the Necrons to start moving too close to them.
No. This is great. He's like, well, I don't have to like sack these 2 big warrior blobs right now, so I'm just gonna keep them behind LOS, keep them on my home field objective, and one in the other like corner here, because the Scarabs are gonna be like wave 1, and then wave 2 is gonna be the if you've not seen it by right now, but the classic chaining of 20-man Necron warrior blobs between 2 objectives.
Yeah, very likely. And it's also worth mentioning that this Ghost Arc is still full with another 10 warriors on top of that. So if Lockjaw decides to pop the Ghost Arc for another 3 points, there will be a bunch of OBSEC suddenly on this objective, and then the Cerberus Raiders won't be able to take it back.
Yeah, exactly.
We're also gonna have to see what the turn 3 is going to look like for our command protocols. Hey Rala, welcome, welcome, welcome. What'd you miss? It was a brutal turn 1 for the AdMech, currently 16 to 10 points, bottom of turn 1. We've had a lot of technical issues. Hopefully those are done now. And we've now moved into the shooting phase. I'll go ahead and turn up the players.
Yeah. So shooting is going to be pretty straightforward this turn. Chronomancer firing into the Fusillade on a 3.
Alright, if this Chronomancer hits, it'd be pretty sick. It needs a 4. It hits. Wounds on a 3.
CP to automatically wound.
Automatically wounds. Okay, so that's...
3 AP.
Which
Okay,
means
sure,
it would be a 6-up
I'll
save.
hit 6.
Lockjaw,
And
you bum!
Okay.
That hurts.
Uh,
If that had hit, that would have been 3 plus D3 damage on the copter, which could have been huge.
Silent King is just going to fire his 3 shots into those raiders.
Okay.
Yep.
He does have those 3 shots. The Staff of Eternal Glory still exists.
Coming on to lose. -3.
So they have a 6-up save on those Cerberus
I
Raiders.
have covered 6 to save. Either one. One save
Still
will get
saves
2
one.
damage.
What on earth?
2 damage.
So one of the Cerberus Raiders is on 1 wound. How do these things have 3 wounds? Erever, could you explain that to me, please?
Closest to the scarab.
I can't.
Okay.
Like, why does a little robot dog have the same wounds as a Terminator? Is one of the great mysteries of James' Workshop.
God damn it, James.
Exactly. I know.
This Ghost Ark is going to...
Ghost Ark doesn't really have many other things it wants to double tap. The Cerberus Raiders potentially. But chipping away at the plane now to make sure that it can be killed next turn is going to be important.
Yeah, because it'll be flying in and turning off horrors.
Yeah. One of the things it could also do is, can the Archaeopter use the Wrath of Mars stratagem?
I'm not sure.
Because if it can, that is a very easy fly and then blast Zarek with mortal wounds.
Oh wait, the plane was on a 5+ to save against the Chronomancer attack.
Yeah,
Either way I made it.
I think so. Yeah, you made it either way.
Yeah.
Any unit can use it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Rough.
So we might potentially see that coming out. But no, I love what Kellen's
I'm
done
sorry, I
with this
didn't hear
movement here. It's really good. He's
We're
not
shooting at the...
falling for the bait.
With the Ghost Ark?
Sure, he lost
We
a
will-
few
yeah, we'll
things, a
auto
few
win on
vital key
6s.
pieces turn 1, but
Ghost
Necron's kind
Ark.
of playing a long game
Yes.
in this regard.
Disintegration capacity.
Like, I definitely saw
Okay,
that in his game against Nick in the semi-final. Against, like, Demons
Alright, so
Slash
you've
and
got
friends.
6 wounds at -1.
Alright, 6 wounds onto the Archaeopter
Okay,
from the
so save on
Ghost
2.
Ark. 2 go
2
through.
Go through. He takes 2 damage.
Down to 8.
Yeah.
Okay, it's something.
Just looking to bracket it here.
This Chronomancer will fire his shot at the Rider.
Okay.
Okay.
Hits.
Hit.
Do not get wounded on 3.
and
Oh
fails
no.
to wound.
Shame.
Yeah, he's got range, sure.
And then that is my shooting. That's everything.
Now, the
So
Necron
let's
Warriors
go
could
to
try to charge
charges.
orange, but we'll have to
We're
see.
going
This
to
is
charge
important.
these Scarabs into your Raiders. Are you going to fall them back?
Yes, I am. I'll pay 2.
Alright, so the stratagem has been used on the white Cerberus
And
Raiders.
they are going to fall back.
They
They're
could
not
still be
terrible.
tagged, depending on where things go, or they could fall off the objective. Out of those 2 options,
I think I have to move across
it's a tough call. I think that
So if I were
if
to
the Cerberus Raiders fall back far enough that they are still within range of the objective to try to hold it, that puts them at risk of having the objective stolen from them anyway and giving it to a very durable Scarab Swarm.
then you, I think
Yeah.
it was
Lockjaw
gonna fall
probably is going to fall back all the way to stay out of range and nuke the ability to charge.
So
But this
that's gonna be
opens up a
challenge,
vulnerability
so
here. If these
you
Necron
probably
Warriors
just
really
plus
want
my
to,
charge
they could
rolls.
try to charge the Orange
And you
Raiders.
ignore the heavy cover, the dense, difficult ground, huh?
Yeah, because we fly.
Sure.
We can reroll it with the Chronometron. Okay,
Nope.
so they fail their charge.
Okay,
Point
so not
being,
getting in with the yellow squad, but
I have this objective.
Yeah, so the
Yes,
Ghost
you
Ark
do.
is
Okay.
there already, though.
Completely.
So, no,
And
that's,
these Scarabs will charge
as
the
long as that
Raiders.
Ghost Ark lives,
Yep, can't tactical bleaker now. Sure.
I get a 10.
Nailed
so
it.
Scarabs have nailed it. That'll
So
contest
they
the
will come in
objective.
like so they will just kind of.
Oh, nice little trap there, actually.
Yeah,
And then
wrapping
these
one of them
warriors
as
are
well.
going to attempt to charge them.
Needs that emergency.
And the
break
red
out.
Necron Warriors are going in, because if that trap works,
8.
then the Necron Warriors
No,
are
not
safe
8,
with this
6,
charge.
6, with the
Yeah.
+1.
I see. Right.
Now with the with the Chronometron,
And
not
the
even
Red
needed. That's a 10-inch charge. That's very easy. All right, that's a big win here. Now the Necron Warriors just have to not kill them yet. Or if they do kill them, move immediately behind cover.
Just gotta gently brush them with their like metal hands at this point.
No, there, just caress. But the Necron Warriors are fully capable of killing all of these Cerberus Raiders with the right sort of CP, so... They aren't that durable, the Raiders. They're durable-ish. The important thing with T3, though, yeah, it's an issue. But look, there aren't any rerolls right now. Zarik's rerolls have been turned off.
Should not be touching that tree.
Okay, I understand.
So that makes them far less efficient. And even with Novak, you know, on, like, it could... like, they should not kill them, but it's still possible. The -1 AP just for having charged, and if Kellen really wants to get the kill, there's nothing like +1 strength to do it, and +1 attack. Not that the +1 strength actually matters in this case. Strength 5 is just as good as Strength 4 against these boys.
What are you measuring?
I was just making sure that they moved 11 inches. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You're good.
24 wounds is a lot to get through. I agree. Mind you, the number of attacks those Necron Warriors could get at the strength they could get them at with the AP that they could have
sure they're gonna
can
annihilate the
absolutely
Raiders.
do some thrashing
Cool.
to the point where morale becomes an issue. And it might be within
Actually, I'd rather
Kellen's
them
purview
move a
to
couple
keep these
of
things
lives,
trapped
so
so that way
we're
the
gonna have
Necron
to
Warriors
stay
are
outside
safe
6
for a
inside
full
the
turn. And it either forces the use of
Well, you
2
don't get
CP
his
to
reroll
fall
right
back to do a desperate breakout.
Yeah,
Or
you're right, because he's
yeah.
he's
'Cause I bracketed
near
him.
beyond all relief. Yeah.
Still alive,
He
though.
gets he gets his actually if he's able to heal up one more wound, I think he gets his Baron of the Blades back, his melee buffs.
That would be correct, but
Does
there's
not
no
have
way to
it.
do that unless you spent
And,
CP at the beginning to make it
actually,
act on
his
top
modifier is
profile.
charge, like
Oh
so,
no!
Because
Although
then
when you
Chronomancer
remember things
will
too
just
late.
charge it.
Yep, I mean, we tried to predict,
Okay, that's
but...
fine. Sure. And he's flying. He ignores difficult ground, and he's +1 to
Yeah.
charge. Okay.
Alright, so now the Chronomancer's in to keep the Chronomancers safe, as the
So
Scarab
we'll do
Swarms
that.
should be closer. Now, that does put them desperately
That
close
is the
to a
extent of our
variety of other
strategies,
shooting.
So let's go to the fight phase.
We'll have to see what happens.
Okay.
We'll start with the Scarabs. So we're gonna have just 20 attacks.
Bracketed beyond all belief, yeah. 3 to 4 dead raiders and you can still fall back? Yes. Easily.
Oh, it's my
Yeah,
turn.
very nice.
It is my turn. The wounding on 4s.
Fives?
Okay. No,
No, they
they're
have
Strength 3 to toughness 3.
Strength 3, toughness 3.
So,
So,
that's a lot of
13
wounds for the
minus
Scarabs at
5.
AP -1. So these are saving on 5s.
I'll need 5s.
Does not get them. 1, 2, 3, and a bunch dead raiders.
Yep, so
Nope,
one's
that's
at
4
1.
dead raiders. And another one on
Right,
2
plus one
wounds.
AP because of no lock.
Yikes!
Okay,
That's
plus
just the
11
Scarabs, too.
So 1,
Scarab's lethal.
4,
Well, when you
7,
roll that many
and-
flippin' 6s, yeah.
and
They're both rolling like amazingly on like hit and wound.
Well, at least in this one instance, Kellen is.
oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna delete this one and keep this one alive.
Interesting choice, because that does allow a Necron Warrior to
That's 11
potentially
damage, right?
wrap.
So then these Scarabs, yeah, they will just they will not touch the terrain. But they'll like
Okay.
pile in like so. You can just kind of pull these guys off for the sake of our
Sure,
movement.
absolutely.
yeah,
are you
wrap
interrupting?
trap's like a lot harder,
No.
like in 9th edition, but you still can pull it off.
It's
Like,
It's-
Thank you for the offer.
try
Still,
and use those big base sizes to a disadvantage.
in
Like I'm gonna try and make
into
sure
that
that you
little
cannot fall
Then-
fall
Yep.
back like
Yep, and the consolidated as well, sure.
6 inches
And,
and,
then warriors
and be out of
fight.
engagement range.
Please do.
so at this point, there's a couple of different tricks you can do. The important one would be to try to get as few Necron Warriors as possible. If you're trying to wrap and trap,
and
would be to
we
try to get
are
as few
facing-
Necron Warriors into combat as possible, and then consolidate to slam the trap shut. You can do some really funky movement
guys.
with the pylon and consolidate, but we'll have to see if that ends up being the
Let's kinda
case,
modify this around a
and
little
what
bit.
Kellen decides to do.
So that might make it 9.
These
Yeah, so 9
Necron Warriors currently aren't touching.
attacks into those
One of them
raiders.
is within half an inch, the other one's within half an inch of
Uh,
half an inch, so
hold on
he'll
a
have to
second.
attack. But if everything here survives, then they'll be able to trap relatively safely and easily.
This guy in the second row.
And if they do, that would be a big deal if the Cerberus Raiders stick around.
So I guess that's 1, 2,
But
3,
they are currently
4,
in a
5,
very
6,
dangerous position.
7,
If these
8.
Necron warriors don't get off a
We're
rapid
not
trap,
eight,
and it's
8.
unlikely that they will
think it's
really
9.
for longer than a couple seconds,
10.
these Ballistari can absolutely wreck them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which one took
Like,
the
Well,
wound?
it's
It
not
seems to be
really
the one on the
enough.
far right.
Exactly what I want.
Hitting on 2s.
Okay, no
Yeah,
rerolls,
and
and this time it's
threes.
wounding on 3s.
Okay.
Yeesh. All right, so that's going to be
7
another
wounds at
7
-4.
saves here on 5s because the Novak, it does
Sorry,
kill
make
one
your
and
saves.
wound another
That'll
pretty
do 4
badly.
damage. 2 here. And
The Raiders have to get a 1 or a 2 to pass morale. It's possible. But if one runs, the other one only has a 1/3 chance of running away as well. So odds are they stick around.
Okay, and then we will consolidate. And completely
There's the
wrap up
trap.
both these squads.
Nicely played.
Both these
Like,
models.
did just the right amount of damage that he needed to do. Like, crippled the unit and then was able to use it against him.
Yeah.
And that's like, the one
Again,
maybe like.
So
Lockjaw
adding-
And
could desperate break
I
out.
love how he played it as well. He was like,
Yes.
right, I'm going to go into the left flank first.
I
You're
will
going to
just
use your
do a little
strat.
bit more piling in with these
And I've
guys,
literally just got the scarabs there.
Yeah.
and we get
What I'm
an
really
offset
wanting to
model
do
on
is
the
for you to use that
There we
strat.
go. And
If
now
you
OBSEC over here.
go-
Is Desperate Breakout only
Okay.
1 CP?
That's
I
where
thought
we're
it was
at
2.
right
It's
Okay.
2 CP.
Yeah, it's 2 CP. So Lockjaw's currently on 6. Lockjaw needs that CP to really do a lot of the
And,
bigger
2
DACA
attack,
moments.
1 attack each,
If
plus
the
1
strategy
attack
for
plus
Desperate Breakout gets
So I'll do the
used,
sabers first.
that's sort of
hit on
still a
4, wound
win
on
here for
4.
Kellen, just because
No, no,
these
no.
guys are durable-ish with the 5-up invul.
Okay, 2
And it's a lot of CP. It's a third of what's left of the CP in the AdMech
And
list right now.
Mm-hmm.
2
and-
wounds, AP 1.
We're not even sure if he can
Saber.
actually do it as well. I'm going to have a look on the
Saves.
game here and see if it's even possible.
We failed them
Like-
both, so 2 guys will die.
So 2 Necron Warriors here die,
Get that
sadly.
From. We'll just kill you and you.
Alright, and do they get back
I
up?
always-
And then I'll attack
Whenever
with
you're
the
going for
hounds,
rapid shots, that's why
4
you always
more
have like a
attacks.
couple of
Okay,
redundancy
blood
guys
attack.
as well.
These are AP 0.
Just sort of stuff there. If
four
I
damage.
don't
Still
lose
losing
what
on
I've just
4s.
set up.
Here, Raul,
One
I'll
more
go ahead and I'll look it up for you. I've got my
So-
book in
so
front of me, like some sort of a nerd.
Indeed.
We get
Let's
one
see,
back.
stratagems.
And that
Insane
one
Bravery
will
is
come back.
2 CP to auto pass morale, not what they're looking for.
Okay.
Desperate Breakout is 2
Sure,
CP.
okay.
Yeah.
Towed onto the objective.
Nerd! Okay. So at this point, the Necron Warriors
cool.
have done what
So
they're
on
going
to
to do.
the
The
round.
Cerberus Raiders are
I think it's
trapped.
too cheap.
Yep.
I honestly
And
think
I
it's
am
too
unable
cheap.
to consolidate
Big morale
because
moment.
I have lost 5 models.
A lot
I have
of
6
armies
leadership.
do kind of rely. A lot of melee armies, especially, do rely
So
on
I'm
like
One
going to
runs.
fail, so I'll remove these
function.
models.
I think should actually be 3 command points
Yep.
for Desperate Breakout.
And
Last one
then
runs
the
on a
combat
one.
attrition Test.
Or 2.
Kind of an important one.
Stays around. The trap is set. This boy is surrounded by by a zombie robot horde. This is actually a
That's
really
it.
cool look, honestly.
So that is my turn.
not
I'm getting anything
not
else
where you
upgraded
wanna
just
be.
yet. And it is over to you, and you are scoring 10 on primaries, I believe. I think this is a hold 1, hold 2 edition.
Yeah, I think you're right. I have 2 objectives. You have 3.
So really strong
In this
play
new
there.
turn, I have
At the
all
end
the
of the turn,
I did-
Burst of Vermin can't be scored. Bringing down was not scored. Raise the banners has
What is that,
started.
+1 strength on
but,
charge and +1
that's
AP?
it.
No.
Admech now currently
it's
sitting
not 1
on
+1.
not 7 points.
Okay, very nice. Cool.
don't think.
So command
Unless the individual Meniers count. I'll have to
Let's
take a
roll
look at
some
that.
mechanics.
But yeah, 30 points allegedly. Really strong start here for the AdMech. If you guys bet on AdMech
I
winning,
beat
you're
Belisar
currently
from
in
the
a
1 to
good
2
spot
and the 5 to a
for
6.
that bet.
So now I'm on a 2-6 canticles. Okay.
So you can do that for both of them?
Yeah, bringing it down is
I
going to
can.
be difficult. Now.
Whenever I
Oh yeah, Mars. Okay, so Mars Canticles at this point. We've got the Pangyric
and
procession,
then
so the big Mars one, and the Benediction of the
Would
Omnissiah, so
generate
they're
also use
rerolling
a
ones in the
loaded
shooting
card,
phase.
tech free
Pretty
stats
much
and
exactly
change.
what you want every single turn is Mars. Gross.
The army.
Yeah, like and it's
Any
just
army
across the whole
does that.
army. Necrons have to like go through all these hoops to get like their basic like command protocols, and the equivalent for the AdMech is just we chanted everybody on the field is fine.
Imagine a product like
Okay,
I'd
so
make
I
like
will pay for this desperate
a
breakout.
Desperate
Genesee
breakout
over-
time.
To see how many models die. None? Okay, and then my Service Raider can move over your models as if they weren't there.
So the Cerberus Raiders are still alive. It's going to try to move on to the objective, but I don't think it can. It's also worth remembering that those Canoptic Scarab Swarms can spend the CP to heroically intervene, so trying to steal from the Canoptic is a bad plan. At this point, I expect the Cerberus Raider will be moved in such a way as to get engaged in all fronts, and that's probably about it. Because this is an easy 3-pointer, as long as the Cerberus Raider just, like, moves somewhere else. The Miniers do count for bringing it down. Okay, so that explains why there was 1 point for each of them then. That would be 3 points plus the 2 points off of that. So bring it down to... Was it 2 points per Minier? Oh my gosh, it is 2 points per Minier. That's gross. So yeah, that ends up being 7 points for bringing it down. That makes sense. Disgusting. Man, I cannot wait for Season 7.
I was not aware of that. Apparently, Cerberus Raiders can move over models as if they're not there.
This one can, because he used Desperate Breakout.
Yeah, but he wouldn't get to go 10, right? Desperate Breakout. I thought...
Desperate Breakout just is... You can fall back, but you have to roll to see if anybody dies when you're trying to run away.
Oh, right, yeah. I thought there was a limit on it.
No. Okay. I mean, not that I know of, unless if it's somewhere in the blah, blah, blah. Let me actually check. Okay, roll 1d6 for each model in the unit on a result of a 1. One model is destroyed. It can now attempt to fall back. When doing so, it can be moved across enemy models as if they were not there.
Alright, okay. I'm thinking of something else. It's fine.
It cannot do anything else this turn.
I know why I'm getting confused. Is because everyone thought that at the start of, like, 9th edition, Desperate Breakout was some form of, like, transport mechanic to get guys out, like, 6 inches. Like,
oh, yeah, that's for transports. Yeah. Emergency disembarkation for that one.
Yeah.
Well, the good news for Kellen is that the Cerberus Raider literally can't do anything else.
Out of the transport, so, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, though. The Desperate Breakout stratagem does specifically state that if something would allow you to do a, like, fall back and then do something, Desperate Breakout's like, no, you literally can't do it, even if you have a rule that says you can. Like, you just do not get it. I always get their CP costs confused. Well, the bigger one is, can you wrap and trap? No. That's worth 2 CP. Whereas, hey, we surrounded your transport. Your units inside should still get a chance to play. We'll make that 1 CP instead, so that way it's a little bit more affordable.
Yeah, I remember when people were using, like, Stonefangs and stuff in 8th edition.
Oh, the priests are out, boys!
And they just die instantly.
It's time for jazz hands.
Gone.
They're just gonna butt dance right into the Necron Warriors here and do their jazz hands. This alone could probably wipe everything on this objective. We saw what these things are capable of doing.
Yeah, they're really nasty. He's like, this is a mistake in my list, and I was like, well, it's probably one of the best mistakes you can ever make in list building.
Yeah, when I make a mistake in my list building, typically speaking, my list then dies horribly to everything. When AdMech make a list mistake between which priest they want to have, they both still rock.
Yeah.
These are the Corpuscaris, the jazz hand shooty boys, not the melee super invulnerable boys. Which means they have a lot of shots. And with Wrath of Mars can do a ton of work. These are the only units I've seen efficiently wipe out Terminators.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say, but hey. Also, they look like they're having the time of their life. Look at every single one of these boys. They look like they're having fun.
I like the pre-books. I know nothing about them. Like, does this look like the face of mercy?
Okay, we're doing some more measurements over here to see who can be where. Kind of wondering what Lockjaw is thinking here, but let's go ahead and predict. This plane probably needs to move into one of the quarters and wants to probably try to snipe Zarek if possible. No, okay, never mind.
Going for the bomb.
Yeah, it does go for the bomb, and then afterwards goes after Zarek. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, so nice big bomb on the Necron Warriors. These do not have a save against mortal wounds, so no reanimation for them. And the invulnerable save isn't going to even help. Additionally, that wingtip does technically allow the Archaeopter to also shoot the purple Necron Warriors, which is a bit of a sad here for our Necron Warriors.
It actually doesn't, because it doesn't have the hull. So there's something we were clarifying earlier.
Ooh.
Like measurements are measured from the flyer's base.
All right, well then they're gonna need to
Really
make
weird.
sure that
Unless it's the Crimson Hunter, which specifically like states like for line of sight purposes, you measure from like the wings. So this was something we were checking earlier. Like,
turns out that AdMech models are way too small in a lot of model collections, and you know what? That's just another sign AdMechs are all cheaters. In all seriousness, though, they're probably fine. For our second command protocol, by the way, we're in the protocol of the Hungry Void. This is the turn where Kellen wants to charge people. I have a feeling that that's going to go the other way around first, though. As the Corpuscari Electro Priests pop out of the Scorpius Dune Rider, now they are looking at these Scarab Swarms and going to attempt to rip them apart. Their Jazz Hands, by the way, Strength 5, AP nothing, damage 1, but they Tesla on 6s, 6 pluses to hit, which they can do really, really, really easily. There's a Stratagem, there's Wrath of Mars to add mortal wounds. Whichever one of these Electro Priest squads wants to do the shooting, they are a threat. And not to mention that there still are several Scorpius Disintegrators, and then the entire Iron Strider phalanx over here. I love watching the underdog win, but not today, I think. Looney Lion, I have to admit, it is looking harsh for the Necrons. Not impossible, but like certainly very harsh. Every single model in the AdMech list is a threat, which is just... it's a lot. Okay? It's a lot. It's just a lot. And as a Necron player, again, I'm stressed like watching this. I feel fury. Yeah, but Rallo, it's worth remembering that the CP to spend it to make it AP -2 isn't actually a big win here, because Canoptic Scarab Swarms typically only have a 6-up save. They've got a 5-up Invulnerable. The Invulnerable's better than their normal save. Getting the -2 there isn't going to be helpful. Getting the -2 against the Necron Warriors is going to effectively get a -1 instead, which, again, not as helpful as you'd like it to be. The main trick is, do they spend the Wrath of Mars stratagem on the Corpuscari to guarantee some kills on these smaller objective secured units, on these point scoring units, or do they, or is Lockshot going to save the CP and put that on the Iron Striders instead? Remember, he's only got 5 CP left.
yeah, he's going to burn out CP this turn, but it might be enough to like
Yeah.
cripple the Necrons from coming back.
Yeah, you only need 2 turns. Again,
Yeah,
though,
you-
if this Ghost Ark
see a lot
survives, that's bad. If the Ghost Ark blows up, then that's fine, really, as well, because then 10 Necron Warriors pop out with OBSEC onto the objective, and then they're close enough to use the Gauss Reapers, they're close enough to do a whole bunch of stuff. So the trick here will be, can Lockjaw kill the Ghost Ark, and then subsequently kill whatever pops out of the Ghost Ark with the Electro Priests, while still maintaining enough of a defensive posture that the Scarab Swarms can't take the objective back.
Yeah, and on the right flank, we're going to see pretty much the same. We're going to see a lot of firepower going into the red Necron Warrior blobs, and hopefully the Scarabs can get a huge dent put in them as well, because they're going to be a problem, because they're literally going to be able to sit behind this ruin and just score this primary. Especially if he's got something left to just kill the priests. Like, this primary objective is under Necron control for the game, as far as I'm concerned. Because
We'll have to see, I'm not so sure.
When the Scorpius Disintegrators to get round, that's his. It's gonna be like the left flank that's gonna be like a lot more interesting for AdMech to play around. So that's where the majority of firepower is as well.
Yeah, that's true. One thing that I'm worried about, though, and what I predict might happen this turn, is just the Ballistari are going to pretty much wipe this red Necron Warrior unit.
Mm-hmm.
The Archaeopter has a very good chance of killing Sarek, just because of the amount of shots that he has, coupled with the fact that he could just, to guarantee it, could use Wrath of Mars just to get the mortal wounds that he needs to kill off Sarek, and then get rid of all the command protocols, which is what's giving these Necrons their ability to actually like do anything this game, as well as the rerolls, and the Might Will Be Done. Like, all that just gone, so that's something I would definitely focus on. And then on the flank here with the Yellow Scarabs, the Corpuscari plus the Dune Riders can probably do enough damage to this Ghost Ark to kill it. And then a subsequent charge from the Corpuscari could actually do a really good job of, if not wiping the unit, then at least heavily damaging it. Because the melee attacks are also Tesla. Which is great.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you need against an army like the Necrons here that Kellen has.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where Wrath of Mars goes here. Like, what's he gonna focus on? Interesting move with the Uncharted, by the way. Like, he's thinking, yeah, I have to play around this flank. Just moving them up for like later on in the game, so they can't go onto that like mid-board objective.
Yep. While still maintaining control over the other objective that they were threatening about as hard as they could.
You see a lot of like inexperienced players just go, oh, they've got line of sight to everything, I don't need to move them. Like, 9th edition is like the movement edition. Like, you need to be moving like everything to think like future
Oh,
steps.
no.
What happens if this one dies? Well, at least these are in a position to now go and get the objective in my next movement phase or whatever.
A Dune Rider has spied the Silent King, I think.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. You do not need the copter for that then.
It's just in case, right? It's redundancy. In case the copter whiffs and doesn't get him, at least he's got another tank they can put into him.
Let's see. What are they going to do with Cognus next edition? Victor Von Champ asks. Rallo says, don't know. Could go back to the old Overwatch thing, but let them do it without making the... Oh, okay. Look. No. I don't want it on Tau. Why does AdMech... Why would AdMech get it? That would make me so mad if AdMech got all his firepower and had the ability to Overwatch with their, like, Daka guns. Just because they could. Oof, that make me sad. Only 3 guns have it. Yeah, but, like... They don't need more stuff. And for what we've seen from the PAs, all the armies have been doing has been getting more stuff. The AdMech would need to, if they kept everything they have currently and just stuffed it into one book, then we worded things to be more 9th edition with the unmodified 6s to hit and stuff, it would still be an excellent codex.
Yeah.
They don't need anything else.
Yeah, the codex, I think the 9th edition codexes, now that we're starting to see a few of them to like pop into play, have been great. Like, generally, like, normally there's like something that I've got like really huge gripes with in every like codex release, and that can be not from like a solely like player, oh, I wish my faction was better perspective, but why isn't this unit this good? You know, like, it should have this presence like on the battlefield.
Yeah.
You know, poor Corn Berserkers, for example, you know, like, or any Eldar Aspect Warrior that isn't like a Crimson Hunter, Dart Reaper, or Shining Spear. But like, we're seeing a lot of good sort of balance. Like, the new Death Guard Codex, I've only got like one small complaint with it, and that's like maybe a couple more core units, but other than that, it's probably one of the best books Death Guard has ever got. Like, you know.
Oh, it is easily the best book they've ever had, and there are some parts of it that I think are honestly just completely warping in a level I'm not happy with. But that's just me. I'm not here to complain, so I'll stop.
If you're a Dark Angels player, it's good times. You know.
Yes.
Like, great book. And again, I think like there's a use for like most units.
What is in reserves? Currently, the only thing that's in reserves are these blue Necron warriors inside this tank here. Nothing else. Everything was on the board turn 1.
What about these other Necrons here? Are they just dead? And they're dead. Yeah, they're in the deceased pile. Okay.
Yeah, no, everything else that's a Necron is dead.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have to run up against AdMech, turn 1 shooting.
Well, turn 1 shooting where there's 2 very clear lines of sight and you cannot hide your entire Horde army. Surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a couple of the more out there Death Guard units I want to try. Like,
all right, so 5 mortal wounds onto the red Necron warrior squad. They cannot be stopped because these are not Zark and Dynasty. They do not get that 5-up feel no pain against mortal wounds.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's just 5 of them gone because a plane moved. What a time.
The 5-up feel no pain against mortal wounds is great for Necrons, I think. And I think we'll start seeing that a lot more.
My question is, why didn't Zark move closer into the building? I'm so confused. He would have been safe from this from the Scorpius Disintegrator, and yet here we are. All right, so it's the shooting phase.
The warriors were actually there, don't forget, until the charge phase. Because it would have looked too obvious.
That's
if
true.
Moved the warriors up.
That's true.
Stereoscopic triangulation.
All right, so
okay,
I'm gonna go to the washroom quickly, largely so that way I can avoid seeing this. But Erever, you've got the floor, my friend.
Okay, let's see him die, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll reroll it.
Okay.
He's fine.
Sure.
He's actually fine.
Missile launcher.
Survived that shooting. Still gonna
That'll be 3
see
shots.
a few more shots going into the Silent
Hitting on
King.
2s. Wounding on 3s.
I bet my prediction is
one
gonna be
wound,
that he lives
AP2.
on 1 wound.
Fails it.
Okay, and we rolled D3 damage. Just 1.
Down a 3.
And then the heavy stubbers. These are
Our heavy
hitting on
stubber's gonna
2s,
do it.
Rerolling
got
1s
this
with
feeling.
mechanical. And wounding on 5s. Just 2 wounds.
Just 2 from the stubbers, guys. See if he's got this. No,
1
1.
damage.
One more damage.
Okay, cool.
Up to 2 wounds on the Silent King. I don't think the flyers shot him yet. Alpha Strike, yeah, like totally, like that is the way that
Let's have the
Admech
Corpusari fire next.
plays.
2 of them
Still,
shoot the Scarabs,
but
Swarms,
at least they
and
do
the
more
rest of them are
things
gonna
than that
shoot the
now,
Necron
right?
warriors.
Because of PA, we see the robot dogs
Okay.
being an absolute nuisance.
So,
We've got the
3
priest
shots
for
each.
that midboard sort of presence and threat. So at least it's not just like Alpha Strike and I win.
They
Like
do have a 5 up in
ITC
bulk.
8th edition.
No, I don't think I do. Okay, so 2 of them will shoot at the Scarabs. That'll be 6 shots.
Going into the Scourge, trying to thin
hitting
him down while
threes.
he's got a chance.
Rerolling 1s with mechanical.
So they're literally just going to hide behind this
And
ruin and
extra
hold the
hits on
subjective, I
6s.
think.
And these will wound you on 3s. AP 0.
Okay, 5 up saves no matter what. We have 5.
And don't forget, guys,
saves.
all the Scourge right now are rocking 5 up invul as well.
Oh, please. I fail them all.
Ooh,
So,
bad
5
roll.
damage.
dies. One takes a wound. Does he come back? No.
Next up,
Yeah,
I have
Morty's
8
one
of
of
them
those
shooting
that
at the Necron Warriors,
can
that'll
just
be 24
swing
shots.
to like kill him or not, really. Like it just depends how
Hitting on
good the players at
threes.
rolling 4 up invuls
Three on
and
the
5 up feel no
ones.
pains. It's how you play Mortarion, by the way.
6s are
Just
extra
get good at
hits.
like rolling those invuls. and you'll be
wounding on
fine.
3s. So that many AP 0. 25 units.
Alright.
But
I
at
have
least he
4
feels
guys
like a
up.
Primarch now. It's
Yes.
So
really
let
good.
me
He's
get
got
25 dice
an
on the
absolutely
side.
bonkers rule set, which he should have
Bonus
always
4
had.
time on
which
the
is great.
re-ups. Save the first set. Save the next set. 1 dies. Got another 3. Save that.
It's a lot of 3-ups.
So far. Save the next set. 1 dies.
Dennis
One more
saves 2 at a
dies.
time.
Okay, so you kill 3.
That's 23 3-ups. Pretty good. Okay.
That
Yeah,
was-
good
okay.
good saving on the Necron
Sorry,
Warriors
before
there.
we do that, I got those 3 guys that can reanimate.
Of course.
And they all come back.
Great.
Yeah, right. Well, I haven't got control of the camera
I
in
know
the
you're
game,
not complaining, but
so I
if you
can't
would,
really
you
show you
have
guys the
no
rules. I
right
can
to.
just sort of like comment on them as they're coming through.
Let's go to the Ballistari next.
We will be
They are
having
all
dice
going to
cams
shoot at
like
the Ghost
next
Ark,
season
okay.
for streams. We're setting that up.
Are
on
you
the
Wrath of
table
Marsing?
as we speak?
No, I'm not going to Wrath of Mars.
So there'll always be able to view dice rolls somewhere.
Don't need the quantum deflect yet.
No. But I will pay 1 CP to give them +1 to wound.
We'll be adding scorecard.
It's still
as well.
saving on 4s though.
Yes, AP 1.
Okay, I'll hold my
Just a
CP.
bit of camera
Okay,
setup.
here we
we'll be
go.
going through.
Hitting on tubes.
Apparently we could do
sorry,
it now,
so,
but I have no idea how to do that.
Tell me
So-
why they are hitting on 2s.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're hitting on 3s. You're absolutely right. I said +1 to wound, not hit. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to re-roll the 2s with Belisarius. Okay, and then
I think
so maybe
Belisarius
one
rerolls
difference.
coming in.
yes.
Bit of debate on hitting on
May-
2s,
okay,
no, hitting on 3s.
negative-
That's fine. I'll just reroll
negative
Belisarius. Cool,
6
that's what he
difference.
does.
Wound on 2s
and
because they have +1 to wound.
nearly 100%
Right along
conversion.
there. So 17 wounds, AP1.
Alright, I'm still rolling my dice.
Please do.
I
Hold
only
up.
trust these.
That was into the
No.
Ghost Ark?
Ghost
Into
Ark.
the Ghost Ark.
So you're wounding it on 4s because of quantum shielding.
Oh. Why am I so
You're right.
scatterbrained that I forgot about
They're
that?
getting the
So
rolls mixed up.
I
technically
should know
Guys,
that,
like,
because you wouldn't have done
Yes.
that.
Indeed. Thank you. Okay,
just
so
bear
these are my wound
with
rolls
me a
right here,
second.
right?
Yes, so just take out those 2s and 3s, and then
Easy.
that's you have 9 wounds. Okay, that was.
Thank you, Curie.
Fortunately,
I
Curie's
think we're
on
both just
hand
moving
and
fast.
has
I'm
explained
sorry,
them. No, you're actually
I
winning
know
on
that. I
this.
don't know why
You're
I
actually
wrote
hitting on
that.
that.
Never mind.
They've redone it now.
You still do 10 damage to it.
Pretty good.
Still done 10 damage. After all of that, Ghost Arc left on 4
Okay.
wounds. I think that's going
next,
down this turn.
Orcus Disintegrator here in the back is gonna fire. Faramite at the Ghost Arc. Everything else against these red Necron warriors. Okay.
We will quantum deflection.
Okay.
Quantum deflection.
Sure. So
On the
Faramite
Ghost
first
Arc.
hitting on 3s.
Trying to just keep it alive from the heavier
2 extra
firepower now.
hits. And wounding on 4s. That's quantum shielding, of course. Yep. 4 wounds. Punch.
4 up and wounds. I've seen crazier. It's
Yeah,
not going to be
toast.
crazy this time. Does not explode. I have 10 warriors inside.
Yeah, Ghost Arc goes down, guys, as expected,
You can
but
put this on
Necron
my
Warrior's
corner.
going
Oh,
to
it's still
pop
on that
out
corner.
and hopefully
Oops.
get onto this
I flipped it over
objective
for
here.
yours.
And if these don't get cleared, and everything holds on the other flank, he's actually going to get hold more turn 1, which is a big point
We're going
swing
to also do
early
our
on.
best to evade line
Getting
of
those
sight
primary points
for
early
most of
on
your
is
guns.
going to definitely set up Necron, so I'm expecting to be tabled by turn 5. truth
And
be
we'll
told.
also, well,
Scoring that primary early on,
have
getting
my
as many
KP
points on the
to
board as possible is
recover,
going to be
but
great
don't
for
wanna
him.
Evade line of sight.
Mhm.
You can still win the game when you're tabled. And I think
Um,
that's going to be part of like Kellen's strategy for sure.
Oh, that's tough.
The later games doesn't have the resistance to deal with these core rerolls, exploding 6s, Wrath of Mars. Not a lot of armies do. Yeah, they're happily holding this objective now.
We'll just break line of sight.
Okay.
Yep, and he's saying he's personally not touching the wall, so no line of sight.
So
for it. That's all.
your tanks can't see us, Call can't see us, your plane
And
can.
This
just
model
confirming
is
with
a
him. Can the
little
tank
close to the
see?
Raiders.
No. Good. Can the call see? No.
Yes. And he still is. So he'll come over here.
Okay. But is that wholly within 3 inches of the Ghost Arc?
That is also a thing I gotta keep track of. You're
Yeah,
right.
these two are outside of the 3-inch bubble of the Ghost Arc.
We have models that can fit underneath it. So you can do something like this. You can tighten up a little bit.
Sure.
Just
Which-
determining the range, and
the
they're doing this
Senator
right,
just-
guys.
The one
A
in the back.
lot of people don't do this. They actually roll for the unit first and then get it out. The rules are nice state that you get the unit out and
Alright,
then
so it
roll
looks
to
like
see how
line of
many
sight blocking
die.
is not going to be an option. So we will, in fact, just with who we can.
Big
touch up
change
on
from
this
8th
ring
edition there.
Okay.
and get a little bit of cover. Otherwise, that's where we'll land, and that Ghost Arc is down. You score another 3 points on Bring It Down.
I
Did you already
just
mark
put
it?
that on this. Yeah, I just marked it.
Bring it down,
Okay, that's
going
good.
up big,
and then
by the way,
do
for
the die.
Lockjaw
I
here.
gotta see how many die.
Turn
on
2,
dice.
and he's already on 10 points for it.
Can anybody be?
Turns out we might have been a
Can we
little
see
bit
let's take
skeptical at the start about him picking that, but appears to be
out.
fine now.
Let's take out.
Strong spot with that secondary.
Okay, cool. Then I said my other weapons are being fired at the red Necron warriors. Let's do the missile launcher next. That'll be 6 shots because you're a big squad. Hitting on 3s. Reroll Belisarius. And 1 extra for safeguards.
You are not within range of safeguards for the. Oh no, this is this one right here.
Tank in the back.
Right. Yep. the
Wounding on
back
3s. Strength 7. 3 wounds, AP 2.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. Sorry for not
silent
leaving the dice on
vulnerable
cam. That's on me, folks.
Save one. Two,
Everyone was raging about that. I was like talking about. I thought they were there, and I was like talking about dice rolls. And I was like, people are not gonna have a clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for you know what? For next season, I'm gonna work and make sure that we got a setup for this.
Yeah, I think that will get cams, like dice cams, set up
Wound
like,
on 3s.
for next season streams.
Okay. These are APs here.
Yeah. So you may have noticed, though, the
Okay.
Silent King is still there.
Yeah,
We
with
got
2
three-
wounds,
three
no
guys to
less.
Yeah.
What a
And
dude!
how
And the
many saves
Red
do?
Necron Warriors are still alive
Okay.
for now.
So 3 ups.
1 down.
1 dies. Saves. Saves. Alright, so 2 die.
Sure.
That is on
Ooh.
top of the other dice. We have 4 reanimations after that,
Chat is generally pretty quiet. Yeah, that's true.
and we get
Warhammer
1.
players like to have
Uh-huh.
Warhammer on in the background. All you
Well,
Warhammer
okay.
players that like having Warhammer on in the background, rise up.
Sure. Who's next?
I tend to watch streams and paint, like, generally. I watch a lot of Trevor streams and don't really comment in the chat. because,
Podcasts as well. Longer
Yeah.
podcasts I love.
The Disintegrator.
Like everyone's like, we managed to cram everything into 30 minutes. I'm like, not interested. I paint for 2 hours.
Still oh, no, you're
I've not watched the Long War
11. I
podcast
have
since
exactly.
like Juice.
Okay, well then
and,
let's shoot the missile launcher at them.
Oh, I've forgotten his name, but the really
and
good like Eldar
everything
player
else
left.
into the
Like,
Necron Warriors.
I just didn't find it as interesting anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
That's just personal
Sure,
preference.
so, let's
they
do
do a
this
great
one
job.
first.
Just I just
Hitting on 3
liked listening to those 2 people.
Oh, yeah,
No
yeah.
extra hits this time.
Right.
And these will wound on 3s.
Bunch of extra hits this
I'm
time.
trying to
Three
think his
AP2.
name now. The madman who
Five
runs
ups.
like crazy Eldar lists and
Seven.
finishes like top 8
Yeah,
at
that gave you
Eldar.
damage, which is irrelevant.
Well, Nick Donavani was known for Gene Stealer cults, not Eldar. Trying
I
to
guess
think.
we'll just start taking one.
Sure, someone will tell.
Yeah.
They come back.
And then you can reanimate them. if you like.
We used to talk about him a lot in competitive Tactical.
One comes back.
All right, one Necron Warrior comes back. Boop. Within range of the objective, no less. These Necron Warriors have taken a beating. They're not dead yet, though.
Okay,
Okay,
and then the
okay.
rest of the weapons
So,
into the blue Necron Warriors.
We're supposed to that Ghost
Fahrenheit
starts to go
first.
down. Silent King living is like a
All
blessing.
hits.
Yeah, no, the Sonic King living means that there
AP.
is still a chance to do something.
Okay.
For
that
one
is
more
going
turn.
to be either
Like,
six
this would be the
upstairs or
turn to
six
walk
up.
in,
That's
charge,
fine. I'll
kill
just take
something,
six
and then
ups.
have
See
it
what happens.
auto-explode right in their
Guys in
face.
cover, sure.
But we'll see.
Because
And so 3 die.
next turn is the turn that
And then
like
I throw out my
literally
heavy
if the
cover.
priest bounce off here,
Yep.
it's literally the turn where Kellen can start touching tanks, right?
Reroll.
Yeah,
as
it
well.
might be too little too late to touch tanks, though, when you need
Yeah.
to be holding
And
objectives in
wound
the
on
primary.
3s.
Yeah.
That's AP0, 5 wounds.
5 wounds at
Okay, we
AP0
got
into the
2
blue
guys in
Necron
cover right
Warriors.
now. First 2.
That's pass.
Save. Second 2.
They're getting
Save,
access to
and then
cover
the
since they're
last one.
touching.
Kills
One
So we have
dies.
4 reanimations from this squad.
Oh, I can't do any painting right now because I'm waiting on some colors to arrive.
2 come back.
Two
Okay,
of
so
them
only
back.
2 properly
Sure.
die.
They should have done.
And
Am
they
I
are
right?
still obsecking the objective with 3 more models. So currently Necron's sitting here with a full 15 for primary, but a 5-point disparity isn't as big as you might expect. Were this the Scouring or something, this would be a big deal. But because this is such a high-scoring mission, the AdMech are still totally fine. If they're down 5 points on
Okay,
primary,
next I'll have these orange.
Like, it's not a
or
huge deal.
Sorry, fire all
I go
their
through
weapons
far
at the
too
blue
much
Necron
rape bug
Warriors.
spray.
Yep.
Raid
Okay,
bug spray?
so,
Yeah, it's what you
raid
use to
bug.
like prime like poxwalkers.
Cool. So 30
And
shots on
like
those fellas.
you can use it to prime like plague marines
We
as
are
well
hitting you on
and
threes.
terminators.
What?
You want you like
Reroll
your
on the ones.
yeah, I know it's a really weird name, isn't it? It's like this off sort of white sort of
Oh,
color.
Those are two
jeez. Oh, these
And
Corpuscari!
AP,
Holy cow!
Alright.
24 wounds!
Off my clock for the time. Whoopsie. That's my bad. You bet your ass I'm gonna roll these 3 at a time.
2 dead already. Oh no, 1 at a time. Oh no!
They're gone.
And everything else on 4s. Oh, there goes the squad. Oh, that's what we expected would happen, folks. We predicted that might be the case, and that was
Okay,
the
cool.
play.
They left it in the last squad of Lecture Priests. Okay, then my Cerberus Raiders are free to shoot at the Scarabs, not the Chronomans.
Pretty and nasty.
Those,
So
like,
they're
no,
gonna
like,
shoot
this is
Scarabs
Tesla,
and the Sergeant
but with
Warriors
AP.
pistol.
Like, this is better than what
So I'll do
Necrons
the
can
12
put up for
shots from
Tesla.
the rifle.
Because at least they naturally reroll 1s when you want them to. And can do mortal wounds when you want them to. And not like the Tesla springing
rifles
one.
are not
It's,
threes.
oh my god. Brutal, brutal stuff.
Tell you what spray I'm not a fan of, and that's like the Death Guard
never
green
mind,
one.
I get full
Like
reroll.
sometimes you do need like 2
Belisarius is
coats to
good.
that. It doesn't stick to the models
Okay.
too well. Like
So I'm gonna reroll those 3 2s if you don't mind.
We knew this was
Okay,
possible.
2 extra hits, nice. And they shoot wound on a 3. So 7 wounds, AP zip.
Okay, 7-5 upstairs.
just start using
think
like
six
car
plus
spray
save.
paints again
Oh,
on my models.
They're
Automatic.
That's a terrible idea. Always read the label. Like
To be fair, when you're painting up terrain, which,
And
you know,
fire the pistol.
Oh, he can't.
it makes it a lot easier.
Before
Going to a hardware store and picking
okay,
up,
so the pistol hits on a 3. I missed.
you know,
Oh,
like
no, I
some
get to
basic
reroll
spray
those.
paint like that is actually a really great way to do it
Now I
quickly
hit,
and far
and I
more
wound
cheaply
on
than
3.
using Citadel.
AP2.
yeah. But the good news is Citadel
Okay, that's
like
2 damage.
sprays have been tested to not
So that'll
damage your
kill
miniatures,
2
right?
models.
You'd hope so anyway. Like that's what you're paying for.
No,
Yeah.
because you did 4 damage to one, and then you just did another 2.
Okay, sure.
So one of them.
I lost track.
Does he come back?
Okay, the
Only
scarab
against
is
Erebus.
done.
Airbrushing is something I never
Cool.
got into.
Let's have this Dune Rider here.
can start doing that this year.
Blast away at the Scarab Swarms with everything.
Okay,
So
Dune
12
Rider's going to
shots
go ahead
from
and put in a
transport.
bunch of DACA. Look, folks, there's not
Hit on
much
these.
more that Kellen can do here, but if we're playing in a tournament, you play for the mission as hard as you possibly can.
And wounding.
There's a
Yeah.
chance.
Seeing flank collapse, which is kind of what we predicted.
So that's 7
Like,
wounds at AP zip.
Yeah.
5
The thing that I
hits.
can predict will happen is that all this shooting will do
Oh my,
something,
right off the table.
but the next big trick will be the Corpuscari Electro Priests charging the
That's
Necron Warriors and the
Yeah.
Scarab
Okay, we said
Swarms,
4.
ripping
So
apart
we get
most
just
of both
enough
of those
to
squads, if
kill
not
one and
outright
hurt
killing the
one.
Necron Warriors,
3 damage.
and then piling
And
into
then
the Canoptic
wounding.
Scarab Swarms. A potential charge from the Skitarii Vanguard over here to get OBSEC onto the objective. And then the Corpuscari here charging the Scarab Swarms, so that way they are just straight up murdered as hard as possible.
Like the only monster.
At that point, the Necron
Yeah,
players
these
has
Dune Rider goes to
just
these,
a few
Scarabs over here.
Chronomancers, sorry.
Chronomancer.
Zark on 3 wounds,
So, 12
and then
shots.
one squad of almost
Hitting on 3.
half, like a little more than half the warriors than when he started.
And wound on 3. Not so many, just 5 wounds. AP
There's a
Yeah, the Necron list is
Okay.
great against
And,
like
so
elite
sorry,
infantry
this is- okay,
and
this
infantry
goes.
in general. It's
Yep.
not so
Scarab
great
focus
against
on the
this
left.
these like tank walls
Goes to 5
and like
well,
the,
it's
the stuff.
5 wounds, 5
the tank
paper,
walls are
okay,
one
you
thing,
say
and the
that
infantry are another
everything,
thing.
so one of
The
them's
issue
down to-
here is that the AdMac
no,
list
one of them's
has
on the
shooting to work against
damage.
everything. High volume, high damage, shooting that needs to happen from the Iron Striders.
Let me take a
You've
quick
got
look.
the volume of shots you need from the Corpuscari. You've got, pitch hitting and switch hitting from the Cognus Heavy Stubbers, the Ferromite Cannons, and the missile launchers off of the Disintegrators, and even the Copter has some. And you can turn off your opponent's defensive layers by turning off auras.
Okay.
Yeah,
So 12 dice.
it's brutal because the Necron list is a horde list when you get down to it, and the AdMech list is really good for killing that. So this is going to be an uphill battle for Necrons regardless,
I'll
but this
go to
is
the other
just
side of the table.
rough.
if I thought it
Just roll your dice. Roll your dice. The damage hasn't been done.
do. Reroll 1. And then wound on 3s.
winning on 3s.
Oh,
Oh!
whoa.
For us.
Yeah, wow.
Big
You're on Messiah.
I think-
saves!
You're on Messiah.
Okay, I think we're ready to charge here.
Alright.
Well, that's some lucky saves.
So
Um,
let's start
yeah.
with the Corpusari Electric.
It's what he needed.
Are
To
going
keep
Yeah,
him in the
at the very least, Zarek should be able to kill the Archaeopter this turn.
definitely know other targets. Okay. But they don't have any ranged weapons, so I'll just roll my charge. They roll 8. Cool.
Easy charge in from the Orange Priests.
Mhm.
Alright, and again, I predict Teal's going to go in and start ripping apart this objective,
I'm gonna
taking away the defensive layers from this Chronomancer and exposing all the juicy characters, and importantly, removing the last of the really tough objective holders on the right flank and the left flank at the same time, making it so that the AdMech don't have to worry about a front line anymore. I
Yeah,
can't think of any
and
list
then,
I've seen
my
this season that
Servants
could beat this
Raiders
AdMech
get
list.
charged.
I can
Just to
see
see
why
it.
that would be the case. It just puts out a lot of shots,
Okay,
and you
Raiders
can't
charge
stand out in
first.
the open against it. It's highly mobile, and
Five
Call,
inches.
honestly, is
just
really good. Mars is really good. Mortal Wounds are really good. It handles everything very, very well.
I think the sisters had a shot winning, like when we went to that game. Like, Dukes like failed like a 5-inch charge twice that was like huge turn 1, like, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, sadly. But I think the sisters definitely had a shot just because of their mobility that they have with the defense here.
Well,
So if
the
he-
other thing with the
if
sisters
he
is
did
that
5-inch charge, all of a sudden the
Just
AdMech would have been in a
TTS
lot of
things,
trouble
yeah.
because they'd have been able to butcher
TTS
what was there and then tag a lot of stuff.
Yeah, good enough.
the other
Okay,
thing is
other
that for the
side of the table,
sisters, if the sisters had been here instead of the Necrons, they would have still been shot a whole lot, but they would have had
Yeah.
access to being able to ignore a certain amount of AP. They would have had Retributors able to rip apart the Ballistari from
Yeah, I
super
got you.
far away.
This
And there's a little bit more
charge,
elite, so the list was able to hide a bit better. They had things that could drop down and all that stuff, whereas the Necron list had
Necron.
all of its bodies on the table.
Okay.
and you can really hide or protect them really well.
I think Harlequins would have had the shot against the Admech as well, actually, now that I think about it. Just
Oh,
because the
yeah.
fire, like,
Well,
ruin them.
you instantly get tagged, but then after you get tagged, the Corpuscaries pop out and rip apart
They're
your whole
getting
army very, very, very quickly. Like, there's actually a lot of counter Harlequin play in this list.
No,
Sure, but if the Harlequins go
five,
first,
wouldn't they?
like, they can put a lot of damage and a
No, I
lot
think
of stuff
it would have to
tagged,
be in the
like, right off the bat from
defensible
terrain.
turn 1. Which is a massive, like,
something like that. It's
uphill
very
battle
difficult.
for
You're
the
gonna have to hold
Admech to
it
get back in
terrain
the
to
game.
get defensible.
Well,
Something
we'll never
like
know
that.
now.
It's kinda dumb.
It's currently
Yeah.
just Necrons versus Admech, and
Yeah,
Lockjaw
you
has... It's Lockjaw's game to lose.
We've lost entire chapters of Space Marines this season of Alpha as well. Guys should be glad to hear. I think like 1,000+ Space Marines of every chapter have died. So, yep. Good. The White Scars are no more.
Yeah, they were like a lot of the armies
Dead.
that people predicted to win
Six.
ended up not making it to the top. I don't think anybody was looking to a finals that necessarily would have these two armies going head to head. Although I did
Yeah,
at
I'm
least
gonna
say
both the
that
Scarabs and
Necrons
Necron
would go the farthest.
Okay.
I bet against Harlequins. I
Yeah,
think
I do
in that,
not.
in
I
that thing.
remember.
You have to watch the podcast to be sure.
So I roll 8 for the charge. I'm sure that's enough.
I think
Let
I
me know
might have Nick, but I can't remember. Like, honestly.
Alright, hello. Let it be known that anyone who predicted White Scars was a fool. They were a fool! A fool, I tell you!
I mean, we expected them to do. They did pretty well. There was a couple of White Scars
Just
lists
be
in the
careful with
playoffs.
bases
for sure.
overlapping with each other.
Yeah, but the Dark Angels lists were easier to pilot overall and did a really good job right up until the moment they came into this.
One White Scars list lost against Death
I'm
Guard.
just thinking about
Like
the chess
that was a
ones,
weird game. Like.
Well, they would have a much harder time winning
Seeing
against
bases
Death Guard
overlap,
with
and
the
I'm
new
happy
book,
to take 'em off.
which they
No, it's just
Death
all
Guard didn't have access to. So.
Though, and they just still somehow like lost. It was like a 2-point game. Like difference.
Did they have particularly experienced pilots? I don't know. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure that was the
My
Pants playing
intention
that
is
White
to
Scars
base
list
this
as
Necron
well
front,
against
red on it.
against Death Guard, like 9 Mythic White
And
Holders,
base your other Necrons, the Scarabs as
plus a
well.
few like Nerlings and stuff.
Okay. Sure.
All right, Seal Priests are going in.
Vanguard cannot charge.
Vanguard will not charge because they advanced. Okay, that makes sense.
If you
All
were to
right.
intervene, I don't think he's got room to reach them.
I
does
could
he?
go right there.
Okay.
Looking.
You see whether or not he can heroically intervene with the Chronomancer. At this point, I'm not even sure if he
I don't
wants
think you can
to.
heroically intervene into them.
He's got one
think
attack
so.
at strength
Does not
4.
have to fit you.
Streaks movement. That's what he's looking at.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
It's the actually the Chrono Tendrils
but
could
the
maybe
Scarab
do
base
something,
is
but
too
even
small,
then,
it's not like
hitting on
it's
3s.
not like they're Imperial Guard or anything.
Yeah. The Chronomancer can actually Barney a tiny bit, but the Cryptex are terrible in combat for the most part. The only
one thing
exception
will-
is Illuminor Saris.
Give him like an easier charge with Vanguard, or unless they've already
Sure.
attempted.
That is the end of my charge.
The Vanguard could not. They advanced.
Let's
All
go
right,
to
got
fights.
So, depending on where the fight happens first,
Where do you start?
Kellen will interrupt. There's
I'm gonna
more
start
than enough
with the
CP in this
sorry,
pool
on
to
the
do so.
right,
But
yellow Scarabs one.
will he, and will it be
these
enough?
fellas have 2 attacks.
I probably would interrupt,
So 20
especially with
comes-
the yellow scarabs, but orange is the orange Corpuscari squad
Oh, sorry. Before you
is
do
going
that,
to go
before you do
first,
that,
which makes sense. Yep, these are
my
Novak
Chronomancer here
Krons,
can use the
and
plus
it's
two
on
weapons.
it's on their preferred
They are
doctrine right now.
right?
Mind
So
you.
they take 1 mortal. It's
Okay.
nothing.
I don't think we have a more.
Let's see.
No, so you just
We'll
put
just put on the guy in the back.
Yeah, they are currently
Cool.
within 6
Okay,
inches
so
of the
electric
Chronomancer
priest,
here and
um,
here, so they are within the command protocols range. But yeah, Novak Prowns making it. Novak Prowns? Prowns? Fucking Browns.
I am gonna go.
Jeez. The Novak Krons made it
And
to
all
the
of them
finals.
are
We'll have to see what happens here, but
So
it
what
really
kind
looks
of
like there's going to be a lot of
And
dead
sixes got
robots
double,
today.
calls triple hits.
That's for
Triple
sure.
hits on the 6s. These are going to be winning on 3s.
The orcs are just gonna come in afterwards and have all this scrap
11
metal, and they're gonna love it.
11 wounds on 5 up saves. We're expecting about 6 to 7 wounds go through. A little more than that. 8 of them. So it's going to be 2 Scarab bases down.
2 dead.
Do they reanimate?
And, 1 is hurt.
You know,
Do
I
I
just
come
realized I need to roll the Voltageist field on these Electro Priests. When they charge, they deal mortal wounds. Is it okay if I roll those right now?
Oh,
Go
jeez.
ahead.
I forgot about those
Roll-
two.
roll-
First, I'll roll the squad orange. 10 dice, mortal wounds on 6s. I was supposed to do this before I rolled the attacks. So
So
3 more mortal wounds, that makes a difference.
So that would have led to one more scarab being dead in the attacks. Because it would have left one at 1 wound, which would then have been killed by the extra damage.
Okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
however, the Voltagheist field is not an attack.
And this is when the
You don't-
smaller
you
models
can't roll
matter.
resurrection
Yeah, that's true.
protocols on the Voltagheist
Yes, well,
field.
no, but he didn't die from it, because that would have happened first.
You had a
would've-
model with 3 wounds over here. So the 3 mortal wounds would have cleared him out in the charge phase.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
And then I killed 2 models in the fight phase. So you have 8 dice for reanimation, I believe.
Okay, and then that would also be that, with the extra damage that you dealt, one of them is upgraded.
I don't think Kellen's too happy with that take back.
Yeah, it's back.
At the same time, like,
Um,
you gotta give credit to your opponent at this point. You gotta do the best you can.
because
Yeah.
He's trying to reanimate him on the other
Check.
side, and he can't. There's
your
not enough room.
rolls- Yeah, your rolls in. So we'll just come back there, that's fine.
Okay. And then
so
I'll
now-
consolidate with you.
Yep, go ahead.
Good grief, Lockjaw. Calm down. Alright, so that did less damage than I expected, believe it or
Like
not.
so.
Yeah, Scarab's a
And I'll
different
try to
shit.
base as many
Like-
models as possible here.
It's
Yeah,
right
they can
when-
do a number back. These guys only have a 5-up invulnerable save, I think. On the orange priests. On the Corpuscari.
I have 5 up field no pain.
Okay. Do you want to
And-
interrupt?
Oh no, it's just 5 up
Yeah, I
field.
do.
Sorry. Yeah.
The question
Okay.
is where?
Sure, sure.
I'm thinking the
so
other
these
priest still.
warriors probably could not get a whole lot of punches in. Just based on their circumstance right now where they're set.
So looking for an interrupt here.
So I'll interrupt with the
100%.
scarabs and I'll spend a CP on +1 attack.
Alright, so
Oh,
it's
you're
5
going
attacks a
guard-
Let me
base.
see if that's smart.
Yep.
That's going to be 20 attacks.
So
I love
we
these
knew
guys.
that the
I
interrupt
don't
was
think
coming,
that's smart.
and it had to, because at this point, really, whichever
Warriors.
Corpuscari squad went first,
This one would be able to come around.
Kellen
on
was
that
likely
side.
interrupted at the other to blunt
would
the
come up.
offensive on the other objective. At this
Okay,
point,
yeah, we're doing it with
the
scarab.
Necrons could start to
Okay.
take this objective back,
So 20 attacks.
potentially.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. Once again, I need to roll Voltagheist field for these guys. Both
Oh
squads
my
Voltagheist
goodness.
field. So that may change your stratagem. Is it okay if
Go
we
ahead
stop
and
for a
roll.
second? I roll that,
Go ahead and roll.
Sure,
All
let's
right,
do
Kellen
that.
being the
CP.
gentleman here.
and you can make your
Props to him.
Sorry.
I don't know in the finals if I'd be like that, but yeah, I would.
10 dice. This is all into the Voltage.
Well, you don't want to win because someone forgot a rule thing. All right, it's only
It's
one
not
mortal
one.
wound.
Which does
That's
make
what you
sense
get.
because
Can't change the
wound's a
past.
model that you can't really
All right, now does this change
So
who's
that
using what
is now
CP?
Only 15 attacks versus probably 1, 2 people. We are going to interrupt with the warriors, I think.
Interesting.
What's the worst that's going to happen here?
So at this point, interrupting with the warriors makes good sense. They are hitting on 2s currently, wounding on 3s, rather than hitting on 4s,
Sorry,
wounding
I
on
need to think about
4s.
this for a second.
That's okay,
Um,
man.
With the number
So
of
this
attacks you can get on
warrior
them,
could
that's worth it.
feasibly, you probably have to actually sit right there. This one could come around to there. Which
Mhm.
could probably lead
Just
to some
looking
more
at where he
guys
can go
dropping
with these kind of things.
him.
Yeah, he should be able to get at least 4. Unlikely, but possibly 5. If this warrior just moves over here, we got another
Get
warrior
like
that moves
5
over here.
guys
We should be able to
hitting
get 5
twos
guys in there for
for
10
an
attacks.
X, hitting on twos, 10
Now, will
attacks.
that be enough to kill all of them? Probably not. They have a 5-up invulnerable
5-up,
save and a feel no
5-ups.
pain due to fanatical devotion, I believe.
We're just gonna do the scarabs. I think that's
All right, it's going to end
Okay,
up being the
sure.
scarabs.
So that'll be
Fair
nice.
enough.
15
That makes sense.
attacks.
It's a lot less tricky.
Sure.
All right, let's see how they do. 4s, auto wounding on 6s.
And
Not
they're
what you wanted to
probably
see.
wounding on
Wounding
threes.
on 4s. Although because it's +1 strength, it's actually wounding on 3s.
Okay, so
Thanks to the Novak protocol.
Okay. 5 up and vulnerable save.
That's
Oh, no.
3 of them. Lockjaws. Yeah, like we knew that this could
That'll
happen.
kill
It
you.
It does kill 2 though.
1
that will-
CP per mod.
Yeah, effectively. And you know what? Well, 3 CP even because he added +1 attack as well. So 1 CP
Alright,
for
yeah.
3 CP for 2 models.
1.3
It's not enough.
CP.
That Voltagheist field mortal wound made a difference of 5
I'm
attacks
sure
there.
there's a galaxy brain decision here, but because if I kill the Necron warriors, they can actually reanimate closer to me and make more attacks. Wouldn't that be dangerous?
But if you kill the scarabs, you leave more room for them to pile in and get more attacks as well.
Yeah, tough decision on what he puts attacks onto here. Necron Warriors can reanimate and chain up, or Scarabs can die,
I'll pull
meaning
them
that
to the
the
left.
more Necron Warriors can
Maybe the
pile up.
scarabs. And we'll try to kill the Necron Warriors.
Really tough
He
decision.
has to get rid of the obsec.
Okay, you can
The
consolidate
play is to get
scarabs
rid of
as
the
well.
Necron Warriors and to either force the
They're
obsec
fine where they are.
onto the objective or to force it away and potentially kill the squad.
So then I
But
get to activate
there
my
aren't
own
enough.
super
The Corpuscari really piled in extremely hard into the Scarabs rather than the Necron Warriors.
Not really gonna
So,
find
yeah, the choice is kind of made
8
for him.
models,
In
2
order to be
attacks.
efficient here, he has to put his attacks into the Scarab Swarms and hope. Okay, jazz hands. Yo!
6s are extra.
Lockjaw!
My bad.
So you have.
Stop.
Calm down, dude! Deleted 5 6s. Who does
So
that?
19 hits. Wounding on 3s.
Who?
Oh, this is going to the Warriors.
Who is this man?
Oh, wait a minute.
Who
Player?
paid him to put a horseshoe up his
You might
butt?
have
That
to
is
reroll that
incredibly
so
good
you can
rolling.
actually
Well done.
fall into Scarabs.
I did meant to do all into the Necron Warriors, but that's not actually possible.
It's not.
It's not.
Let's have 5 of them into the Necron Warriors and 3 of them.
Oh,
into the
Lockjaw. Come on now.
He is having
So I just say
split
reroll
though,
the whole thing
like
then.
just because of their positioning and.
He's trying to split it, yeah, but now he's trying to split it post
so
the
5
fact.
of them
Oof. All right, well,
That'll be 8 hits. Wounding on 3s.
all right. So he's now re-rolling the attacks. Good plan.
This is not heavy cover.
Yeah, that's
so
the better way to do it
What?
because. Yeah, I mean,
One
like,
Necron
to-
Warrior
but,
dies.
like,
Does he come back?
if you've like rolled something and then it's like, oh well, it was meant to be
And he
this,
didn't even die properly.
And then 3 of the priests attack the Scarabs.
Now, at this point,
What if you
coherency
put it
matters a lot.
sequence?
Right.
Because maybe the Scarab makes room.
Wounding on 3s.
So yeah, he was like, okay, yeah,
Oh,
sure, you
3
can do
wounds
that,
on
but
the
re-roll
Scarabs.
it.
APs, yeah.
Okay,
One
one
damage.
wound taken on one Canoptic Scarab Swarm. Yep,
and now
they're
you can
still
roll
alive.
that. Yeah, you roll the reanimation protocol. That's fine. Sure.
So he will come in. Where can he come in that he could punch something?
Oh, I know where he could come in, but
No, he can't fit there.
there you go. There you go. That's where I predicted. At this point, he
That's
can
clipping
fit
through
right
terrain,
there,
So he'll go right there.
and as long as he
Okay, and then I will consolidate, and I will attempt to base these 2 Necron Warriors in the front.
Oh, that's maybe not the right decision here out of Lockjaw.
And then
if you're being
next I
efficient with
activate
these
my
Corpse
White Service
Scari.
Raiders over here.
Yep.
Okay, now the Raiders are attacking here. Now, Raiders, how do they do? Let's see. Weapon skill
Yeah,
4,
okay.
only 1 attack each. Not great.
Okay, so we
Okay,
have 7
no.
models here.
There's a reason why
One
they have a
attack
runaway
each plus 2
stratagem.
For the sergeant. We'll do the attacks with sabers and 14
I wish
for the
Tau
offense.
did.
Tau fight better than them. It looks like.
No, we all of us hit on 5s except
So
for
I
our
think
commanders.
We hit on 4.
And even then.
On 3.
Anyway, Raiders are hitting on 4s, wounding on. Okay, 3 wounds.
Those are AP 1.
Needs 5s to save here. 2 saves. 1 Scarab
saves.
takes 1 damage.
And then I fire up the Clawed Limbs next. 14 attacks from the Clawed Limbs.
Oh, right, I forgot. The mounts get attacks too.
Still wounding on 3s. Just 4 wounds.
And it kills off
that
base.
will be enough to kill 1 and bring 1 down to 1 wound.
Oof.
And then you can reanimate.
He does not.
Okay.
Tau fight. Words I've never seen in one sentence. Hey, look, combat Tau has happened, and I
when
have
consolidate, I'll
made
attempt
good
to
plays
use,
by charging.
These two models.
Okay.
It's never to actually win the combat. It's more to
Okay.
tie things up, and we don't have durable enough units to
Okay,
really
so I've
tie
already
up
done this
things
one.
well.
We'll start over
Anyway,
here.
it doesn't matter.
Um,
Right now we got the attacks back.
We're gonna
The
put
Canoptic Scarab
all the
Swarm on the left
attacks
side
in.
is going to put all their attacks into the,
Sure.
into the Corpus Scari. That makes sense.
Yep.
They're the only things that they could reasonably kill off enough models to be effective or useful.
ah,
A little bit of lag.
Scarab.
Oh no, again.
Fours.
Hey, a lot of auto wounds too. Okay, and because it's Novak turn, that's a lot of
think
wounds.
it's
It's 8
Plus 1
wounds.
strength from,
Yeah, not
From
bad.
Novak,
plus 1
right.
strength with protocol.
Hopefully he doesn't save
he's
like an
really
animal
six
again,
to the
like he did
Yeah,
on the other.
so he's got 5s and 5s. 5 for the
5
invulnerable, and then 5 for the 5 of feel no pain. Only
Or-
2 saves this time, and another 2. So it's
So
going to kill
that kills
4
4
Electro Priests, which is not a bad number.
What's their leadership like?
7.
8.
8. So they are not likely to run away based off of
Then
that.
we will come over here to the Warriors base.
Yeah, but both armies trying to be as active in as many phases as they can. Granted, they don't have like the psychic phase, but they do have sort of buffs that kind of like psychic powers in a way, I guess.
Yeah, and importantly, the fight phase is where you can get so much extra movement and so much,
Yeah.
like, just you can get so much working for you if you're good about this.
And we can't clip through.
Now,
terrain.
actually, he could do some interesting stuff here if he
So
remembers
this
that
is when we
engagement
get
range is
4
5 inches
guys.
vertically. These Necron warriors could climb through the ceiling, go up onto the second floor, make room for the back rank to come in, and then get also basing in
So we want
to get
4
attacks in.
attacks.
But
Yeah,
I guess he
use-
forgot about verticality.
Yep,
Whoops.
I will be done.
And moving on to
I love
this.
doing that with Quinn bikes. It's great.
5
Like,
plus
I'm gonna go up here.
Okay.
And the 5+ fail, no pain.
And that's another 2
dead
Corpuscari
quick
healed,
ones.
Corpuscari dead. Not enough to cause a morale issue, really. That's
All right, and then we will
4
just-
toasted
Yeah.
so far. But this is definitely currently a Necron objective.
Yeah, he's done what he
that
needs
much
to do.
consolidation.
The
Kept
back
this-
rank guys
Consolidation
could.
set.
Like, these guys couldn't climb up, sure, but the ones behind could just go up 3 inches, and then the ones behind them could go into the half and half.
Okay.
So I
it's-
think-
Oh,
Yeah,
I see what you're
alright.
saying. They'd be getting
Okay,
further away
so,
from the pylon.
my
True,
Steel
true.
Electric Priest lost 4 models, and they have 8 leadership.
Second floor is more than 3 inches?
Both squads
Oh,
lost.
that's 3 inches. Is it not? I thought it was 2.5 inches for the area terrain.
Fine. And then a
Yeah,
roll
yeah,
of
it is.
orange electric
Yeah, thought so.
priests.
I'm not going completely
less than
crazy.
5.
Faucini,
Both
you're making
fine.
me doubt myself. I hate this.
Do you have any morale rolls to make? Maybe these guys lose.
Those warriors lost 10.
You're right. They
So
couldn't
they
pile
won.
in because they'd be
They
moving
won.
further away,
They
but
won.
that's the reason why. The
So,
First
Take
time
that
in
one out.
history.
yeah, we
the
got
second
1,
floor
2,
is
3,
2.5
4,
inches.
5,
They
6,
could have
7,
climbed
8
up,
left.
but they couldn't because they'd be moving further away from them.
Can't
It's
be right around Necrons. Never
slight
happens.
issue there.
2 more.
You know, it always really surprises
we're,
people when I put like
ourselves out.
Shining Spears
Ah,
up there,
very
and then I go, I charge you, I'm in. Like when they've
Yeah.
got like units below.
All right, so we lose a couple of warriors there for
And then
Reason.
Scarabs lost 5, so they'll run on 6.
morale, so that's harsh.
They're fine.
Sure. Yep, that sounds right.
Scarabs have leadership
Alright.
Necron, so
Okay,
they're probably fine.
that is end of turn. I will score for engage on all fronts.
Yeah,
I'll
he's,
try to
he's
anyway.
doing really well on
And turn over
secondaries
to
here.
you. and
10
I
points
think
on bringing it
15 for
down
primaries.
at the end of his like turn 2.
Yeah,
I should
That's a problem.
You have 3 objectives, right?
big.
Oh,
Now,
I
at this
also
point,
have 3.
raise the banners high is
Yeah,
going
you
up
have
for
3.
2.
Okay, so 10 points.
Yep.
10
I don't
points
think
for the the
yeah,
primary.
So, let's do it. Command phase.
At this point,
Command
Necron players looking to
going
purge the
on.
vermin.
Silent
Not
Guard
going to be
for
easy.
that.
There's a bunch of
we
small
first
units
gonna
all
CP
over these table
gives our
quarters
top
right now.
bracket.
The
Yeah.
Corpuscari aren't wholly within, so those don't need to die.
Oh, he
The
can-
Cerberus Raider
yeah.
needs to die. The Archaeopter needs to die. The Cerberus Raiders over on the left side and the Corpuscari on the left side also need to die. All 4 of them need to die, really, in order to be able to hang in there with the secondaries.
And
Yeah, he
no
needs to
more
punch back
reading this
super
time,
hard, and it's a case of does he have the tools to do it this turn?
'cause we have not the range.
Clear this midboard out. Like the Admech's like 2
yeah,
aces
and
of the Robo Dogs and the
Right,
Priest
yeah,
are now
phase.
gone. You still got the third ace of all the shooting.
Scarabs are healing up. That
All
one's
the
back to
shooting,
full.
yeah.
If you remove
This one's back to full.
two of those cards this turn,
Then
then it's not looking as grim for the Necrons.
It's-
Going
Keep
like
the
more
warriors,
in.
the
Well, without the
Chronometron,
ability
just
to
wanna give
reanimate
himself
as
the
easily,
Chronometron,
because right now,
as well.
there's no way to reanimate dead Necrons. Like, there's no Technomancer, the Ghost Arcs are both gone.
I also scored
There's
2
no
points for banners
orbs,
this time.
resurrection orbs. It's
Absolutely.
just what is on the table now for the Necrons, which is still durable, but it means that they will lose the attrition war now. There's so much shooting on this table that if even one warrior has poked its head out, and the Battlestar, you
actually,
can
before
easily
I
find
decide
that,
on-
anything can. They move fast
let
enough.
me
Like, it's just...
see what-
It's
make some
brutal
9-inch
here
bubbles.
for the Necrons
I
in
wanna
terms
see
of
if I
just
can
trying to
put something
stay
in.
in the game, because their main strength has largely been taken away.
Sometimes these 9-inch bubbles are helpful. Sometimes they're not because they fall over.
At this point, we're looking for 9-inch bubbles because
That was
of the
pretty
Veil of
long.
I
Darkness
don't
ability
think
on the Chronomancer on the left
Okay.
side, if I remember correctly.
So that if that's the case, these warriors might just be on cleanup duty another turn. Okay. That's fine. These, we'll go into the movement phase.
Ah.
Scarabs are going to fall back.
First time I've seen people use those.
Oh, I use those all the time.
Off the table. Like,
I used those all the time.
I just press number 4 and expect everyone to use battle scribes as CTS.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing too most of the time now. But like, there are certain models where it's like, okay, this is like slightly awkward. Like the Ghost Keel model, for instance, does not have a good base around it. The Primaris Chaplain on a bike has a really garbage hitbox as well. So
it's gonna be a show when I go out to like real life tabletop games, and I'm gonna be like, "Where's my battle scribes to CTS?" Like,
yeah, where are my auras? I want to check your rules for you.
Yeah, like I had to actually like look at something in a book. What?
All right, so here's an interesting choice. The Necron Warriors are coming out. They have to kind of. The Cerberus Raiders do not. They do have the CP to fall back.
If he makes all his vulnerable saves.
And fall back onto his home objective as well.
Okay, Zarek is moving forward to try to do some charging. It's a 9-inch charge. 8-inch charge, sorry, to get in there, which is just not reliable. But in order to be useful, that's where Zarek needs to go.
Yeah, him living is like a big deal. Like,
is it though?
Warriors. So their movement is half right now.
Correct.
He can protect the back lines at least for like a turn, which is what he's planning on using him for. He dies next turn for sure. Like,
yeah, and he dies next turn, and he's going to explode, doing no extra damage to the opponent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be able to help clear out these two weaker units back here if everything goes according to plan. But we see what happens when you rely on one character to take out a key unit. The Archaeopter survives sometimes, and that's just the end of the game. Poor Sammy.
Didn't want to, like, he just had, like, a fake rubber sword that he brought to battle. Wasn't actually, like, the sword of the Emperor at all, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. She's got this big old sword. It's like, I'm trying to kill him this thing, and every time he whacks, I was like, oh, man. No, that was brutal. That was earlier in the game with Lockjaw against someone else. It was Curry. Lockjaw versus Curry, actually. And yeah, in that game, poor Sammy, he had to like knock like a wound off of the copter and couldn't do it. Raven Sword nerds. You're calling us nerds for you knowing the obscure name of the obscure sword from the obscure chapter that tries to keep everything hidden? What's wrong with you?
I just call everything a Teeth of Terror. It's easier.
Before they fall down, this Chronomancer is just going to move over.
Okay, Chronomancer's just moving over to try to get a shot onto the Scorpius Disintegrator here. The Scarabs fall back.
It's just the marker I had lying around.
Sure.
Scarabs fall back. Necron Warriors just going to hang out in combat, I think, because...
Absolutely.
Nope, seems like they fell back as well.
Does it? He has fall back and shoot, right? That's the thing.
Not this turn.
Okay.
Is the third of the 4 Heavenfall Blades, and you're calling us the nerds? We're all nerds, Rallo. So I suppose you call me a nerd actually makes perfect sense. Never mind.
Fair enough. Got me.
We all know you're actually Chaos. Stop pretending.
The Chronomancer's coming out to play at this point. The Chronomancer is being protected by the Crypto Thrall, so this isn't nearly as crazy looking as it might initially seem.
Oh yeah, Kurt's Fools have Bodyguard, right?
Super Bodyguard, yeah.
I guess he'll just make contact with the terrain.
And those Crypto Thralls aren't exactly easy to kill either.
Yes, he is.
I'm not a nerd. I hardly know what's going on. I just like watching the dice roll. I don't know what this game is, but I like the sound the dice make when they kill a man.
That's how people get into 40k. Like that's like one of my first armies was like guard, and what attracted me was the fact that I could pick up the giant skull that they had in GW and just throw the dice all over the table. And, like,
those warriors
do like one wound to something. Like afterwards.
Oh, gold. The only thing I remember going to the GW for and being like, oh man, look, Tyranids! I always like being very pleased to look at the Tyranids, but I never actually played a game in a store until way later. Like
the one in the back.
I've got to admit, I don't like the fun of going to GW stores and playing games got like worse and worse. Like the last time I went to GW store and like took part in anything was the 8th edition launch where they played an Apocalypse game.
Yeah, if I bring
and Apocalypse weren't even out. And it was just a mess. Like there was just party, and no one knew what the hell was going on. And it started like 7 o'clock, and we were meant to be out the store by 10, and it was going on till midnight. Like, manager was just like, you know what, screw it, you guys are having fun.
That sounds.
But the problem was,
awesome.
like, certain players on certain
And
teams were
then
just scooping
line
because
to
they had to
line
go
as
home and
well.
get trains and stuff, so it made it, like, really imbalanced.
All right. So that's
Oh man,
yeah.
I'm glad I didn't play when indexes were the thing. All right, psychic phase was nice and quick. Onto the shooting phase.
Let's start with this Chronomancer fire.
We got
with
some
the
entropic
disintegrator.
lances being shot
Hold
at
on
Scorpius
a second.
disintegrators.
I
It
think
misses.
I wanna use a
Did I hear use a stratagem? Oh.
Yeah, it might be worth it to get cover on everybody.
I never actually played a game at a Games Workshop. I've played a
No,
few.
I'm not.
I played one. I played a couple times with friends
I might
who I
actually
met
do
there
the
because it was
reroll.
kind of central to
Yes.
where all of us were
We
living.
rolled the shot 'cause rolled
I
it.
played one against the kid who had just
I
got
did.
his first Chaos box,
And then we will wound on a 3.
and so we played a game where he won.
We automatically
And
roll
then
to-
I tried to play a game against the guy who had some severely proxied Tyranid monsters that were painted something
yeah,
like a
I'm sure
kaleidoscope.
Wound on 3.
I want to see pictures of that. I love
Have to
interesting
check.
painting models.
I really wish I could, but nah, it was like a thing. It was
I need to
fine.
know if
I
you
got
can
along
see
well
it.
though when I went there for like
Those
tournaments for Kill Team
6.
in particular though. I went there for
Yeah, I
one or
think
two Kill
Kill
Team
great
tournaments.
at GW. Like,
Yeah.
if you because they don't even play 40k on like proper size boards. They're all 48 by 48 from like 6th edition,
Second
like
Chronomancer,
even
Yeah.
shoot it,
earlier.
put it on a 3.
So they don't even have like the right size boards in,
It's I'll
in
spend the CP
GW,
to automatically
which is
No.
kind of sad. And if they did get the bigger boards, there'd be like no room.
No.
Like they're already like cramped, like on games nights and stuff.
Yeah.
6
Oh,
damage.
wow.
'Cause
Ooh,
Wait,
that Scorpius Disintegrator just got halved
Alright.
and then killed. It took 2 entropic lance shots. It's a dead disintegrator. What? Okay, that's 3 points
This
for bring it
Chronomancer
down.
Fire his
Yep.
lance at
And
the
a
Archaeopteryx.
big sort of like powerful
Minus
tank
1 hit.
off the board.
Yeah, I did not expect that to happen at all.
No, no,
Like the
3
odds of that
and
happening are
fails
slim.
These warriors.
Fell back.
I'm going to have 2 fire at the Cerberus Raider.
Oh, they can
and
fall back and
4
shoot,
fire at the
apparently.
Electro
Okay. 2 at
Why?
the and 4 at the priests. Cool.
I don't know.
Like I'm legitimately confused. There's no Royal Warden, and it's not the right
Two wounds on the
protocol unless
Raider,
if he
minus
swapped
2.
in the correct
Isn't it like
protocol.
one of the Dynasty's rules or
6 to
something?
save.
Or-
No, the while we stand, we fight Scorpius Disintegrators over here.
And then we've got 8 shots into Electro Priest.
Yeah, I'm kind of losing my mind here. How on earth? Unless if they just weren't in combat when they started. Like the Corpuscari died and the
Five.
warriors were like, we died and
5
then
up.
reanimated elsewhere, maybe.
And 5 up, feel no pain.
Because of morale, he pulled out the ones that were in combat.
Alright. Yeah, yeah. It's a thing you can do in life.
I'm an idiot. Oh, and nothing to do with abilities and everything to do with correct
Jericho
morale
fire is,
pulling. I am slow on the uptake. They don't call me slow for nothing. A couple more of them got shot. A couple of the Corpuscari got shot though.
Hold on a
Come on,
second.
please.
I think that
What's up?
I think that even if you go to the higher bracket, it doesn't change the fact of his
He still has the Scepter of Eternal Glory. He always has that, no matter what.
Yes,
fact.
absolutely.
That's the only one I'm shooting.
Oh, good. Okay, then we agree. Absolutely. Okay, that's 3 hits for sure.
Yep, strength 8, so wounding on
It's just like, wait, did my tank actually die? Yeah, like, what
so
did
that
you do
is
there? Like,
So
3,
shooting into
and
the
I
plant
am
at this
out of
point.
rerolls,
Yeah.
minus 3 on that.
So it
Okay.
needs 6s to save. No, that's
damage piece.
Cover. Okay.
ton of damage.
Yeah, he did
it's a
4.
decent amount of damage. The Scepter of Eternal Glory is stronger in shooting. No, it's a 2 damage weapon no
These
matter what it is.
warriors
So
will
like
put
it's down to
every single
4.
Shot into those Electro Priests.
I thought it was one of those crazy
Okay.
like D3 plus. frames.
No,
So it's
no,
only
no, no, no.
24 shots.
It's only strength 2. It's only damage 2, but it is a lot of solid damage too. The big thing for Zark is if he still has the Farron of melee slaying.
14 wounds.
The Scythe of Dust is
I
really
don't know if
strong.
we're getting out of this. That will
5,
kill 6
yeah.
priests. That's the squad exactly.
Kill, that's 5.
No, 5.
Only 5.
Okay, one
One
priest
priest.
left alive.
Hold it down.
Okay.
One Electro Priest left standing.
Okay.
He's a great charge target. Like,
Yeah,
you know what's
that's,
gonna happen if you go for the
That's
Raiders.
all my shooting.
you know what's the funny part?
Okay.
That guy might not even fail
So
morale.
we'll go to the charge phase. First things first, Zarek is charging the plane.
Okay, Zarek has to
Oh,
charge
right.
this Sarcophagus and has to make it. It's an 8 on the dice. He needs this. to make Zarek really like worth anything at all.
The stream is letting this roll.
Nope. CP reroll immediately.
This is a big moment.
It makes it! There goes Zarek! At this point, if he can kill the copter, that was going to be the last chance possible to kill this thing, get the 3 points for it,
better be enjoying this.
and force
That was
a
big,
My heart rate
moment.
can't take much more.
and force the
And
AdMech
there
player
is
Lockjaw
life.
to really start sacrificing some
You hear
units
that,
to
chat?
get
Hey,
Yeah,
use
Kellen's
on
name
first.
when he hit that charge roll, by the way. I'm finally enjoying this because if I hadn't made that, it was over.
That's
Yeah.
alright.
Couldn't agree more. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Warriors, we have a 2-inch charge, 2-inch charge. We're charging both the Raiders and.
Oh no, he's charging the Raiders too?
Ooh, interesting.
I'm
Let
not
me
sure about
think.
that because he can grab this backup Jetson.
It's contested right now. He could grab it,
It's a very interesting decision.
but he can't move 12 inches the way he normally would because the Scarabs are sort of blocking him. And they do
Alright,
have a chronometron, so they could make the charge.
Oh, actually, hang on. Oh. Ooh. Before you make any decisions. That is actually. That would be a huge blunder on my part. Do you mind if I,
Oh, Kellen, bring it
I-
back
I-
from the brink there.
I don't mind at all. You're reevaluating
Yeah.
your charge target?
Yeah, I'm reevaluating. I
fine.
totally just remembered that you have that Obliqua, and that would totally F everything up. So we're just charging.
Tactico
I'm not
Obliqua
gonna
being
do that. That's totally fine.
immediately told to go
Actually,
X
no,
off.
just
Just
one
it
charge,
into
right?
the
Just
Raiders, and they're
Raiders.
going to do nothing to him in
Yep,
combat.
and it's
No
unfailable because of
Overwatch.
our +1. So
That's why I was saying this was
Indeed.
perfect, like one priest to life.
Yeah.
5.
So at this point, this
Six.
will allow
I
And
could.
stay out of
Kellen to be able to get OBSEC onto this objective, which will be difficult but not impossible to remove, as the Iron Striders will have vision on them.
Funny you say that, Cypher. There is a stratagem to blow up an admit vehicle.
Yeah, it like literally, Necrons have it too,
And
actually.
it's
So if anything gets too close to Zarek, Zarek could have exploded for 2d6 inches d6 damage explosion, which would have been really funny, but.
Let's get these corpses out of the way.
Technically, your first model's
These
meant to
corpse-
end within an
corpses,
inch of
sorry.
the charge target.
He went for the pun!
Pun.
Thank you for going for that pun. I super appreciate it.
We may be lifeless automatons, but we still have our sense of humor.
Corpse Sakari? Electro Priests? Get it? Because they're dead. Anyway. Oh, I'm just glad that that pun
Okay.
made it through.
That's the thing that's happening now. Okay, that's happened. These warriors are charging back into the Electro Priests.
Okay. The Warriors are
I'm
going
not
in
gonna
again.
watch. Go ahead and charge.
Yep. Gotta be done.
Easy 8.
That's
Alright.
3.5. Well, your
Yes.
charge is
And
half.
I think the
Yep.
Scarabs
And then
maybe go
you
back
get
in
plus
as
one
well.
half.
Get a
I
bit
think you do
more
the
LOS.
So we're,
Oh, actually, he pulled the right two
okay,
models
so then
too.
it's a 4.5 then. 'Cause
I think that's right. I think you're supposed to divide and then add +1.
That is correct.
Yep. They were just confirming like how does like
We're good at math.
minus strength minus a plus strength work. Basically, yeah, you always you times and then add for any like plus effects.
Well, in this case, it
We're
was
up in
because there's a
there.
charge range issue, I
Okay.
think.
We could. And then this Chronomancer will charge into them.
Chronomancer's going
Yeah,
in
go ahead.
ham.
Make it happen.
He makes a
Yep.
6.
He gets +1 and he ignores the dense cover or difficult ground.
Yep.
Sure.
Now, what about the Scarabs?
We're doing that now.
we can just hang out. I think that's fine.
Potentially.
Okay.
I could see them try to like charge into the Skitarii Vanguard, harm
Ooh,
them
maybe
badly, and then tag the
Scorpius
Scorpius Dune Rider. Maybe.
Unless
Because the Scorpius
Charge
Dune Rider
away.
can't fly. So depending on how that one will work
you're
out,
not-
you could actually almost trap it. Because there isn't
you're
enough
not gonna
room for
have
this thing to
recourse
actually
one
get out.
Chronomancer.
Who knows?
Yeah. The question here is like, what does that prevent? Because odds are you don't use the strat. And if you do, how endangered is that Chronomancer? Pretty firmly endangered.
I think he's debating what to do with the yellow scarabs.
Yeah.
But it does stop you from being able to run around and shoot stuff.
The question is, does he want to tag the tanks?
So I
And
think we will charge the Chronomancer into the Raiders.
You know, this would have been an interesting situation to potentially have the Crypto Thralls that are hiding in there
Back here.
move out to, like, rip apart the Cerberus Raiders. and have the Chronomancer hide back
No, I won't.
instead.
You can go ahead.
But man, I'm
Yeah,
not
what-
sure.
What
Get
is
a 3.
Good enough.
So 3 inches makes it in. The only time when Snake Eyes doesn't
We'll
matter.
just do the bare minimum to get in there.
Wish Zarek had that roll. Only has that left.
I know. All right, so he should be within an inch there, and then with a 3 of rolls, I think I'm fairly.
Oh, that is
that
not the
is-
case.
Okay.
I'm looking at a pretty glaring lack of overlap from this pink circle.
I think so.
Hey, it's
But
game
we're gonna
two.
go ahead
You
and
get
say
1
it's
inch,
okay.
1/10 of an inch closer to the Raider, but I think you're still close enough to crypto throw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think I would too at this point. It's like I know what your intent is. Like, sure.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah, well, he could have easily in the movement phase just like
Hey,
edged the
let's go
crypto
to the
throw a little
charge-
bit
or let's
left
go to the
to
fight phase.
solve the problem. So, all
Please do.
right, fight time.
I am going.
Tonight's a good night for a fight. Let's see what happens.
Up. I think that you're up, probably.
You know, this would have been one of the weird times where it would have been better if it was a hold 2, hold more situation. Hold 2, hold
Oh,
3,
yeah.
hold more for the Necrons.
I would say Necrons would be killing it right now in the primary.
Mhm.
What else would I expect CP on?
But hey, it's not the case.
Go big or go home.
That's. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 attacks is enough. So, as much as I hate it, we are going to spend our last CP.
There's the last
Plus
CP
1
for the,
For the,
for the
orange and
Necrons.
red.
I've not seen this before in a Necron list.
So
I
12.
thought the Amic could be out before Necrons.
Yep.
Me too.
Wounding on 3s.
But he
It's
It's a
needs to
lot
kill
of
us.
attacks into the
No,
Corpus
I'm pretty
Cari though,
sure
so
those
this
pieces
should
that,
kill them.
My invulnerable save. We'll take
Oh,
it.
it might not. He needs like 1/5 to stay alive, pretty much.
Dodge. So 3 die.
3 die.
4.
Oh no! It's like the exact wrong number.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
He's gonna hide in the corner. Part of the Omnissiah.
Yep. Are you interrupted?
No, sir. No way. My one.
Yeah.
Or my other one.
I thought the only place where an interrupt could have been interesting.
Yep. All right. So the Chronomancer will just come in there.
Slap him about.
Yeah. Actually,
Yep.
before I do that, my apologies. We will pile in kind of like so.
Yeah, I think that's his full size, even with the seismic bomb. Yeah, you get a full pile in and full consolidate, even with the seismic bomb.
Seismic bomb.
Basically,
Right, so yeah, so the bomb was what pulled him out of combat, by the way.
Gotcha. And a seismic bomb, no less.
yes.
So at this
Bit-
point, the
bit-
Technomancer, or the Chronomancer has piled in.
Although no, these
Time to
guys
get
will
all
stay- they will
time to bring
stay
out the
put
metal
where they were.
tentacles and the staff.
But then that's the Chronomancer getting there, get protected.
I think that actually kind of does make up for the mistake with the Silent King on turn 1.
Sorry, this is
So,
kind of
yep.
That's okay, man. I know that the fight phase is a very complicated one, and the piles in are very difficult. Take your time.
Yep, definitely most
So
complicated
Chronomancer
phase of the game.
first.
Like, has been.
And if you can master it, it makes a big difference.
Oh yeah. And it's what makes combat
hits.
armies fun.
Yeah, that's strength
For
4.
2
Okay,
wounds,
sure.
right?
And that's the AP is irrelevant. 5+ invulnerable, and then it's 1 damage, right?
Yeah.
The
So-
metal techno
Yep,
chrono
exactly
tendrils
1 damage.
end up
Uh,
murdering the Corpus Cari. That's the end of that squad there.
Squad wiped.
Yep.
And then we will do some consolidating these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So currently,
wait a
for
second.
Purge the Vermin,
This guy, I believe, is
yeah.
closer to. Yeah, I think these
Oh,
two.
yeah, he's looking
max-
to score points on this
closer
this
to
turn.
this
Uh,
guy,
I think he's
yeah,
closer
because
to-
I think this is probably right in the
These
middle.
guys
So
are over here.
currently, the Cerberus
Yeah,
Raiders
this
are in the
is-
one corner. I think they're wholly within this bottom left corner.
I'm not
If that's the
Because I
case,
had,
then
like,
it's
the
Purge the
9-inch
Vermin
reach
for
to
2,
get him.
which
They
is
did. They moved quite
not a
far.
bad start for turn 2. It's actually pretty good for turn 2.
Okay, this guy is definitely
So
closer to
he's-
Electro Priest.
Okay, this guy can probably pull that off. We'll make it a little bit of a modest move.
Okay.
And then
I love that. I love that
we'll
phrasing.
get
Make a
this
bit of a
thing.
modest move, like
Oh,
more than
yeah.
3 inches, like 3.1. Can you
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 attacks.
casually stroll this way?
All right, so this should kill the Electro Priest. 3s and 3s.
So, like if it doesn't, this plan kind of
Fours.
fails.
Okay. 5+ save.
3-5 feeling pains needs to pass here. No, that's the end of that boy.
No,
Everything can
sorry,
now pile into these dogs.
Yeah, which is great because it
Sure. Yeah, no, looks good.
means they're not being as much of a nuisance as they
Yeah, and
potentially
then
could
put
be
your
next
odds
turn.
on the objective. Seems fine.
Question is will the Silent King bring down the flyer? So that's
Yeah.
pretty.
Bringing down that flyer would be a big deal at this point.
I am now in engagement range. After that.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm contemplating. Is
Take
that
your time.
word?
The thing is he has to make sure a Necron Warrior is
Yeah, I
closest
think
to
it's
this dog at the bottom here.
We're
Otherwise, there
jamming.
is potential to maybe go for the bottom objective, like because you don't want the dogs like swarming round.
Yeah.
The
And
guy
trying
there.
to steal the objective
And
there
then
off
you
of
look
the
at this
Technomancer
Chronomancer
and
just
piling it
straight
around him.
He'll start with his lance attack. He hits and wounds -3 AP.
6+ invulnerable.
That is a dead Cerberus
Flat
Raider.
the
damage.
damage on this thing.
Yep.
Flat 3.
Okay. I think I had that.
And I'd be
It's
taking
the
down the
only melee. Like the
And
Chronomancer
then
can't. It like has some pretty reasonable buffs, but it's also the only Cryptek that can melee or fight or shoot really at
-1.
all.
Yep. I'll need a 5. Saved.
Okay.
And even then, it's very
So we
modest.
just toasted one of them. He's going to pretty much just stay where he is. He's happy.
Okay. Cool.
And then we got the Silent King.
This is the big one.
Here it goes.
This is the
Silent
big
King.
one.
That flyer is getting
6
auto exploded, by
attacks.
the way, guaranteed.
Oh,
Hitting on 2.
Huge. Yeah.
wounding on 3s.
Strength of 9, so wounding on 3s.
Mm-hmm.
Now these are all
And
AP
that is
minus
going to be
3.
5 wounds at AP -3.
Needs.
It is a
Oh,
dead
jeez.
copter.
Yeah, he's toast. I
mean-
will use a stratagem to make it
it
automatically
goes.
explode.
Yeah,
Auto
here we go.
explode. Surprise, surprise.
Rage of the Omnisci, and I'm going to deal D3 mortal wounds to Zarek. Another huge roll. Fans get
Gets a
excited.
1 here.
It's
Oh,
the
no.
big
Yeah.
3.
Alright, so you get him. And
There's
this
no
explode.
way that Zara
Oh,
can
yeah,
explode and
forgot.
hit anything
He
around
has a
necessarily.
huge
He
explosion,
does
right?
explode. He's got 2d6.
Oh my god, what? No! No! That could hit the Crypto Thralls. That's really not good.
Oh my
So
god.
11 inches.
It hits the Crypto Thralls.
Oh, 11.
It's D6 mortal wounds.
Oh no!
I think it's just the crypto trolls, though.
Oh no!
No, I don't.
Oh no! Okay, so the Silent King explodes. After the copter explodes,
Wow.
wipes out the one Crypto Thrall squad. That's 4 wounds gone, and then the next
On the
one
other side.
takes 3. There's one Crypto Thrall left alive on the other one. So the Necrons currently hold 3 objectives.
Wow.
That-
What a moment.
And this Chronomancer is now sitting out in the open
That's awful.
like an idiot.
What a
That's-
moment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
That is horrible. Okay.
I knew there was a shot for the D3 mortal wounds to kill him, and I took it, and I got lucky.
Got lucky for
Yeah,
the first time all day.
that's all.
Are you sure about that?
Points, I'm bringing it down from there.
Got
Yeah,
lucky.
that's all I'll get.
Lockjaw needs to check his luck
Fortunately,
privilege at
I
the
did
door.
threw up some good retakes, so
Incredible.
you're not getting 15.
Nope.
At the very least.
The Silent King's displeasure was made known, and his Crypto Thrall suffered his wrath.
It is your fight back now.
Okay, cool. All I have to fight back with.
Oh
is
my
the
God.
Cerberus Raiders.
That was brutal. All right, so that's gonna be. Oh no! Like we knew the Silent King was dead, but the Crypto Thralls probably shouldn't have had to die for that.
Okay, I guess.
Because now at this point, these boys literally just fall back,
two of them will
steal that objective,
stab the
take another engage on all
the
fronts.
Chronomancer, and 4 of them.
They could probably get it for 3 points as well. The Thralls deserved it. Raul, get out of my chat. I'm so mad at you right now.
So,
At this point, Lockjaw is looking at another 3 points for engage on all fronts. Probably a perfect 15. Honestly, if all goes according to plan, the Scorpius Dude Rider just needs to get a good advance into this objective, and it will never die now, really. There are 2 Chronomancers, but rolling 2 6s again would be impressive.
But you're right, it's a 4, so there's no wound there. And then I'll throw my claw.
Like, just, oh my god. That is not what you were looking for. Anyway, dice rolling time.
Silent King goes up on a 4+, does he? Is
Okay,
that,
and
is
then
that
I
a thing?
have
Silent King explodes on a
Four
4+
Raiders
for
attacking
2d6
the
inches and d6 mortal wounds.
That'll be 5.
Ouch.
And you
5
can
attacks
you
to
can
the
auto explode them too.
Sergeant.
It's 1
Yeah.
CP to auto explode, which is gross. but
And then wound on 4, strength 4. 2 wounds. AP 1.
One goes
release
through.
one.
Sure. And then I'll 8 attacks with the clawed limbs.
Ah!
Okay.
Why do they have so many
Just
attacks?
boys into force.
Why is this unit sold out?
Wounds, AP.
Alright, 3 saves here on
Force.
4 ups.
Lose 2 more.
Okay, and that'll be the end of the attack, so now they get to reanimate. At this point, reanimating needs to be done
Yeah, you're
carefully.
back.
Yeah.
If it can be done at all.
Rerolling one of those.
No,
Yeah,
all
no,
3
no.
are gone. That's just 39 points removed because these
Cool.
horsies
So I
have
think
clawed
we'll go to
limbs.
I don't have any morale to do.
They are 60 million year old
I rated
death
off the
robots
model
being
to
killed
7 leadership, I
by a
think,
couple of
so that they're immune. 7 leadership.
scrappy.
So
By an
it's-
STD template that was like,
Oh, why'd you do right? 'Cause
just
Zerg is dead.
no one cared about for like 20,000 years. And then
my
Cole,
God.
like found it.
Gosh.
It's like, let's make robot dogs.
I get that at the start of my turn.
Yes, you're right.
Alrighty, so end
now
of
we get
turn.
Purge the vermin. I'm getting 2 points for that so far.
Bring it down has been scored for the total 13.
And it is your go.
Okay, I go up to 5 CP.
And we're currently looking at 29 points for our Necrons. That'll be
Not bad.
another 10
taking
points,
1 and 2.
I believe, for Lockjaw as he holds the 2 back objectives,
Yeah.
And then let's start moving.
which puts us up to 40,
Injured vehicles.
49? 49. Yikes.
My Cerberus Raiders are going to fall back
Yeah.
with the goal of
Incredible.
breaking the banner. Oh, primaries. 10
Now,
points.
if he can hang out
Yeah.
this turn, it could start to turn 4 and 5 could start to
I have
swing.
2 objectives.
and
You
plays.
have
Favorite?
Arrover, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Live.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but here's what's going to happen.
Everything's
Now
gonna
that these
die.
Surveyors have removed the banner from this objective,
Yeah. I knew that was coming at some point.
right? So
Yeah.
the banner's
Remove the
gone,
banner at the
which
end of
now
the turn.
removes, at this point, it's turn 3, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 points from the secondaries. Really. The red Necron Warriors will, if it's not the purple ones that get Ballistaried, it'll be the red ones. If I were in Lockjaw's position, I'd look to eliminate the one flank, use the Scorpius Dune Rider to play bumper cars with the purple Necrons, and use the Scorpius Disintegrators to remove the Scarabs. Then next turn, after the Necrons probably fall back or something because there's no more Zarek
Vanguards
anymore,
will just move over
they don't
here.
get command protocols, then you can use the Ballistari afterwards to take out all the purple boys. Like, it's just...
Doesn't Daka everything off the board this turn.
Yeah, like most things are gonna get Daked off the board this turn.
Sort of realistic.
The Chronomancer here is dead. There's no CP to revive him. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm seeing bumper cars, dude.
Raiders, I don't think.
Also, the Scorpius Dune Rider on the other side could easily move forward, charge the Canoptic Scarab Swarm, and then that way they can play bumper cars with them, if need be. And then also get engaged on all fronts for 3 points again. Those Robodogs were amazing. Yeah, no, like the new models for AdMech are just stellar. Brutal plays here. I expect this to be an almost perfect game out of Lockjaw. The only thing they won't score full on is Bring It Down, and that's because Bring It Down cannot score more than the 13 points it's currently worth. Pre-FAQ, ladies and gentlemen. There will be a wounded Crypto Thrall left on the board this turn. You know,
yeah.
chat, Lucas,
not wrong.
this is true. There will be this boy right here, hanging out by himself. Just chilling in the corner, staring at the wall, thinking about everything that went wrong in this game. Poor thing. This is where you chat in chess, you tip your king, say GG, sorry, but it's brutal to watch. This is potentially a resign situation, for sure. For sure. I imagine that I definitely would have resigned in chess.
And he has had super luck on his rolling so far.
Yeah, the only thing right now is that really at no point has Kellen had a moment where he could get to a bit where it's like I can promote, where it's like a big play, like a promotion or whatever. None of his pieces have traded particularly well. Most of the AdMech army is still on the board, with the exception of the 2 Corpuscari squads, 1 of the Cerberus squads, and a copter. In return, 2 Ghost Arcs, Zarek, the Silent King, most of the warriors, one of the warrior squads as a whole, have all been like removed from existence, and this turn it's only going to get worse.
Oh yeah.
And it's lucky that the Necrons don't have a third gunboat currently shooting them because of that double 6 damage thing. Absolutely, Lucas. I think he's repeatedly butting his head against the wall, not looking at it. No, I imagine he's just looking at it, and he's just sadly beeping and booping to himself. Beep, boop. Which in machine code probably means...
One thing you gotta remember, guys, a lot of players had ridden off tanks, being in like mass tank lists like this. A lot of players have ridden them off because bringing it down was like a thing. And the amount of firepower that things like Eradicators and Inceptors can put out just meant that your tanks did nothing and just gave your opponent points. So a lot of players went, oh, my opponent's probably not going to bring tanks, so I'm not going to tech into that like that massively to deal with it. I mean, Inceptors and Eradicators are great against other things and other threats, but a lot of other armies AT are specifically designed to deal with tanks. So it is a bit of a mismatch when the Necrons do not have like one guy who's like super good at like killing vehicles, and then not really a whole lot else.
The problem with one of the bigger problems in Necron Codex is that whatever anti-tank they have is overpriced and under-efficient for what they need to be.
Yeah.
Like, remember our game?
Mm-hmm.
3 heavy destroyers tried to kill 1 9-wound dreadnought and could not do it until after 3 turns, pretty much. It required the help of a chronomancer and the freaking void dragon to kill one of those 2 dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have anti-tank as a thing. Even our biggest anti-tank things, the Doomsday Arcs and the Canoptic Doomstalkers, sadly, both of them have D6 shot, D6 damage weapons. Which is, like, kind of insulting, actually. Anyway.
If you're bringing Catan, you've got mortal wounds that you can pop onto vehicles.
Yeah, 100%. And I needed to play them more aggressive, but they are actually tricky to pilot because of the number of mortal wounds that armies can put out these days.
Okay, so 20 shots from
After this, I'll definitely be happy to go ahead and actually, like,
rerolls of
study some chess or something. Looney Lion, credit to Kellen, he's made a game of it. No wonder what would happen with a re-rack. Yeah,
and wounding
potentially.
I think going first for Admech is so powerful.
Going first for Admech is extremely powerful, but also importantly, I wonder what would have happened if Zarek had not been shot turn 1. So, imagine what would have happened if he had still had all those rerolls turn 1, turn 2, to hit, to wound, all that stuff. Honestly, I think that's a map like this needs to be play tested a little bit against more variety of armies because the shooting on this map in particular is gross.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle, it's fine to have firing lanes, but these are
next I have
big.
I think the dense event is going to make a big difference.
Yeah, there needs to be more dense terrain. And like as a Tau player, I want more dense terrain. If I have to spend a CP to ignore it, that's fine. But like, there needs to be more ways to protect yourself against shooting if you're gonna have big open firing lanes like this.
One of them is double damage though.
Anyway,
I think they're both AP 0, but one of them.
Yeah, but seriously, credit to Kellen. Not only because he's made a game of it as best as he possibly could, but also for being like in a barely salvageable situation, which he honestly it would have been hard to salvage for anybody against Lockjaw's list. Lockjaw rolling the way that he did, and also playing the way that he did. Like again, credit to Lockjaw, he's playing super well too. But like it takes a lot of mental fortitude and grit to be able to just be like, yeah, no, you know what? This is a losing game. I'll still play out most of it, if not all of it. Because right now, I would have talked it out, for sure.
3 of them are double damage. 3 of them are...
So those are two.
No game is over until all your models are dead.
Untrue, but
That's my fault.
our game, we talked it up pretty quickly at a certain point.
I wasn't conceding.
I had a game against Zarek and the Silent King, 40 Necron Warriors, 34 Necron Warriors with Reapers, 3 Doomstalkers, and some other stuff against the Talist I've made. I was able to talk it out by the bottom of turn 3 really easily. It was a 96 or 98 to 28 points. It did not go well.
Yeah, let's go with Tau.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Tau.
Okay, now you can reanimate.
Love. And I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe one day we'll actually have a very interesting codex with a lot of cool stuff. So.
Okay, next I'll have my Scorpius Dune Rider see if we can wipe out the Scarab Swarm. Yes.
And then you'll be like the most
12
hated
shots
faction.
into the Scarabs.
You know what?
Transport.
I'm still the most hated faction. Like I hop online, like, oh, welcome to the internet.
Just wear that badge with
Only
pride
3 wounds.
at this
No
point, you know.
Hello, fellow wargamers. Go kill yourself. Oh
Too
no.
much.
Like, see, it's just one of those things. It's like, oh, marvelous. I'm so happy I popped onto the internet today to
next,
see
the
this.
Scorpius Disintegrator in
Oh.
the back is going to.
You see,
fire-
even Rallo's bullying me.
I mean, I think the biggest amount of re I've ever seen on Reddit was when Agents of Vet got announced. Like, that was insane. Like,
Oh,
what do you
man.
mean?
Everything
One
in
faction
Necron
can
Wars.
have a strategy that denies
they
my
even
strategy.
say, bad idea.
Somebody had been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering at that point. I was like, what if Warhammer, but the blue
Bear my
player?
cannon into this
Yeah.
Chronomancer in the open. He's exposed.
He
right?
also has.
Black is a
another
shade of
save,
blue,
though.
I guess. Like,
Blue-black is a really
He has a-
common color pairing.
yes,
It's one of the
it's-
classics.
You're right, absolutely.
And they're not even fish!
I do it. Bear my cannon into the
They have
Chronomancer.
pachyderm, like, hoof feet.
Sure.
Bear
And
my
wrinkly
cannon.
gray skin, like an elephant.
Okay.
They are like elephant men.
yeah, but why do they name all their stuff after like fish on Terra?
Yeah.
Like, I never quite got
Because
that.
those aren't the town names for them.
Teach.
Those are the
missile
Imperium's
launcher.
classifications for those vehicles.
Blast weapon. So
I don't know. Honestly, it just sounds cool that way to name them that way, but the Imperium named their stuff. Well, they call their stuff like the XV-108.
2 wounds, AP 2.
Yeah, it's boring though. It's just like a bunch of letters and numbers. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, the Riptide then.
And then I fire my heavy stubbers.
All right, so Sandaka coming into these purple warriors.
Belisarius. And
Belisarius
1
call.
extra hit.
Gross.
This will wound on 3s. Only 4 wounds.
yeah, we're just seeing every unit just getting deleted. Like the redneck warriors are now gone. I imagine the Scarabs will be gone.
4 more dead.
So it's-
Yeah.
three-
And there's no way to stop to get Purge the Vermin anymore
Right,
either,
4
unless
plus
if
save, I think
Lockjaw
you
decides
should-
to be
that's fine.
super nice,
So, yeah.
and then
Yeah,
put
I mean,
all of his
damage.
units into, like, in between a variety of different corners.
Okay.
At that
so
point,
far,
like,
right,
maybe,
it's like, wow.
maybe, but...
One last four.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, it turns out that xenophobia and heresy are common
Okay, this
words
disintegrator will
for
fire the Faramite cannon against this Chronomancer in the
the
open,
extremist
and,
lexicon. So, you know, just remember, folks, the Imperium's a
everything
bad
else
place,
against
too.
these yellow scarabs over there.
Oh, God. There go the
So,
yellow
Turns
scarabs.
first,
Pew,
reroll
pew, pew,
one
pew,
with
pew, pew, pew.
Belisarius. That'll be 3 hits. 1 extra hit there. Wounding on 2s. Yep, just 2 wounds.
All right.
3 damage each.
Also, can't help but notice that Technomancer's also dead.
And oh, that's going into this guy. That's right.
That was the Chronomancer, yeah.
Yeah, so he's gone.
Okay. Then the
There goes
missile
another one.
launcher into the scarabs. 4 shots. Hitting on 3.
Kellen,
Reroll with the
if you're
twos.
watching this in hindsight,
1 extra hit.
as a
wounding
fellow
on
Necron player, I just want to say
2
you're
wounds, AP 2.
a gentleman and a
Mostly.
scholar,
Okay, a roll. for
but you
damage.
needn't have played
Each
this
one
far.
is 3 3 damage,
Ah,
and then I deal 1 damage.
oh,
Yeah, he actually said to me, he said,
let me
I
roll
think
my
it's going to be
stubbers
really
before
rough,
you
but I
read
am
it.
going to play it out for the stream, so
sure.
that's up to him. For
oh,
doing
he
that.
does not have to. He knows that.
Reroll with belly.
He knows that. That's okay. Like,
That's
no one,
electric.
like, it's not that no one would blame him at this
Then
point, but,
moving
like, the
on,
game,
please.
it's like, this
But we
is
can-
bullying.
we can-
Lockjaw's bullying
This
him.
is-
Well, we can put more answers to the YouTube video, it's fine.
This is straight up bullying.
You get one back.
Yeah, 1 comes back.
in true YouTube fashion. Like, oh, it's 3 hours long, that means we can have a
Okay,
100 ads.
Belisarius himself is going to take care of the scarabs with his solar atomizer.
Some YouTubers game really like that.
The Necrons.
This reminds me. There's a person in my pod when we played. I was at a certain point. He was a younger man, if I remember correctly, and he at some point was just like, "Why you bully?"
Warriors, yeah.
And so now I ask the
So
question
D3
to
shots
Lockjaw,
from
"Why
the
you
super
bully?"
melt the weapon. Very nice, 3 shots.
That wasn't the Elder player by any chance, was it?
Sorry?
That wasn't the guy who's playing Elder in your pod by any chance, was it?
No, wait.
Think
Yes,
you
it
went
was.
It's a lot of strength. And
I mean,
atomizer
no,
is,
no offense to the guy, but
84.
Ballistic had he kind of believed himself.
Oh no, he was a foot slogging
Recently.
Eldar player, but at a certain point he charged my Ivara, and my Ivara rolled out of 6 shots with the ion cannon. I think I hit with 5 of them on 6s.
Yeah.
His bounties. Okay.
So his Wraith Lord literally exploded.
Did I fire the blue vanguards? No, I didn't. I fired the red and the green.
So right now for the Necrons, we have 1, 2, 3.
We're gonna blast.
Well,
5
Sorry.
Necron warriors, 2 scarabs, and a chronomancer. That's it.
11 more.
That's
Oh,
the
I take it back.
whole thing. Oh, and 1 crypto thrall hiding behind a wall. Forgot about that guy. Don't forget about him though. And then those 2
Cool.
scarabs. Yeah.
So 3 to hit, 4 to wound.
So 1, 2, 9, 10, 11. I'm counting 11.
Reroll Belisarius.
And
Yeah,
dropping fast.
Okay, 15 hits. Wounding on 4. One of them is double damage, but they're all AP 0.
Just to rub it in, yeah.
Okay,
This is
so
extra
I will
damage.
roll 3 saves here, 6 ups. Oh, then I'll roll the double damage. That fails, and then I'll roll the other 2. So we have 1 down.
And
Even the
then
Rangers
two
are getting
step
involved.
fresh
Sorry, the
back
Vanguard are
into
getting
the enemy.
involved at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
We don't.
they might as well.
Okay, next I'll have this Scorpius Dune Rider here. Fire all of its shot at the Necron Warriors.
Yep, makes sense. Just
Well,
shot
thanks.
upon shot upon shot upon shot.
Reroll with the big cheese.
I love how this guy gets rerolls
and
because
then
he
wound on
exists,
freeze.
and I have to.
Turn 5.
Oh, I'm gonna stop being salty.
nine
I,
of
I
AP
swear. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get salty.
You have
My
one.
bad,
on
everyone.
cover.
Yes, and
Look,
so that's him.
Lockjaw at
3
this
up,
point, his entire
3 up.
purpose at this point is just to pick off
up.
whatever hanging pawns there are left
3 up,
and score as
3 up.
perfectly as possible.
3
Yeah,
up.
very nice.
Oh, the first
others
warrior
are
finally
fours.
goes down. Followed by
Like
the
this.
other 3!
4 total.
Oh, come on! That's some good luck, though, at first.
Both the finals matches.
And
the
2
grand
do
final.
get back up, to be fair.
So how many have died over here? 8? 6?
About.
But I guess that's
think.
the issue
That's
with
why I
like
keep the models
only
upside
like a
down.
couple of armies
I
having the
tried to-
codex out and
yeah.
this overhang of 8th edition rules,
I
which
don't
is
really
gonna
remember.
start to gradually get back
How
to
It
many
makes
more
a
they
big
had
difference.
before?
the
They had
curve
like
of balance.
4, I think.
Well, we'll
Maybe somebody in
see.
chat can remember.
There are some things that will be reworded to be in line
No, that's what I was
with
for.
with the other things that are going
Yeah,
on.
but we don't know how many of those purples were pulled to previous.
And it's not just an Alpha League, guys. Believe me. Like I've been watching
I would
other
say it
like
was
T-
6, maybe
TCS
7.
tournaments, and pretty much the same thing happens
6.
like in final matches.
Okay.
Considering how badly Kellen stomped the
We'll see.
sisters, this
We'll
is
see what
karmic
we got.
justice.
Okay.
Yep, potentially. But I remember when we interviewed Lockjaw after his game with Curry, he said that he would have been happy facing sisters, I think, and he would have been happy facing Necrons.
I think I'm just gonna charge the Vanguards. And,
Yeah, he didn't want to fight Dark Angels because they can actually shoot him.
What are you charging? them?
Well,
then
they
he
can
did.
survive.
Okay, my Vanguards
Yeah.
will choose.
Then he did, and it wasn't a
charge
problem.
the-
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Needing a 7.
Needing a 7.
But Mr. Tuna and I agree with you. Allowing the takebacks was kind of Kellen. There comes a certain point, though, depending on which setting you're in, though, you have to have the self-respect to, stand up for yourself as well. So if somebody gets a rule wrong or forgets
And
something,
then the red, the green.
like, it's up
Vanguards
to
are gonna
your
charge the
discretion.
six ones over
But if they
here.
do it, like, too many times, then, like,
They're in. Again,
definitely, at a certain point, you feel like, okay, like, you should learn
Alright,
your lesson
trying
by
to
now. So
stay out of range of heroic intervention and not touch the crater.
it's a tricky question.
The worst one for me is like consolidation. Sometimes I just forget. Like,
Yeah, but then
I
there's sometimes it's like, it's obviously the play you wanted to make.
I never take it back as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And then just like,
I
yeah,
will
it's
go to the fight phase,
gotta learn.
and I will start with activating.
All
the
right, so we've got an engagement on all fronts for
Okay.
3 points. The Scorpius Dune Rider has
Finally.
managed to move up this far already. The Vanguard
six
now
attacks
take the
and
objective and are
refills.
going to try to whack these Scarab Swarms to death. Now, the Vanguard, correct me if I'm wrong, these are the rad saturated ones. So right now they are wounding on 3s because these Scarab Swarms are a toughness 2.
No, definitely not.
Oof.
Okay. 6 attacks, hitting on 4s.
What do you mean they get
And
a
then
death
put you
button?
on a because you're down to 2 tusks.
Not allowed.
Well, I like how the Necrons can get that too, but they have to spend one of their 2 custom traits to do it.
And now you can reanimate.
Which
the
is-
minus one isn't even that big a deal unless you're going from T3 to T2.
Well, it's a huge deal for anybody that's T4, T3, and T5 right now with the weapons that are
And then
available.
I'll activate the
Like-
T5, like T4 is not that huge a deal. Like, because a lot of your stuff's like S5 in
same
combat.
idea
Is that
there.
part
Pile
that you
in.
care about?
Face
That's
to
true.
Contact, stay out,
Um,
I'm trying to stay out of
But
range
those
of the,
times where it is strength 4,
Yeah.
right? Like if you have enough contagion range and your bolters suddenly are wounding on 3s,
cool.
that's a
So
big deal.
6 attacks,
Or
That's
wounding on
great.
4s when they normally be wounding on 5s,
hitting on 4s.
right? For Necrons, Ophidian Destroyers are okay in Novok, but they really kick ass when you get them at the -1 toughness. Because suddenly their strength 4 doesn't matter as much. Suddenly you're wounding
first
things
off
with
into the
power
base
weapons
guitar.
that do 2 damage on 4s instead of
One hit.
5s. Or on
Wounds,
3s.
and then into the other
Or on
guitar.
2s. Like, that -1 toughness does a really good
wound.
job with Ophidians. I've been trying to make a list
Okay.
with them,
I
but
think I have. This is
they're
AP
so
0,
squishy.
Yeah, no,
Well, I
AP
failed it
1
anyway.
because
because you
Charge me.
received the charge. Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, so that
Okay,
would be
that's Vanguard.
1 dead
And then we're
Vanguard.
ready for morale phase.
Yep. So let's just see what these warriors roll.
Okay, yeah, this is the tricky.
That's
They
gonna
would have
be-
failed no matter what,
Oh.
no matter how we counted.
No, rolls a 6 on morale for the Warriors. No, two.
Those two stick.
3-6 in a row, not when you
And I
needed
think
it.
the
though.
scarabs are fine. They lost like 2 or 3 models.
Well, at least they'll allow the
They
2
were
other
not
warriors
a
to
unit of
survive.
6 before this rat started.
My Vanguard has 7 leadership, so they can't fail because they only lost 1 model.
Okay.
And that will be.
What helps me to remember when the apothecary
at
does
the end
stuff is
of
honestly
turn,
just
I
putting
will
on an
go for
aura.
engage on all fronts.
I also have cheat sheets for all the armies I
And
play.
tornado
Like,
engage.
I write up an Excel spreadsheet with, like, turn order and stuff.
We can probably talk it out. From
It
there.
helps.
Sure.
I'm going to get tabled next turn.
Yeah, he will get tabled next turn. There is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
So
models
first
left on the
round
table.
It's not going to happen. So there's no bring it down left. I'll probably get maybe
So we're currently
one more
just
turn of damage before that goes down.
talking it out effectively.
So I'll have that for one more turn, and then I'll probably be done. That looks like my final score.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Alright, so at this point, there'll be max
then,
points
yeah, you're
for
going
primary
to
and
for-
Lockjaw for those last 2, so that's 45. We stand we fights for 15, engage all fronts for another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so that's 15.
No, I killed
93.
one of your.
Oh, you're right, you're
93
absolutely
to
right.
41 guys.
No, it
That
should be
one.
98.
Yep.
Didn't all of the WoW Stanley fights
And then
live?
You've already maxed out your.
Belisarius
so
Call, the
that looks
Balistari,
like
and one of the Dune Riders, right?
the game.
Oh, unless if it was
Yeah,
2
it's
Dune
good.
Riders.
I'm
Oh, okay,
sorry
never
if,
mind.
you know, the dice
It
are
was
pretty harsh.
the other Disintegrator was a WoW Stanley fight target. So yeah, okay, 93 points to 41.
Not the. Sorry,
It's
the.
not anything
Disintegrator.
strange, It's
Scorp's
called going
Disintegrator.
second against that.
Yeah. I really thought the Balistari were going to be
Giant
worth
artillery
more
line.
points than
Right
that.
now, just can't really hide from every angle.
But it's individual
This map
model,
is not a good pull for
right?
me.
It's
This
pre.
map is not a good pull for me.
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
do not
glad
wanna have
we are
central
done
objectives
with
here.
this.
Yeah.
I wanted to either have something with very few objectives to consolidate my force.
It's
or I
still
wanted something with
great
back
for
objectives.
some armies. Like
to
Death
just
Guard
play
love it.
defensively.
Like just lock
Or
on a
jump
few
forward.
units Terminators while we stand.
And neither of those
Yeah,
two
100%. But
this
like,
was the
oh
one
my
map
god. I mean, it
that
still would have been good in this game anyway.
I do
but,
not like this mission at all.
brute.
Do you mean
Brutality,
table
man.
4, or do you mean what do we?
I mean,
mission
mission
three?
Yeah.
Ah, what's hard?
It was
Yeah.
going to be difficult for Necrons going in.
That was,
just couldn't
not
deal with
bad.
the weight of
Mission
far.
12 is what it was.
I don't think
I was
a lot of
perfectly
armies
happy with
can.
it. This is a
like, right
relatively
now.
open
No,
fight.
AdMac Way to Fire is. I honestly, if you're.
And then of course I rolled.
A lot of people are saying that they're a little bit weaker, that AdMac are weaker than some of the top lists, and that might be true. But that kind of firepower is still hard for a Sisters list, a Dark Angels list, Harlequin's list potentially to
Yeah, those
take
are
on
years of flat
and
six
actually
damage. They're
live.
So good at killing Balistari.
If it weren't for the shooting lanes in the
I
middle,
was
it'd be
worried about that
nuts.
for sure.
This is what AdMac does,
Yeah,
and it's
do we
what
need
Tau
to, look
and
at the
Imperial
mission or figure it
Guard
out right
wish
now?
they could do.
We stop
Yeah, I
rolling
Yeah,
dice.
exactly. And Eldor. Because Eldor are a shooting army as well.
Well, I hope
Yes,
we put on a
mind
good
you, they
show. People
they would like to be a lot faster. To be fair, yeah, that was an incredibly strong game. Why don't we go ahead and talk with the players for a minute here in a wee interview, just to get things sorted out and give a quick goodbye to the league.
And of course,
Congratulations,
there are
Lockjaw.
these-
Thank you.
And really well played, Kellen. Seriously, like toughing that out for as long as you did is that is a sign of fortitude, to say the least.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Very good game, man. I like the way you played Necron.
And I'm already thinking about what I could have done. I feel like I probably should have just held back one more turn. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it really was just a couple of things here and there that could have toppled either way. But the poor Silent King getting sniped out at the beginning of the game was harsh, losing all of his auras. And
It's
just
like,
the firing lanes for Lockjaw's army were so incredibly powerful, being able to just snipe through the middle and split your army up in two. Like, you couldn't really support yourself.
yeah. Losing Ghost Arcs left and right like that as well just wasn't great. Um, and as far as the Silent King goes,
Well, Silent King was a bit of. Sorry, go ahead. There's a little bit of echo because Lockjaw. Currently, your mic is picking up Kellen's audio.
Hmm? Oh, that's strange. Am I
Or it might be
Sorry
me.
about that.
It's like as I was looking at it, I realized that he had more drops than me, so he was going to be able to put the Ballistarius wherever he wanted. So it's like, at that point, it's just I gotta hide from as many Faramite cannons as I can because he's gonna be able to see me from wherever.
Yeah, you got me
but
good
what were you
there. I
gonna
was
say?
very purposefully choosing to do the Ballistari last so they could get a good angle on the Silent King, and I knew I had more drops than you, so that lined up well.
Got it, chat.
Yeah, it did.
I have a question.
Sure.
In a situation like this where you've got a horde army going up against like an MSU force like the AdMech, like there's just lots of tiny units and some big units running around all over the place and spreading everywhere. I know it would have seemed to have been very counterintuitive, but spending some CP to put something in reserve, was that something that might have crossed your mind, or did you think about that and decide against it, Kellen?
I guess it depends. Like, I guess it would depend on what you would want to put in reserve. The Silent King's 23 power. That's 3 command points to do that. 1 Ghost Arc wouldn't have been worth it. Warriors, I can hide warriors behind walls, and I have a veil for free instead of having to pay 2 CP for it. And then on top of that, he has an Auspex scan. If those Corpuscari popped out, they could gun down anything that came out of reserve, which is why I was so reserved on using the veil.
Right.
And so as far as reserves, it would be tough because I have a lot of CP, but as you kind of saw, like this army needs CP because 4-up invulnerable saves require rerolls, one-shot weapons require rerolls, and automatic wounds sometimes. You need to be, doing all these different things to maintain it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to start that many CP down to like put the Silent King in reserve, which would be the only valid target that I would see for a strategic reserve like that.
So with season 6 behind you, we got season 7 coming up. Lockjaw and Kellen, this is for both of you. Do you folks think that you're going to be sticking with these armies with the format that we'll be going into where we've got the January FAQ and all that stuff? And if so, what do you think will change about your lists? And what do you think about, and do you think there's anything from this game that might have changed your list as well?
Oh, sorry, could you say the last part of that?
Yeah, sorry. No, I was just going to say, what would change about your lists going into a Season 7 if you guys are bringing the same armies into the next season? Now there's the FAQ and everything, I mean. Because, there's definitely something to be said about the fact that while we stand, we fight now applying to bigger units means that it would have to go onto different models in your army, Lockjaw. And on top of that, you also have, as you've said before, you are playing with the wrong priests, or at least the wrong priests compared to what you wanted to play with. And yet they still did pretty well.
They really did. Yeah.
Yeah, so would you change your list, or do you think you stumbled upon a little piece of secret tech that you actually quite like?
I think I would go to the Fulgurite Electro Priest. I think my army is really lacking much of a counterpunch. The Electro Priests are okay on the charge, but they're nothing like Fulgurites. That is what this army is missing. But on the whole, if I was to play AdMech again in another season, I do not think I would change the list very much. I mean, I have a very consistent strategy for the way I use raiders and the transports to occupy table space while I have superior firepower. And that seems to be the way to lock out my opponent from really getting close to me. It's a good way to score a lot of points because I take up so much table space. I'm very strong against deep strikes. It's really hard for someone to deep strike when I take up as much table space as I do. So I wouldn't change very much except for swapping out to a different breed of Electro Priests.
Right on. And Kellen, yourself?
Well, I for sure am going to be playing Necrons because even when they suck, if they suck, like back in 8th edition, I would still play them. But as far as what I would change, what comes to immediately to mind is just the Arcana that I threw on this Chronomancer. That's a very tiny part of my list, but just having something other than the Tesla Weave would have been better because that almost never came into play throughout this tournament.
Yeah.
Other things though, like part of me thinks about cutting down on warriors, but then I've played with smaller amounts of warriors, and then once they get gunned off the table, the Silent King is probably a staple. I've started running lists with like one less Ghost Arc, and then throwing in a Command Barge with the Blood Scythe and Eternal Madness, just to have one more noble on the table that can kill things, and then that kind of techs into Code of Combat a little bit better.
Yeah, at which point it becomes really reliable.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm looking at. Because
Kellen, your second Ghost Arc seems a little strange to me. Is it just to give the regeneration and kind of take up table space?
yeah, it's mainly to allow both squads of 12 warriors to revive.
And because you've got so many warriors and scarabs, you're kind of forced into picking up the 3 technomancers to really keep them all buffed up. Which is quite a tax, honestly, to put up the 5-up invulns and the rerolls, but it is powerful for what it does. Do you think that the list, because it's focusing so much on durability, might be doing better with a different dynasty, the relentlessly conquering expansionists combo, or is Novak really the way to go for you? We know the efficiency of Novak. Is it worth sacrificing Novak to get more durability, or are you sticking with what you got?
I am personally not a fan
of the
Eternal Conquerors and Relentlessly Expansionist Dynasty. I have played with. I've tried like going just full skew and running 80 warriors in that dynasty and stuff like that.
Gross.
Which I can. Yeah, gross. It doesn't work. I'll tell you that much.
It's almost impossible to support that many warriors, and like people know how to kill them, right? So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but then it's good. If you're running, especially if you're running Canoptic Wraiths, like that's another list. Like if I was going to run it, I would probably run a lot of Scarabs and Wraiths, and maybe fewer warriors, like maybe 20 or 30, maybe 40 warriors. But the thing is that when they're not Novak Dynasty, warriors are really easy to tie up because they're only 1 attack at strength 4. But they become a lot scarier when they're 2 attacks at AP -1. Like you said, we know what the efficiency of Novak is. And just when I'm not playing Novak, and something like Space Marines winds up in combat with me, higher fight phase, I'm just thinking to myself, I wish I was Novak. I wish I was Novak.
Yeah.
I wish I was Novak. So I've never only a lot fewer is the times that I am wishing that all of my stuff is OBSEC, because at the end of the day, I have a lot of OBSEC in this list anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it. Like if you're running a bunch of warriors, Novak is definitely the way to go. And then if you want to run something that's more like beast spam, like you want to run wraiths and scarabs a lot more, then you can go with the Relentlessly Expansionist Dynasty.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. All right. Erever, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I couldn't speak while you were speaking because otherwise my mic messed up. Great game, guys. You're both winners in my eyes. Really well played to both of you. You won't have caught it at Locked Europe, but send me an address and I'll be sending you out a little something out in the post, if that's all right for
Great.
Alpha League
Thank
Season
you.
6. No problem. Well done.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Kellen. Great game, man. It was an honor playing with you. You're definitely a skilled player. You deserve to be here in the grand finals, and I hope the viewers enjoyed what a great game this was.
Well, I know that both Erever and I both enjoyed it, and there was definitely a couple of moments where you're both like, oh no! Like, especially the poor Silent King exploding was rough. But there were definitely some really great moments. And Actually, while we've got you here, Lockjaw, you ended up helping or pretty much designing all the maps, correct?
I did, yeah.
So, after playing through the tournament and coming out on top, congrats again, what do you think going forward as one of the main brains behind the terrain and everything, what do you think might change for Season 7? What's something that people are going to have to get used to from maps? Sorry?
I think you cut out at the end there. You said, what do you think going forward as one of the main brains?
One of the main brains behind the terrain design and everything for Alpha League. What do you think is going to change in the maps, if anything, for next season?
I don't, honestly, I'm pretty happy with the map set. And some people may take that as, oh, he just loves his firing lanes. He's an all-shooty army. This is what he wants. I think this map set, the WTC map set, is a pretty fair balance between open firing lanes and lots of obscuring terrain. There's obviously a big debate between this is too much cover, this is not enough cover, etc., etc. I think this map pack strikes a good balance between that, and other people have their own opinion, and I totally respect that. I don't think a whole lot needs to be changed. I do like the map pack that the WTC put together, and I was happy to create maps on TTS that match that organization. I think they're well designed. I wouldn't change very much. I think there has been some talk of adding more dense cover to here, so we could just add like the dense cover keyword to some of the industrial events, maybe a little bit of changes, but I'm pretty happy with it all in all, and I hope people don't just think that as he's making the map pack to suit himself and look at the wins it scored him. I really think they're fair, and I think they're pretty good, but I would invite the opinions of everyone else here in the chat.
All right. And again, Erever, do you have any questions? Rightio. Well, I know for a fact that we're going to start up the podcast again sometime soon, and Lockjaw, we're probably going to have you on there at some point to talk about all the maps in a little bit more detail.
Great.
And it is also worth mentioning that when we have talked about the maps in the past with one of the folks from Goonhammer, the only reason why they joined the Alpha League was because of the maps. So hopefully you take that to heart as the compliment that it is. With that said, again, congratulations to both of you for first and second place of the grand finals. Congrats to both of you for winning your groups, which is exceptional. And it was lovely watching your game.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really a pleasure to be here.
And I'll see you again next. Same table, same position.
Yeah, here's hoping. It'd be fun to get my face absolutely curb stomped by either one of you. You guys take it easy.
Yeah, you too. Have a great day, guys.
All right, and that was the grand finals behind, well, Alpha League Season 6. It's it. It's over. It's the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, of course my mic breaks on TTS as usual.
Of course, of course.
I was trying to add, like, we'll edit this out, the video, but I was going to add, maps are a really touchy subject. We do try our best and look at player feedback, and big props for Lockjaw letting us use his map set. And I think it's probably one of the best map sets we've used in Alpha, to be quite honest.
It's really good.
Very, very few changes. There will be a couple of tweaks here and there. I know multi-state runs are a thing that people have asked for. That's being done. A bit of dents here and there. And then Season 8, we're going to have a team that I'm going to invite Lockjaw to sort of spearhead in that regard. And we'll see what we can do for that. Problem is, everyone has an opinion on maps, right? So, like, we're going to do a podcast next week anyway. And we're going to go through like some of the stuff on the feedback form, and I'll go into more detail on that because everyone has an opinion and on what they want to see.
All right, I have now paid out the AdMech believers in the chat with their channel points, so that's 9,520 channel points. Congratulations. So much.
I lost a ton. Like, I was just like, all on Necrons. Like, don't let the Imperium win. Like,
but yeah. Look, it's an AdMech victory. Lockjaw going to be your Season 6 champion. Insane, by the way. Like, really good game to see everybody kind of play through. Lockjaw winning in commanding fashion in all the games he's been on stream, really. Kellen putting up an excellent fight as best as he possibly could, and he did show off what the list was capable of in the previous game against Doots, who also showed off what that list could do in a previous game against Iron Hands. It's been a knockout punch after knockout punch, but for Season 6, that's it. We'd like to thank you all for watching, and for being a part of Alpha League Season 6, because without you, there would be no league. But there are a lot of you, and as a result, there is one, and it's active, and it's fun, and we can't wait for Season 7. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add, Erever?
Go ahead, register for Season 7, for Week 1, if you played last season, and then Week 2 for if you're wanting to get involved in Alpha League. Trying something a bit different, because we only have a certain amount of sign-ups, and because we are a league, we have to kind of go, well, the people that played last season should have priority for standings purposes. So that's what we're trying, something a bit different. It's all working for us. I'm pretty sure by 2022 we'll have it perfect.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, right, exactly. Other than that, I don't want to spoil too much about stuff, because we'll be doing that next week anyway. Get some practice games in. Play some out there lists. Find out what works, what's not working, and register and come along and play some Warhammer.
All right, that's it from us. My name's Slowwolf. I've been joined by Erever, the tournament organizer for this season and likely the next. It has been our pleasure to be your casters for this
Alex
evening.
actually has me on a ball and chain, by the way. I'm not allowed to ever leave Alpha. I'm actually in Malice's basement right now on a ball and chain, connects to the light radiator.
Hashtag free Erever. But yeah, outside of the balls and chains, we've really enjoyed putting on these streams and being your hosts for the course of the journey that a lot of these people had been through to get to the top. Congrats again to Lockjaw for winning the entire thing, and to Kellen and Lockjaw for winning their respective groups. Congratulations to everybody that made it into the qualifying rounds and that got through their pods, and thank you to everybody who played in the pods, and hopefully we will see you all soon. That's Season 6. My name is Slowwolf. I've been joined by Erever, and that's a wrap. We'll see you folks next week with the podcast happening on Sunday sometime, so keep track on the TTS Discord. And we'll see you folks soon. Bye-bye!